Chapter 1. The bookstore in the mountains. Having traversed the realm of journey to the west, Su Xuan found himself unexpectedly endowed with a bookstore by a rather troublesome system. Initially desiring a life of leisure, he soon discovered that for every individual who perused his books, there lay an opportunity to acquire divine powers and treasures, which he would simultaneously obtain as well. Esteemed beings from the three realms graced his humble bookstore, deriving immense benefits from the tomes, and they reverently regarded Su Xuan as their master. Yet, one fateful day, the stone monkey visited Su Xuan's establishment. Alas, another day devoid of customers. When would this monotonous cycle come to an end? Sitting despondently at the counter, Su Xuan gazed at the dilapidated decor of his shop and the towering ancient trees outside, his countenance reflecting profound gloom. Having traversed from the Blue Star to this unfamiliar realm for several days, he had awakened to a rather disheartening system that compelled him to operate a bookstore in this secluded mountainous area, selling novels. While others possessed remarkable systems, he found himself burdened with this lackluster one. Days had passed without a single soul gracing his shop. Who on earth would buy from him? Oh, the solitude of life is as desolate as snow. As Su Xuan lamented his hopeless existence, a figure appeared at the entrance of his store, and he immediately noticed, springing upright in excitement. His first customer had arrived. However, upon seeing the individual's appearance, he was momentarily taken aback. What on earth was this? A creature with green hair, a blue face, and sharp fangs, neither human nor ghost, was curiously surveying his modest establishment. What a sight! A cosplay, perhaps? After enduring such solitude, Su Xuan was momentarily stunned but quickly approached, warmly inviting the visitor. Come in, dear guest, as this is my grand opening. You are my very first customer, and today everything is half price. Wow, brother, your outfit is incredible, so realistic. Just look at those sharp teeth and that hair. Haha. Forgive me, but who are you cosplaying as, sporting that green mane? Su Xuan chuckled, a sound reminiscent of a crow-esque caw. The creature, bewildered, felt an uncomfortable sensation wash over it. The human before him gazed with wide eyes, as if contemplating devouring him. Who truly was the monster here? Originally a common little demon from Lion Camel Ridge, he had ventured out seeking a morsel to satisfy his hunger, only to encounter such an absurd human who not only showed no fear, but also boldly examined him. Do I not have any pride as a demon? I see you've never been taught a lesson. The green-haired creature, now somewhat irate, opened its enormous mouth, ready to bite the hand that approached. Yet, to its surprise, the human grasped its arm and effortlessly pulled it into the store. Come, though my shop has only just opened and the selection is limited, everything is of exquisite quality. Su Xuan, with an unflinching demeanor, presented the sole book in his inventory, Yang Xian, and thrust it into the green-haired creature's arms. Absolutely authentic. A bargain at half price. Only 5 taels of silver. What do you say? Quite a deal, isn't it? Human, I am a demon. Are you not afraid of me? The green-haired monster finally spoke, his face contorted with anger. This was the first time he had encountered a human so unafraid of death. Typically, humans would be terrified to the point of losing control upon seeing him, yet here was one engaging in business with him. Could you not show me a modicum of respect? Yes, indeed, a monster, I understand. Which series are you from? Su Xuan nodded earnestly, adopting an expression that implied agreement with everything the monster said. Given the circumstances, why not appease him? After all, he was his very first customer, and it was imperative to serve him well. Whatever the monster said, Su Xuan would agree, refusing to counter his words. Allow me to introduce you to this novel. Su Xuan cherished his first customer dearly, opening the book and beginning to present it with fervor. As he gazed at the monstrous head so near, the green-haired creature pondered for a moment before opening its wide mouth to take a bite. An odd occurrence transpired. No matter how hard it tried, its mouth would not close, as if an invisible force was restraining it. What's happening? Why won't my mouth listen to me? The green-haired monster was astounded. Despite all its efforts, it could not bite down on the human's head before it. How about that? Quite thrilling, isn't it? The monster's mouth regained its mobility, snapping shut a few times before discovering it could open and close freely again. What just happened? Did I cramp up? The creature felt its mind falter, but it dismissed the thought, channeling its inner fire to roast the human before it. To its surprise, just as the flames reached its lips, it burped, transforming into a wisp of blue smoke. This left the green-haired monster dumbfounded, an unsettling chill creeping over it. Something was amiss. Something was indeed wrong. It was overwhelmed with cold sweat and tremors, desperately wanting to flee, yet its legs felt unresponsive. How about it, dear guest? The novel is quite captivating, isn't it? I assure you, there is no deception here. You are my first customer, and for just a few silver coins, you can take it home. Su Xuan spoke with enthusiasm. Regardless of the outcome, he was determined to make a sale, if need be. He would save a bit of money and retreat to a small mountain dwelling for the remainder of his days. The green-haired monster stared blankly at the book in its hands, utterly bewildered. Did this person truly intend only to sell him a novel? Surely not. Was he perhaps dissatisfied with the price? Su Xuan furrowed his brow, wrestling internally with whether to lower the price. However, this expression was misinterpreted by the green-haired monster. What does this mean? Is he hesitating because I have angered him, contemplating whether to kill me? I'll buy it. I'll buy it. The monster blurted out hastily, reaching into its garments to produce a few silver coins, its face nearly in tears. This is all I have. That is enough. That is sufficient. Su Xuan exclaimed with delight as he accepted the coins, tucking them into his pocket. A wave of happiness washed over him. He had finally made his first sale. Su Xuan watched the departure of the individual, his countenance reflecting a sense of gratification and fulfillment, brimming with achievement. In the realm of commerce, supreme service is paramount. Although the prices may be somewhat elevated, as long as he provides exemplary service, sales shall not be a concern. Meanwhile, the green-haired monster dashed back to his lair, slamming the door with a resounding thud, leaning against it while he gasped for breath. It was utterly terrifying, exceedingly bizarre. That place was nothing short of sinister. After a moment of composure, he plopped onto his bed, carelessly tossing aside the novel that had been in his hands. Just as he sought to rest, he was captivated by the two crooked yet divine characters on the cover, Sun Immortal. Though a creature of the supernatural, the green-haired monster had lived long enough to recognize a fair amount of human script. After a time of contemplation, he inexplicably picked up the novel and began to peruse its pages. Before he knew it, an entire hour had elapsed. The version of Sun Immortal sold by Su Xuan was a classical Chinese edition, significantly condensed, with the word count reduced from the original text. In that hour, the green-haired monster had read through more than half of it. During this time, he found himself deeply moved by the plight of the young protagonist, whose fate was fraught with adversity, betrayed by his own father. Yet, he did not yield. Instead, he battled against the heavens, embarking on a path of ascendance, vanquishing all who opposed him, ultimately reaching the pinnacle of power. Although merely an ordinary little demon, the green-haired monster had long yearned for the invincible spirit depicted in the book, aspiring to pluck stars from the sky and trample upon the deities of the heavens. Engrossed in the narrative, he became entranced, unable to extricate himself from its allure. An indescribable epiphany surged within him, and a thread of energy began to circulate within his being, initiating a process of cultivation. What was this? A cultivation technique? The green-haired monster was momentarily stunned, and in the next instant, a wave of elation engulfed him. Chapter 2. The legend of the great sage. The world is a vast ocean of suffering, and humanity is adrift upon its tumultuous waters. The physical body is the vessel, and the soul is the inhabitant within. The vessel carries the soul, ever striving towards the distant shore. The green-haired monster was profoundly astonished, his scalp tingling, his entire being quivering with excitement. He had actually comprehended the cultivation method from the novel. In his mind, golden characters appeared, resplendent and radiant, exuding an extraordinary and astonishing aura, supreme Tao scripture. This was the cultivation technique of an exceedingly formidable sect described in the novel, capable of reaching the 9th realm of ghostly immortals, and even challenging the realm of the Sun Immortal. Did this not imply that one day, he too could, as written in the tome, reach the other shore and attain immortality? With this thought, the green-haired monster was unable to contain his exhilaration, his blood boiling with fervor, almost compelled to rise and roar towards the heavens. After a moment of excitement, he eagerly settled into a cross-legged position, commencing his cultivation. His mind focused on the incantations of the supreme Tao scripture, swiftly entering a state of meditation. Though merely a small demon, he possessed considerable insight. He had not tasted dragon meat, yet he had witnessed the dragon soar, and he was acutely aware that the supreme Tao scripture was an exceptionally high-grade cultivation technique. It is not easy to speak of ascension, yet the realm of the golden immortal becomes effortlessly attainable. In this era, where sages are rare and quasi-sages are like phoenix feathers and unicorn horns, golden immortals can traverse many regions with ease, embodying the pinnacle of combat prowess. The hierarchy of this world is delineated as follows: refining essence into chi, refining chi into spirit, refining spirit into void, refining void into unity with the Tao, human immortals, earthly immortals, celestial immortals, true immortals, mysterious immortals, golden immortals, Tai golden immortals, Deluo golden immortals, quasi-sages, sages, the heavenly path, and the great Tao. The green-haired creature, in its meticulous contemplation, occasionally received whispers of the Tao resonating in its mind, leading to an elevation in its realm. Meanwhile, Su Xuan, who was idly awaiting customers, suddenly sat upright, as if struck by lightning, his eyes wide with astonishment. At that moment, within his dantian, a tremendous surge of spiritual energy began to coalesce. An exceedingly terrifying force. What is happening? Is someone drawing breath within me? Su Xuan, in a state of alarm, stood up, frantically raking his hair. Ding. A sentient being is engaging with young immortal and gaining insights. Ding. A sentient being has comprehended the supreme Tao scripture, and the host simultaneously receives enlightenment, resulting in an increase in cultivation. The sudden notifications rang out like celestial melodies, awakening Su Xuan to profound realization, moving him to the brink of tears. System. You have finally come into your own. I thought I was destined to be merely a bookstore owner, living an ordinary life, Su Xuan exclaimed with exhilaration. That being said, the system's capabilities are indeed extraordinary. Whatever insights others glean from the books he sells, he too can simultaneously acquire. If, in the future, thousands were to peruse his wares, wouldn't he ascend right then and there? Upon this realization, Su Xuan understood that this was no ordinary world, but one where cultivation was possible. Was that cosplayer truly a monster? The thought sent a chill down his spine. How fortunate he was to have escaped being devoured by the creature. Truly, those who traverse worlds possess great fortune. Time flowed gently, and the night swiftly passed. As dawn broke, the sky lightened. Boom. The green-haired creature finally transcended its mortal coil at daybreak, entering the realm of human immortals. Awakening slowly, a glimmer of ecstatic joy spread across its face. Feeling the overwhelming power surging within, it could hardly contain itself from howling at the heavens. This force is astounding. Inconceivable. Have I truly become an immortal? Today, I have ascended. From henceforth, I shall be known as the Heavenly Wolf King. The green-haired creature proclaimed with grandiosity, for its true form was that of a wolf spirit. And now, having attained immortality, it could no longer bear its former ignoble name. After indulging in self-congratulation, the Heavenly Wolf King began to ponder. Who exactly is this bookstore owner? At this moment, the Heavenly Wolf King reflected on previous encounters, its heart a tempest of awe. That bookstore owner is likely a formidable being of terrifying power, manifesting before him to impart wisdom. It is no wonder that a bookstore has suddenly emerged in the Lion Camel Ridge. There must be a reason behind it. Could it be that they have recognized his innate talent, and thus come to impart wisdom? Ding. The green-haired creature has cultivated the supreme Tao scripture to attain the realm of a human immortal, and the host synchronously gains this status. Host, Su Xuan. Cultivation level, early human immortal. Technique, supreme Tao scripture. Divine powers, none. Attribute points, 3, earned from selling books. Am I truly a human immortal now? Su Xuan gazed at his personal information, momentarily lost in thought. The host has sold his first novel and garnered the approval of a customer, unlocking the privilege to initiate the next novel. Shall I proceed? Yes. Without a second thought, Su Xuan replied. As the process commenced, the next novel was being drawn. A luminous screen appeared before him, displaying a plethora of novels. Battle Through the Heavens, Dragon Talisman World, A Leaf Shields the Sky, Immortals' Journey to Immortality, Legend of the Great Sage. Su Xuan felt a pang of envy as he perused the titles. Each of these novels presented a captivating worldview, suggesting that if he could sell them and attract readers, he too might one day become as formidable as the protagonists within them. Congratulations. You have drawn the novel Legend of the Great Sage. The Great Sage's legend? Su Xuan felt a momentary bewilderment as he summoned the novel synopsis. This tale is set in a world dominated by demons and monsters, narrating the journey of a youth guided by a green bull towards the path of cultivation. Within this narrative lies an immensely powerful technique known as the 9 transformations of gods and demons. Each transformation capable of altering one's bloodline and essence, meaning even a pig could ultimately metamorphose into a true dragon through its practice. Remarkable. After reading, Su Xuan sighed in admiration. This novel possesses significant market potential and a compelling storyline, ripe for commercial success. He closed the shop's door, ready to take proactive measures. With a newfound sense of self-preservation, he was no longer the defenseless individual he once was. Clutching 2 novels, Su Xuan strolled through the depths of the mountains and forests. Darn it. Not only are there no humans around, but even the monsters seem to have vanished. Where could they possibly be? Su Xuan muttered to himself as he wandered. Just then, he heard a commotion ahead. His eyes brightened as he cautiously approached. Before him, 2 monsters were engaged in a fierce battle. A tiger spirit with a human body and a tiger's head, and a bull-headed spirit. At that moment, the bull-headed spirit was being thoroughly beaten, crying out in agony with no strength to retaliate. The tiger's spirit laughed triumphantly, stating, with your cowardly demeanor, even after 1,000 years of cultivation, you would still not be my match. From now on, whenever you see Grandfather Tiger, You shall kneel thrice and bow 9 times. Calling out greetings, grandfather. Do you understand? Having said this, he kicked the bull-headed spirit away and swaggered off. Su Xuan refrained from intervening in the tiger spirit's business, sensing its ferocity. He feared that he might be overpowered, risking his own life in vain. However, the defeated bull-headed spirit was a different matter, clearly much weaker. How does it feel to be bested, bull-headed one? Su Xuan strode confidently out, arriving before the bull-headed monster. Chapter 3, The Immortal Master. This creature was a black bull, likely a water buffalo, with 2 horns that gleamed like polished ebony. Humans? Those wretched humans dare to mock me. An ancient bull. The bull-headed monster struggled to rise, yet found itself kneeling on the ground. Let us dispense with idle chatter. I possess a method that can enable you to defeat that tiger spirit. Are you interested in hearing it? Su Xuan, sensing the creature's low intelligence, decided to forego any elaborate schemes and speak plainly. Nonsense. What can a mere human possibly offer? Once I recover, I shall turn you into dung. The bull-headed monster displayed a haughty expression, akin to that of a proud being. Without further ado, Su Xuan delivered a powerful punch. Though he was currently devoid of any spells, his physical strength was formidable. The blow caused the bull-headed creature to bellow in pain. Enough with the wailing. Do you comprehend why I possess such strength? The secret lies here. Su Xuan produced 2 novels from his arms, smiling as he spoke. What on earth is this? The bull-headed monster rubbed its furry face, looking on with cautious curiosity. Su Xuan's expression radiated mirth, reminiscent of an old man enticing a child with martial arts secrets. These are 2 tomes of celestial techniques. Once learned, you shall certainly make that tiger spirit weep for mercy. We are fated to meet. I shall sell them to you for merely 5 taels of silver each. As an act of kindness, you truly believe I am a fool? How can I comprehend celestial secrets when I barely recognize a few characters? The bull-headed monster looked at Su Xuan with disdain. Foolish human, trying to deceive me is no simple task. Ding. The celestial wolf king read Yang Xian and comprehended the divine ability vacuum great seal, synchronously granting the host this power. At that moment, a notification echoed in his mind, startling Su Xuan. A surge of profound understanding flooded his consciousness, and he instantaneously mastered the divine ability vacuum great seal. This technique was immensely powerful within the novels. One strike could reshape mountains and valleys without effort. Elated by such a boon, Su Xuan felt an urge to flaunt it. Wearing a mysterious smile, the bull-headed monster was momentarily bewildered. Was this human truly daft? Why was he grinning foolishly? In the next moment, it was left agape. Su Xuan raised his hand to form a seal, golden and radiant, expanding to a size of several dozen feet, effortlessly leveling the surrounding ancient trees and boulders. The immense sound echoed like celestial might, instilling a sense of terror. The bull-headed monster widened its eyes, struggling to swallow. Where was I? Su Xuan maintained his smile, feeling a rush of excitement within. The destructive power of this technique was astounding. A mere casual demonstration had exceeded all his expectations. While Su Xuan was exhilarated, the expression on his face conveyed something entirely different to the bull-headed monster. Was this human threatening him? If he refused to purchase the books, would this man unleash a strike upon him? At that moment, the old ox would likely be left with nothing but remnants. I shall purchase both volumes. The ox-headed creature nodded obediently, perceptibly accepting the books from Su Xuan's hands. How could one dare to refuse such an offer? After all, it was merely 10 taels of silver. He was well aware of what truly mattered. With discernment, he thought to himself that he must read the books upon his return. Are you eager to learn that technique I demonstrated earlier? It is contained within these pages, Su Xuan meticulously advised. The act of purchasing the books was not the crux of the matter. They must be read. What a waste it would be if the ox-headed creature simply discarded them upon returning home. The creature nodded vigorously in response to Su Xuan's words, resembling a well-behaved child. Yet internally, he held skepticism. I don't believe you. Such extraordinary powers cannot be so easily imparted. If such divine abilities could be acquired for just a few taels of silver, I would be on the brink of bankruptcy. Upon returning, I shall toss the books aside. I would never deign to read them. Farewell. My shop is not far. Do visit if you require anything, Su Xuan reminded before departing. Certainly, certainly. The ox-headed creature nodded repeatedly, but hurried away, moving faster than a rabbit, quickly vanishing from sight. Su Xuan nodded with satisfaction, sensing that his words had made an impact. This little ox demon was evidently eager to return and peruse the books. How delightful! With a buoyant spirit, Su Xuan whistled leisurely on his way back, contemplating that he ought to bring more books next time. Otherwise, they would surely sell out. Shortly after Su Xuan's departure, a creature with a human body and a fox's head emerged, glancing in the direction Su Xuan had taken and then towards where the ox-headed creature had gone. Lost in contemplation, with a glimmer of human-like wisdom in her eyes, Ultimately, she pursued the direction of the ox-headed creature, carrying a large bird in his hand. Su Xuan had yet to reach his shop when he spotted a creature with green hair standing expectantly at the entrance. "Ah, you have arrived," Su Xuan greeted, approaching the front of the shop to start a fire for roasting the chicken. The Heavenly Wolf King scratched his head, a fawning smile adorning his face, and said, "Master, this humble demon has come to express my gratitude for your teachings." Mimicking human manners, he clasped his hands and bowed deeply. "Master?" Su Xuan chuckled softly, shaking his head. "I am merely a bookseller. I do not deserve such a title. Modesty, such humility." The admiration in the Heavenly Wolf King's eyes intensified. Truly, a figure of the celestial realm, his demeanor was unparalleled. If anyone were to address him as master, his lips would have already curled into a triumphant smile. "By the way, new books have arrived in the shop. Would you like another volume?" Su Xuan inquired while tending to the roasting chicken. He then summoned a large handprint. Retrieving the great sage's biography from the shelves, the Heavenly Wolf King was momentarily stunned, his admiration growing even stronger. This was precisely the technique he had only recently comprehended. To his astonishment, the master was also capable of it, and it appeared he wielded it with greater finesse. As he observed closely, the celestial master truly lives up to his title. Yesterday, he appeared just an ordinary mortal, but upon closer examination today, he is enveloped in an ethereal aura, profound and inscrutable, unmistakably a figure of the celestial realm. Even his movements while feasting on chicken exude elegance, with the grease at the corner of his mouth failing to detract from his otherworldly beauty. The stronger his prowess, the more one can perceive the celestial master's formidable presence and charm. Just yesterday, I lacked even the qualifications to glimpse the slightest aspect of his grandeur. The Wolf King respectfully took the novel, its title The Legend of the Great Sage gleaming in golden letters, exuding an air of profound mystery that was intoxicating even to behold. He understood the concept of a sage, an exalted being of unparalleled supremacy across the myriad realms. But what, then, does the title of Great Sage signify? Is it a being greater than a sage, a more formidable existence? It must be so. Without further ado, the Wolf King produced 10 taels of silver, placing them reverently upon the counter. The celestial master's hands were far too sacred for him to touch. Such tainted objects should never come into contact with one of such purity. To him, the celestial master accepting silver was merely a pretext, the true purpose being to impart wisdom. Su Xuan observed the Wolf King placing the silver upon the counter and nodded in satisfaction. He then indulged in his meal. But at that moment, a stirring was felt within him, accompanied by the system's alert in his mind. Ding! A living being has read Yang Xian and comprehended the technique, the sutra of the present world, resulting in an increase in cultivation, with the host simultaneously benefiting. Ding! A living being has read Yang Xian and grasped the divine ability body of the radiant moon, with the host concurrently acquiring it. Chapter 4. The Ambition of the Tathagata Boom. Su Xuan's cultivation began to ascend. He transitioned from the mid-stage of human immortality to the peak of the early Earth immortal stage, ultimately settling in the mid-stage of Earth immortality. Simultaneously, he radiated a pristine light akin to the moon goddess, exuding a solemn and sacred presence, his demeanor strikingly handsome, suffused with celestial energy, and his aura transformed dramatically. How remarkable! The bull-headed being's comprehension is extraordinary. Su Xuan was astounded. Within merely half a day of acquiring the novel, the bull-headed being had grasped a technique and a divine ability, demonstrating a natural talent superior to that of the green-haired creature. It was unexpected that this seemingly simple bull-headed being was indeed a prodigy of cultivation. In the pure land of ultimate bliss, where radiant light suffuses the skies and the sound of celestial chants lingers, stands the Spirit Mountain, home to the great Thunder Sound Temple. During the divine calamity of the deified, the two sects vied for their own selfish interests, leading to suffering for countless beings and the collapse of the primordial world. Today, the Buddhist path, embodying compassion, seeks to save all sentient beings, thus embarking on a journey to the West to mend the rifts in the heavenly order. The light of Buddhism ought to illuminate the world. The one speaking at the forefront is none other than the Tathagata Buddha, his form vast and boundless, radiating light across the heavens, seated as if he supports the entirety of existence, his golden light immeasurable, converging into a vast sea of stars. Under the infinite expanse of the Buddha's light, his true form remains obscured, yet his ethereal and grand voice resonates. Beneath the Buddha, countless other Buddhas, bodhisattvas, arhats, and more stand in attendance, hearkening to the teachings of the Buddha. Each figure radiated a majestic aura, enveloped in an abundance of Buddha light, each possessing immense spiritual power and unparalleled divine abilities. Over the countless years of development, Buddhism has amassed an unfathomable strength. It is merely a matter of time before the right opportunity arises for a complete resurgence, heralding the flourishing of Buddhism in accordance with the heavenly way. Before long, Buddhism shall become the foremost religion in the universe. At this moment, the Tathagata Buddha, who expounds upon the profound truths of the heavenly way and has made grand vows, paused in his discourse. His colossal Buddha head, akin to a star in size, slightly bowed as he gazed towards a specific direction, towards the Lion-Camel Ridge. He sensed the presence of a profound Mahayana Buddhist energy, indistinguishable from his own, subtle yet exquisite in its essence, rivaling his own. Could it be that a new Buddha has been born? A golden light emanated from his brilliant eyes, yearning to uncover the truth, yet an invisible force obstructed his vision, revealing no trace of its origins. Secretly calculating, he found no results. It appeared that this great Mahayana figure within our Buddhist community was reluctant to be scrutinized. The birth of such a powerful Buddha at this juncture seemed to be heaven's blessing for Buddhism. The resurgence of Buddhism is unstoppable, he mused inwardly. Retracting his gaze, he spoke once more, his voice resonating with the grandeur of the heavenly way. Where is Avalokiteshvara? His majestic voice reverberated across vast distances. A woman clad in white, holding a pure jade vase, her countenance radiating kindness and light, stepped forward. Approaching the hall, Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva respectfully addressed him. My Buddha, please command me. The Tathagata Buddha replied. Prepare for the journey to the west. That monkey is soon to be born. Avalokiteshvara, the rise of our Buddhist community depends on this journey through trials and tribulations. You must meticulously arrange the 81 challenges, sparing no effort. Avalokiteshvara nodded. Yes, my Buddha? The Tathagata Buddha continued, his presence awe-inspiring. I have detected the faint essence of our Mahayana teachings in the mortal realm. You must remain vigilant. This energy is still weak. Seize the opportunity to guide it to my Western paradise. Upon hearing this, countless monks present nodded in agreement. Heaven bless Buddhism. Our teachings shall thrive, indeed. The assembly of Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and Arhats joined their hands in prayer, chanting the Buddha's name. Instantly, the sacred sounds resonated, illuminating the surroundings with Buddha light, creating a scene of profound tranquility. As Avalokiteshvara returned to the South Sea, stepping into her sanctuary, she was greeted by a graceful maiden with a face resembling a peach blossom, adorned with delicate horns atop her head. The young woman respectfully reported, Master, the golden-haired hound has stolen the jade quiet lotus. I warned it, but it did not listen. Knowing you would return, it has now vanished. This young woman was none other than the dragon maiden, Avalokiteshvara's disciple. She was the daughter of the Dragon King, residing in the 19th celestial realm. Renowned for her wisdom and cleverness, at the tender age of 8, she had overheard the Bodhisattva reciting the Lotus Sutra in the Dragon Palace. Achieving enlightenment and understanding Buddhist teachings, ultimately dedicating herself to Avalokiteshvara for guidance. This mischievous creature has indeed been neglected in discipline, but it matters not. It may frolic for a while. When the trials of the journey to the west commence, there will be tasks to assign. Guanyin, adorned with a gentle smile, harbored no anger, her mind already weaving intricate plans for the myriad tasks ahead. Do you have a mission, my disciple? The Dragon Maiden, with an ethereal grace and captivating eyes brimming with spiritual energy, gazed upon the Bodhisattva. She had embarked on her journey of Buddhist practice since the tender age of 8. And now, countless years had passed. Although time was abundant, her attainment in Dharma had seen little progress. With the impending calamity of the journey to the west, perhaps an opportunity awaited. Should you successfully accomplish this task, the merits shall be boundless, earning you the Bodhisattva's fruit. Guanyin spoke with a kind countenance, her flawless visage radiant. What is the task? The Dragon Maiden blinked, a wave of excitement surging within her. The Buddha observes the world below, sensing the presence of my teachings of Mahayana. Should you guide a future Buddha back to the Western paradise, the merits shall be immeasurable, Guanyin revealed, a hint of personal ambition lingering in her voice. Wishing her disciple to enjoy the fruits of this endeavor. Guiding a Buddha back was a simple task that required little effort. The Dragon Maiden's face blossomed into a radiant smile, and with a firm nod, she declared, Thank you, Master. I will not disappoint you. Guanyin provided her with the approximate location and added, Before you depart, please summon the 2 Bodhisattvas, Manjushri and Samandabhadra. The calamity of the journey to the west is imminent, and we cannot afford to delay. The Dragon Maiden accepted her command and set off. Host, Su Xuan. Cultivation level, mid-stage, Earth Immortal. Techniques, the Supreme Tao Scripture, the Present World, Tathagata Scripture. Divine Powers, Radiance of the Moonlight, King, True Void, Great Palm Seal. Attribute Points, 23, earned from selling books. Su Xuan surveyed his personal panel with satisfaction, feeling quite formidable. Meanwhile, The king of the celestial wolves stood before him, utterly astonished. What just happened? Suddenly, the aura emanating from the immortal master surged dramatically. Though he clutched a roasted chicken in hand, an ethereal moonlight enveloped him, resembling a celestial deity descending from the heavens. The king, nearly overwhelmed, fought the urge to kneel, determined not to let the immortal master look down upon him. He stood respectfully to the side, waiting until Su Xuan finished his roasted chicken before daring to make a move, bowing as he said, "Immortal master, I shall not disturb you any longer." Su Xuan beamed with a warm smile. This was his first client, and he found him quite pleasing. "Safe travels, I shan't see you off." The king of the celestial wolves returned to his lair, eagerly preparing to delve into the legend of the great sage when a robust, hearty voice rang out from outside. "Wolf brother, I, Old Bull, have come to drink with you." Even before his arrival was marked by his presence, the voice heralded his approach. Chapter 5, Stirring the Lion Trojan Ridge. Where is the immortal master? A creature with the body of a man and the head of a bull strode in, one hand cradling a wine jar and the other bearing a deer. He showed no hesitation, making himself at home without waiting for an invitation. Boldly seating himself at the stone table, indicating a close familiarity with the local inhabitants. "Brother Bull, what happened to you? You look quite battered." The king of the celestial wolves inquired, stepping forward with a hint of surprise. "Let us not mention it. It's bad luck. That wretched tiger recently consumed something that made him formidable. Even I was unable to defeat him and received quite a beating," grumbled the Minotaur. The celestial wolf king, realizing the history between the two adversaries, noted that the Minotaur had always held the upper hand, yet this time, he had been bested by his former subordinate. "Fear not, my friend. Once we finish our drinks, I shall seek revenge for you and procure the tiger's liver to accompany our libations," declared the celestial wolf king, intent on alleviating the Minotaur's grievances. "I appreciate your goodwill, but if you cannot best me, it would be unwise to invite misfortune upon yourself," replied the Minotaur gratefully. "Humph," scoffed the celestial wolf king, having indulged a bit too much in his drink and wishing to showcase his prowess. He decided to reveal his true power, channeling his celestial energy, which enveloped the entire cavern with an overwhelming presence. The Minotaur, startled, fell to the ground in fear. "Wolf brother, what is this?" stammered the Minotaur, utterly taken aback and unable to form a coherent sentence. "This is the result of my enlightenment from a celestial master. I have now ascended into the realm of immortals," proclaimed the celestial wolf king with a hint of pride. As a disciple of the celestial master, he felt a certain obligation to carry himself with dignity. After revealing his status, he was no longer the same. "A celestial master? Where did you find such a being? I have never heard of this," exclaimed the Minotaur, his excitement akin to madness. Despite their demonic nature, they harbored aspirations of transcending to immortality. The thought that his erstwhile companion had surpassed him in this regard sent waves of exhilaration through him. The celestial master is modest and shuns ostentation. Otherwise, with his abilities, he would have long since attained divine status in the heavens, boasted the celestial wolf king, reveling in the prestige of his celestial mentor. "Is it true? Could such an extraordinary figure exist? If he were truly that remarkable, would he take you as a disciple? After all these years of camaraderie, surely I know your worth," challenged the Minotaur, skeptical yet intrigued. "Humph, the celestial master's capabilities are beyond our comprehension. I tell you, the truths of the universe can be gleaned from the stories he pens," the celestial wolf king retorted disdainfully, feeling a twinge of irritation at the Minotaur's doubt regarding the celestial master's prowess. "To question the celestial master is to question my judgment. Such disrespect cannot be tolerated, even from a longtime brother." "Stories?" The Minotaur was taken aback, pondering the incredible nature of such claims. At that moment, his gaze fell upon a tome resting on a nearby bed, titled The Legend of the Great Sage. "What is this? It seems familiar," he mused, straining to recall. Suddenly, an image flashed in his mind, a smiling human who had previously gifted him 2 novels, one of which bore this very title. Could it be? Is it possible that the human's words were true? That one could comprehend profound spells through his writings? Could it be that this individual is the celestial master? He was indeed extraordinary, almost like an immortal. "Brother Nyo, are you startled? Do not be surprised. The celestial master possesses many techniques," comforted the wolf king. The bull-headed man carried a face of distress. He was not frightened, but rather consumed by regret. The novel bestowed upon him by the celestial master had been carelessly discarded on his way back. "I must find it," he thought urgently. Rising immediately, the bull-headed man declared, "Wolf brother, we shall drink another day. I have pressing matters to attend to." His thoughts were no longer on revelry. The thought of losing the book troubled his sleep. With swift and steady steps, he dashed towards the spot where he had lost it, but the vast forest, filled with countless similar sights, hindered his search. He could only search bit by bit, and in his haste, He encountered various creatures, questioning them with fervor, leaving them bewildered. "Good sir, have you seen 2 books?" he inquired, describing them in detail, fearful they might not comprehend. Nay, bull demon, you have mistaken me. Do you see me as a creature capable of understanding novels? What, a human? A celestial master? Are you jesting? If there were humans here, we would have devoured them long ago. The bull-headed man grew frantic, revealing far too much. Even mentioning that reading novels could lead to divine powers. Do not jest. How can you, old bull, speak such nonsense in broad daylight? You think I am uneducated? I once transformed and taught in a private school. Is that true? Can one truly attain immortality through reading novels? Come, let us assist you in your search. Once found, you must allow us to read them. Though the novel eluded them, the companions found a multitude of others. A throng of demons searched diligently, seeking not only the book but also a human seller. After much effort, fortune smiled upon them. While they failed to locate the novel, they stumbled upon Su Xuan's quaint shop. Thus, a group of demons stealthily surrounded it. At that moment, a bored Su Xuan sat cross-legged at the entrance, attempting to cultivate his techniques. Remarkably, he began to grasp profound truths, practicing the sutra of the present world, and at that moment, he transformed into a Buddha, a golden halo radiating from above his head, enveloping him in boundless light. The demons stood in awe, stunned by the aura emanating from the human, almost fleeing in terror. Before they could fully comprehend the spectacle, the Buddha's light vanished, revealing a different transformation, this time, devoid of light, yet the essence of the individual exuded an ethereal presence. Merging with the cosmos, embodying the supreme Tao Sutra. The demons gazed in astonishment, utterly taken aback by his prowess. Is this not a celestial being? After a brief moment, Su Xuan retracted his aura, opened his eyes, which shimmered with fleeting brilliance, soon returning to tranquility. Celestial Master, we beseech you to impart to us the path to immortality. The bull-headed man, discerning the moment, knelt and proclaimed loudly. A throng of smaller demons quickly followed suit, some even lamenting being outshone by a mere bull spirit. Celestial Master, here are the spiritual fruits I have gathered. They are quite delectable. A bold little demon, mustering courage, approached and began to flatter. The fruit he had plucked on the way here unexpectedly proved useful. Do you seek the method to attain immortality? Su Xuan nodded gently at the little demon, his demeanor warm, before turning his gaze toward the diverse array of spirits. The crowd of demons nodded eagerly, their eyes alight with anticipation. Su Xuan shifted his body and gestured invitingly. 5 taels of silver for each volume. Feel free to select at your leisure. For those without silver, exchanges of rare and exotic items are welcome. While the assembly of demons remained momentarily stunned, a bull-headed creature had already scrambled up and dashed into the shop, moving with surprising agility, akin to that of a water buffalo. Chapter 6. The Birth of the Stone Monkey. The name of the immortal master spread far and wide across the eastern Victory Divine continent, in the proud nation of Ally. On Flower Fruit Mountain, a realm that once lay tranquil, a sudden clap of thunder shattered the silence, followed by a tumultuous shift in the skies, heralding an extraordinary event. Atop a mountain peak, a celestial stone emitted an inexplicable radiance before erupting, releasing a stone monkey. Its eyes shone with golden light, soaring into the heavens until it gradually faded from view. In the Lingxiao Palace, the Jade Emperor sat upon his throne, sensing a disturbance. Beneath the glimmer of jewels, he briefly closed his eyes and murmured, "Tai Bai Jinxing, the monkey has emerged. This time, during the great calamity of the journey to the west, your cooperation will be required. The Buddhist teachings are flourishing, in accordance with the heavenly way. Any who attempt to obstruct this calamity act against the natural order." Though the Jade Emperor felt helpless, he recognized the inevitability of this calamity. Even the sages would not intervene directly. The rise of Buddhism was unstoppable, and the course of events was already predetermined. Below, an elderly man with white hair and a youthful countenance stepped forward, holding a whisk, and respectfully replied, "Yes, your majesty." In the Western Paradise, at the great Thunder Sound Temple, the Buddha, sensing the emergence of the monkey, calculated the timing and found it precisely as he had anticipated. The moment was neither too early nor too late. Raising his hand, he pointed, illuminating the heavens with a grand vision that captivated countless Buddhas, bodhisattvas, and monks. In the image, a spirited monkey frolicked joyously, foraging for food, drinking from streams, gathering flowers, and playing merrily, embodying pure bliss. The monks of the Lingshan Temple observed quietly. This newborn son Wukong was a pivotal piece in their burgeoning Buddhist movement. Recognizing the alignment with the heavenly way, they anticipated the imminent rise of their teachings. The Buddha raised his hand once more, and the vision dissipated, the resounding voice of Dharma echoing throughout Lingshan. Everything was under control. In due time, Buddhism would undoubtedly become the preeminent faith, surpassing all others. Well done, well done. The monks chanted in unison, their harmonious voices resonating through Lingshan, creating a scene of serene tranquility. Far away, on the Ling Tai Fong Su Xuan mountain, Patriarch Bodhi summoned his disciple. From this moment forth, should a monkey come seeking knowledge, you must inform me. Understood, master, the young acolyte nodded fervently. Su Xuan remained blissfully unaware of the events unfolding in the outside world, his heart brimming with joy. In this brief interval, he had sold over 100 books. Under the guidance of the Minotaur, the little demons eagerly exchanged their wealth, those with money paid in coin, while others offered precious items in barter. What puzzled Su Xuan was that despite having given the Minotaur 2 novels, it seemed as if the creature was encountering him for the first time. Was this not the same bull demon? Yet, Su Xuan was disinclined to inquire further. Selling was all that mattered. The more he sold, the more advantageous it became for him. After all, one should never forego profit. At this point, he had accumulated several hundred attribute points. These points could be exchanged for treasures or used to enhance his cultivation methods. Upon checking for possible exchanges, he discovered that the functionality would only activate upon reaching 1,000 attribute points. The demons eagerly clutched their novels, rushing back to immerse themselves in reading. Su Xuan prepared to close up shop and venture out to catch a wild chicken as a reward for himself. Though he could survive without sustenance, he still found it difficult to resist the pleasures of the palate. Suddenly, a notification resonated. Host has sold a cumulative total of 1,000 books. Would you like to unlock the next novel? Proceed with the draw? Without a moment's hesitation, Su Xuan opted to draw. After all, keeping it would yield no benefit. As the draw commenced, a wheel of fortune began to spin before his eyes, showcasing an array of remarkable novels. Filled with anticipation, he wondered what extraordinary work he would acquire this time. Ultimately, the wheel came to a stop on a particular title, A Leaf Covers the Sky. Nest. Su Xuan was momentarily taken aback, then elated. This novel was among his favorites from his previous life. It weaves a grand tale set in a vast, mystical world. Beginning with the legend of the 9 dragons carrying a coffin, revealing the ancient secrets of mythology. The narrative is expansive, intricately woven with numerous characters, each vividly distinct, ensuring there is always someone to resonate with. Ding. A sentient being has read Yang Xian, acquiring a cosmic bag. The host receives it synchronously. Su Xuan was momentarily stunned. Was it truly so powerful that even treasures from the novel could be comprehended? Upon exploring the system's space, he discovered a bag quietly resting within. Incredible. In the ensuing days, Su Xuan abandoned his quest for chicken, instead delving into the study of this newfound treasure. Periodically, little demons would extract benefits from their readings, slowly advancing Su Xuan's cultivation towards the latter stages of Earth Immortal. Thus, in the vastness of Shituoling, the small demons who had purchased novels began to read earnestly. Even those with limited literacy found themselves grasping insights unique to their own experiences. The little demons were astounded, marveling at the greatness of the immortal master. Such methods were beyond imagination. Those who discerned divine abilities could not help but show off, drawing the attention of those who were unaware of the situation. The commotion grew, and more little demons learned of the immortal master residing in Shituoling, who bestowed enlightenment through his novels. As a result, Su Xuan's business flourished, with a steady stream of new customers arriving daily. The little demons who had already read the novel often gathered to engage in spirited discussions about cultivation techniques and supernatural methods. One of the little demons aptly named their daily gatherings the Immortal Master's Conference, which received unanimous approval. Gradually, even the human realm at the foot of the mountain began to hear whispers of it. In a remote mountain village's private school, during a break, a group of children surrounded a modestly dressed woman, clamoring for her to tell them a story. Of course, she replied, her smile radiant and enchanting, a striking contrast to her surroundings. Unbeknownst to anyone, hidden beneath her flowing robes was a fluffy tale. Today, I shall narrate to you a tale entitled The Sun Immortal, she announced, turning toward the podium and retrieving a thick tome, akin to the novels sold by Su Xuan. The world is a vast sea of suffering. Within it, the human body serves as a vessel, and the soul as its occupant. The vessel carries its passengers. The woman spoke with serene patience, her countenance illuminated by a sacred glow. Unbeknownst to them, half an hour slipped by unnoticed. Teacher, why am I floating? A child suddenly exclaimed, interrupting the story. The woman glanced up, momentarily stunned. There, hovering above the table, was an identical shadow of the speaking child, drifting in terror. The woman was taken aback, overwhelmed by astonishment. Was this not the very realm depicted in her novel? Could merely reading it lead to such profound understanding of the path to cultivation? Time flowed like a swift river. In the depths of the mountains, Where years seemed to vanish, a mere few months had elapsed. During this brief span, Su Xuan experienced remarkable gains. Not only had he acquired numerous supernatural techniques and treasures, but his realm had ascended to that of a celestial immortal. Though they were merely little demons, their collective efforts in cultivation surged his progress, rendering him almost passive in his advancement. One day, a woman clad in white, exuding an ethereal grace, arrived. In this wilderness teeming with spirits, there exists a bookstore? The exquisite woman, a disciple of Guanyin, was none other than the Dragon Maiden. In the celestial realm, a day equated to a year on Earth. After completing her assigned tasks, half a day had passed in heaven, while several months had elapsed on Earth. Upon catching sight of her, Su Xuan was momentarily entranced. What a beautiful, otherworldly woman. Having been here for more than half a year, it was the first time he encountered someone so enchanting. Are you human? Su Xuan approached her quickly, feeling an inexplicable kinship. The Dragon Maiden gently shook her head. All right, another demon it is. I thought as much. How could a human possess horns? With those antlers, you must be a deer spirit, correct? Su Xuan inquired with curiosity. The Dragon Maiden was momentarily taken aback, her expression darkening. After a brief silence, she inquired, pray tell, learned scholar, have you ever heard of any enlightened monks in this vicinity? Her current mission was to escort the Buddha, as described by her master, back to the Spirit Mountain. However, since her descent to the mortal realm, she had not sensed the presence of Mahayana Buddhism. Her master had insisted that it was indeed here. Why, then, could she not locate it? Enlightened monks? I have yet to encounter one. Before seeking such figures, allow me to share my novel, where attaining enlightenment is but a trivial matter. Su Xuan proclaimed as he prepared to promote his work. This deer spirit appeared exceptionally gifted, having undergone a remarkable transformation, aside from the antlers atop its head. It bore no distinction from a human. This was his first encounter with such a creature. What else could be deemed as extraordinary talent? With such potential, it was certain that profound insights awaited discovery. He could not let this opportunity slip by. Enough of your absurdities. You, scholar, are audacious indeed, spouting such grandiose claims. Do you not fear the wrath of heaven? The Dragon Maiden furrowed her brow and reprimanded him sternly. It was her first experience with someone so brazen. To claim that merely reading your novel could lead to enlightenment. Why not assert that a mere glance could suffice for transcendence? What is wrong with you, dear spirit? If you choose not to purchase, that is your prerogative, but to curse me with thunderbolts is uncalled for. Su Xuan retorted, his conviction unwavering. He was not deceiving, theoretically. With sufficient talent, achieving the realm of the protagonists in his novel was not impossible, perhaps even surpassing them. Silence. I shall reiterate. I am not a deer spirit. Then what are you? I am neither demon nor human. Then what exactly are you? Su Xuan asked, perplexed. Had this deer spirit lost its senses? To claim it was neither demon nor human, what could that possibly mean? Surely it could not be a human-demon hybrid. Foolishness. The Dragon Maiden's brows furrowed in agitation. After all these years of unwavering Buddhist resolve, she found herself perturbed by this human-esque insolence. Su Xuan fell silent, a flicker of astonishment in his eyes. When the deer spirit had become enraged, he sensed an extraordinary aura, powerful and ineffable. It appeared that this deer spirit possessed significant abilities, explaining its haughty demeanor. With this thought, Su Xuan turned and retreated to his shop. Since the spirit was unwilling to engage, he saw no reason to force an interaction. Times had changed. He was no longer in one of clientele. The Dragon Maiden regained her composure, her mind settling once more. She realized she had stooped to the level of a mortal in her discourse. It seemed that years without a breakthrough had begun to sow the seeds of doubt in her mind. Resolute now, she reaffirmed her mission to locate the reincarnated Buddha and return him to Spirit Mountain. She was certain that such a feat would allow her to advance beyond her current limits. With a decisive gesture, the Dragon Maiden took flight, meticulously searching the Su Xuan ridge. The reincarnated Buddha would surely wish to remain concealed, thus suppressing his aura. She needed to be vigilant. After a while, suddenly, the Dragon Maiden sensed a profound aura of Buddhist law, and a look of surprise graced her exquisitely gentle face. Heaven rewards the diligent. At last, she had discovered it. It seemed rather effortless. The Dragon Maiden swiftly soared towards this ethereal presence. As she approached, she pressed down on the auspicious clouds. For it would be impolite to fly directly to a Buddha. At that moment, another wave of Mahayana Buddhist energy emerged, equally grand, yet distinct from the previous one. The Dragon Maiden was momentarily taken aback, her beautiful eyes reflecting a hint of confusion. What was happening? Another presence? Could it be a pair? After a moment of contemplation, the bewilderment in her gaze transformed into joy. This concealed Buddha had eluded even the Buddha himself. Surely, he wished to remain undisclosed. Originally, her quest was to seek one, but now it had become two, and her merits doubled. Upon returning, the Buddha would surely be delighted. A buy one, get one free deal. Hee hee. The dragon maiden quickened her pace, her face radiating with blissful smiles, eager to reach their side. Just then, another profound aura of Buddhist law rose, differing yet again from the previous two. What? The dragon maiden stood frozen, her smile stiffening. What was happening? Another Buddha? Could it be that this group of Buddhas had all reincarnated together? Surely not. The joyful expression on her lovely face faded, replaced by uncertainty. Sometimes, too much of a good thing can be overwhelming. She began to feel anxious. Reincarnated Buddhas emerge only once in tens of thousands of years, yet today she encountered 3. Had she exhausted a lifetime's worth of good fortune? Unable to contain herself any longer, the dragon maiden took flight, hastily approaching. Boom! A grand aura of Buddhist law ascended, seemingly more powerful than the previous 3 due to her proximity. The dragon maiden halted abruptly, nearly tumbling headfirst to the ground, like a celestial maiden descending in a graceless manner. Had she inadvertently intruded upon the Buddha's sanctuary? How infuriating! Someone must be toying with her. The dragon maiden's expression turned frosty as she gritted her teeth and quickly made her way closer, landing beneath a towering tree. In the distance loomed a flattened mountain peak, towering over 1,000 feet, where a gathering of beings sat around an enormous long table, feasting and conversing. The dragon maiden furrowed her delicate brows, utterly perplexed. The previous aura had emanated from this very place, yet here were nothing but monsters. Where were the Buddhas? Could it be that the Buddhas had inadvertently reincarnated as demons? But how could it be that all 4 Buddhas had erred in their paths? The expression on the dragon maiden's breathtaking face fluctuated between light and shadow, her small horns blushing a deeper shade of pink, her emotional thermometer. In any case, her heart was anything but tranquil at this moment. After a brief pause, she formed a mystical seal, causing the ethereal energy surrounding her to dissipate, transforming her into a somewhat comely woman, though her deer-like antlers remained unchanged. She deliberately kept it. Otherwise, how could she mingle with this group of monsters? After her transformation, the dragon maiden wore a bewildered expression as she approached them. What are you all doing? The gathering of demons, who were drinking and chatting, turned to look at her, and upon recognizing one of their own, they relaxed. One of the bull-headed creatures, somewhat displeased, scolded, "Where did this deer demon come from?" Chapter 8. The Immortal Master's Gathering. Abundant powers, I am not a deer demon, the dragon maiden replied, her voice tinged with irritation. Just moments ago, she had wished to integrate with these creatures, yet right from the start, they had crossed her bottom line. I say, little demon, our origins cannot be altered, but through diligent effort, one can change their fate. Why are you so unwilling to acknowledge your lineage? What is wrong with being a deer demon? Do we look down upon you? A birdman holding a wine bowl reprimanded. Go sit in the back, he added dismissively. The dragon maiden was taken aback, rendered speechless. Were it not for her uncertainty about the presence of a Buddha, she might have lost her temper. After a moment's pause, she obediently walked to the back row of seats. Before her stretched a long table, so lengthy that those at either end could hardly see one another, with over 100 monsters seated. They were a bizarre assortment, from those soaring in the skies to those swimming in the waters and running on land. At the head of the table sat a wolf demon adorned with green fur atop his head, the heavenly wolf king. Through relentless effort, he had finally secured the position of the immortal master's top disciple, now the first among the demons to attain the status of celestial immortal, naturally making him the most powerful. Next to him sat the bull-headed man, who had led the demons to meet the immortal master, earning the gratitude of the gathering and establishing a prominent status among them. The dragon maiden took a seat at the far end, her face cold and unsmiling. That deer demon, who recommended you? Do you have proof? Just as she settled down, a wild boar spirit inquired, drawing respectful glances from the other demons. He had mastered formidable powers, which the demons regarded as one of the supreme techniques, possessed by only a select few. I have no proof. I merely saw you all gathered together and thought to join in the festivities, the dragon maiden replied reluctantly. As the esteemed disciple of Guanyin, my presence at your gathering is a privilege for you. The crowd of demons imitated the celestial beings, holding their own immortal master's gathering. She felt utterly drained. To guide the Buddha back to Mount Ling, she had no choice but to endure. Nonsense. Those attending the immortal master's gathering must possess the realm of human immortality. If you truly wish to participate, you must strive for it. Although your origin is humble, with diligence, achieving human immortality is effortless, the heavenly wolf king reprimanded. This rule had been established by the demons who had attained the status of human immortals. In their view, it was absurd for those below this level to attend a gathering named after an immortal master. The dragon maiden contemplated standing up and leaving. She, as the esteemed chief disciple beneath the bodhisattva, possesses the profound cultivation of a Xianxian, standing merely a step away from attaining the exalted realm of a Jingxian. How could it be that a mere little demon dares to speak out against her? The distinction between Xianxian and Jingxian, though seemingly slight, is indeed monumental. Upon reaching the Jingxian realm, one gains the ability to transcend reincarnation and attain immortality. This threshold has consumed countless years of her existence. Yet even so, she remains incomparable to these fledgling little demons who have just barely crossed the threshold of the immortal realm. Ah, Brother Wolf, it is only natural that these little ones desire to witness the extraordinary. Let us forgive her this time, intoned the Minotaur in a deep, resonant voice, striving to ease the tension. Indeed, let us proceed. By the way, have you all had the chance to peruse the new work by our esteemed master? The backdrop is grand, and the powers within rival those of Yangxian. Alas, I have yet to comprehend a single one of the 9 mysteries, lamented a rabbit spirit. The dragon lady, overhearing this, could not suppress a disdainful smile. 9 mysteries? How utterly mundane. What is there to lament? Truly, a congregation of unworldly little demons. The other spirits, upon hearing the rabbit's words, readily agreed, for the 9 mysteries were regarded as one of the supreme celestial arts, notoriously difficult to master. Haha, the 9 mysteries are indeed rare. Each mystery is a supreme celestial art. Alas, my talent is limited, and I have only grasped one thus far. The chief of the Heavenly Wolf King remarked, unable to conceal his pride. Upon hearing this, the assembly of demons gasped in astonishment. Brother Wolf, which mystery have you comprehended? Inquired one of the demons eagerly. The mystery of the word, the Heavenly Wolf King replied with a smile. Brother Wolf, you are truly remarkable. How impressive. The dragon lady scoffed, barely able to contain her disdain. What is there to boast about with such a trivial technique? Brother Wolf, the mystery of the word is said to allow one to suspend time at its utmost mastery, being the swiftest of all techniques described in the texts. Is it as wondrous as the novels portray? Another demon queried with curiosity. The Heavenly Wolf King paused momentarily, stating, I cannot yet suspend time, but traversing 1,000 miles in an instant is within my capabilities. Very well, I shall demonstrate for you. With a flourish, the Heavenly Wolf King rose, holding his wine bowl aloft, and in the next heartbeat transformed into a streak of light, soaring skyward, vanishing from sight in the blink of an eye. By the heavens, such speed is truly terrifying. Not only were the other demons astonished, but even the dragon lady was left speechless. The swiftness of that wolf was astonishing, surpassing her own. How could this be possible? A tempest of disbelief surged within her, leaving her unsettled. Moments later, the Heavenly Wolf King returned, pouring the water from his wine bowl onto the ground. This is water from the North Sea. Now you can grasp the terror of the mystery of the word. Can you not? A briny scent permeated the air. Hiss! The assembly of demons inhaled sharply. The mystery of the word is truly fearsome. The North Sea lies 1,000 miles away, and he has made the journey back and forth in such a brief span of time. The methods employed by the Celestial Master are truly inscrutable. Upon my return, I shall devote myself to the study of the Celestial Master's new tome. My favorite is the Blood Rebirth Secret, which allows one to recover instantly from even the gravest of wounds. In my opinion, the most formidable is the Fight Character Secret. Mastering it enables one to evolve any divine art in existence, thus eliminating the need to learn other techniques. However, I must concede that the most powerful is, in fact, the All-Character Secret, which can instantaneously amplify one's combat prowess tenfold. Who could withstand such might? I also have a fondness for the Weapon Character Secret, which allows one to seize the artifacts of others. Haha. The Dragon Maiden, standing nearby, was rendered speechless. Blood Rebirth? Isn't that the technique of the Great Luo? The ability to evolve any divine art? Do you think you are the Heavenly Tao? An instantaneous tenfold increase in combat strength? Invincible among peers? Is that true? The Dragon Maiden found it hard to believe. Even having witnessed the Star Wolf King's character secret, she still thought it somewhat far-fetched. Learning through novels? I would not believe it even if my life depended on it. Brothers, while you extol one leaf covers the sky, I find the divine arts in Sun Immortal quite commendable as well. Just yesterday, I comprehended a new divine art. I invite you, my fellow Immortals, to judge it. After this proclamation, the creature formed a hand seal, accompanied by a thunderous sound, grand and resounding, as a sacred light enveloped him. Behold, the great thunder sound seal, with a single palm strike. A terrifying force swept in all directions, saturating the very skies of the Celestial Master's assembly with astonishing energy that lingered for an extended period. The assembly of creatures clapped in admiration. While this divine art may not rival the 9 secrets, it is certainly not far behind. Thus, the remaining creatures, unwilling to be outdone, began to showcase their recently comprehended divine arts and techniques. The Celestial Master's assembly was designed for such exchanges, which, in truth, served as a platform for boasting. Each creature presented its most powerful divine art without reservation. Giant Spirit Palm, Bodhi Celestial Script, Treasure, Tai Black Gold Ship, Unmatched Divine Fist. Past Amitabha Scripture. Chapter 9. The Celestial Master is not of this world, with a myriad of divine arts and techniques, as well as treasures being exhibited. It was as if they were given away without cost. The Dragon Maiden was so astonished that her mouth could fit a fist. Are these truly a horde of creatures? She had expected to find a gathering of celestial beings. Although some of these divine arts were of varying strength, and some she regarded with disdain, the powerful ones were utterly astonishing. Should they be introduced into her Buddhist sect, they could stand as some of the highest sacred techniques. What incarnation of the Buddha could there be? It turns out they are merely a band of creatures. The Dragon Maiden finally understood that the aura of the great vehicle Buddhist teachings emanated from some of these creatures. What manner of origin does this so-called Celestial Master possess to educate these beings and impart such profound Buddhist teachings? Such significant matters must be reported to my master. The Dragon Maiden contemplated this deeply, yet she did not rush to depart. She sought to ascertain the truth behind these occurrences. Once the creatures had finished their displays, the Dragon Maiden finally found an opportunity to speak. What exactly is a Celestial Master? And what is this novel you speak of? Upon uttering these words, the conversation once again ignited the prideful display among the myriad of demons. I remarked, you, the dear spirit, must be a recent arrival. How could you be unaware of the existence of a Celestial Master? The Celestial Master is not merely a human being. He is a transcendent figure of great renown. Such ignorance among lesser spirits is troubling. How did you evolve into a spirit without any awareness of your surroundings? Alas, perhaps it is unfair to judge. Her unfamiliarity with the Celestial Master merely indicates her limited fortune, unworthy of such knowledge. The Dragon Maiden spoke. Very well, I shall enlighten you. A demon seated beside the Dragon Maiden carefully retrieved a book from within his robes and placed it delicately before her. This is the Celestial Master's magnum opus. All our skills have been derived from this work. The Dragon Maiden gazed intently at the novel before her. The bold characters Celestial Master of the Sun gleaming with an otherworldly allure. Celestial Master of the Sun? What manner of celestial being is this? The Dragon Maiden skeptically picked up the novel and began to peruse its pages. The story commenced with a scholar determined to achieve success for the sake of his mother, intertwining elements of demons and spirits, reminiscent of folk tales. This seems rather ordinary, she mused, a hint of disdain creeping into her thoughts, yet she persisted in her reading. Before long, the Dragon Maiden found herself intrigued. As the narrative unfolded, it introduced an entirely new cultivation system, markedly different from the one currently known. Ghostly immortals, thunder tribulations, celestial beings of the sun, achieving transcendence, impervious to death? The Amitabha Sutra? Is this the technique that the earlier demon employed? The Dragon Maiden's gaze sharpened, and she settled her mind, attempting to grasp the concepts within. If even a small demon could comprehend it, as an elite disciple of the Buddhist order, it should be well within her capabilities. After a considerable time of contemplation, the Dragon Maiden emerged from her reverie, her expression grave. She had gleaned nothing. Were these demons deceiving her? She continued to turn the pages, and soon, she had read past the halfway mark. Her increasingly impatient actions drew the ire of the book's owner. Dear spirit, mind your manner. Even if you cannot grasp the divine powers, there is no need for such agitation. If your talent is lacking, we shall take our time. A few more readings will suffice. The book is not at fault, and there's no need to vent your frustrations upon it. Am I lacking in talent? The Dragon Maiden's disbelief was palpable, nearly pushing her to the brink of fury. How could such a statement be directed at her, especially by a mere lesser spirit, just as she felt compelled to cast this small demon into the afterlife? A sudden epiphany brushed against her consciousness, and a scripture unfurled. The great method of yin and yang chaos. Eureka! The Dragon Maiden's spirit soared. It was revealed that the lesser spirits had not deceived her after all. Indeed, there exists a transcendent being capable of inscribing divine techniques into novels, allowing one to grasp profound insights merely through reading. It is nothing short of miraculous. Alas, this particular art seems somewhat divergent from the tenets of their Buddhist teachings. Nevertheless, I shall continue to peruse the text. Deep within her heart, she has already selected several intricate Buddhist spells. Should she comprehend even one, her mastery of Buddhism will assuredly advance, paving her way to the esteemed position of a golden immortal. Dear demon, you appear quite elated. Have you attained some formidable mystical power? A curious creature inquired, having noticed the joy illuminating the Dragon Maiden's visage. I have gleaned some insights, she replied, reluctant to elaborate, for her mind was wholly absorbed in the techniques within the book. Just as she settled into her thoughts, another demon spoke up. Dear demon, may I have the book back? Our gathering has concluded. What? The dragon maiden lifted her head, only to find that the assembly of demons was indeed dispersing. Their meeting was merely an occasion for discussion and self-aggrandizement, and now that the boasting had subsided, it was time to depart. Could I borrow that book? The dragon maiden asked, a hint of shyness in her tone. In the next moment, the book was snatched away, the demon clutching it to its chest. Regarding her with disdain. I possess but this one copy. How could I lend it to you? Shall I forego my own reading? The dragon maiden refrained from arguing. Such a precious tome could hardly be lent to another so easily. If you desire it, seek the transcendent being and purchase it yourself. It is 5 taels of silver per volume. Huh. The dragon maiden blinked in disbelief. 5 taels of silver for a single volume? Is that true? The demon regarded her with a look of incredulity, pondering from which obscure corner this dear demon had emerged, so lacking in worldly knowledge. You, dear demon, are making a fuss over nothing. Do you think I would deceive you? And what does this transcendent being look like? Where can I find them? The dragon maiden inquired. Her excitement palpable. A grand opportunity, indeed. I never anticipated that in descending to the mortal realm, I would not encounter the Buddha, yet stumble upon such a remarkable entity. The demon vividly described the figure and provided the location. Upon hearing this, the dragon maiden felt as if struck by a bolt from the blue. Isn't that the scholars selling novels whom I encountered on my way here? How infuriating. The opportunity was already at my doorstep, and I foolishly turned it away. With this realization, she could no longer contain herself, transforming into a streak of luminous brilliance and swiftly vanishing from sight. The demon stood momentarily stunned, a mixture of envy and admiration crossing its features. Unexpectedly, this seemingly simple deer demon had demonstrated remarkable insight. Grasping such a formidable technique after only a brief encounter with the text, the dragon maiden hastened onward, soon arriving near the bookstore. She descended, her expression fraught with conflict. Having previously collided with the transcendent being, should she alter her appearance? What if the transcendent being refused to sell her the book? After a moment's hesitation, she resolved against changing her form. With the limited skills she possessed, would not the transcendent being see through her disguise at a glance? Such an impression would surely worsen her standing. The dragon maiden approached the store with a sense of unease. Before she could utter a word, Su Xuan spoke first. Chapter 10. Has the dragon maiden's comprehension of divine powers gone awry? The arrival of the stone monkey. Hey, that little deer demon, have you come to a realization? Su Xuan, undeterred by the earlier rejection from the deer demon, maintained a cordial demeanor. The dragon maiden paused for a moment, her delicate face adorned with an embarrassed smile as she conveyed her purpose. Su Xuan placed 3 novels, Yang Xian, The Legend of the Great Sage, and A Leaf Covers the Sky, on the counter. Here they are. I want them all. Without hesitation, the dragon maiden acquired all 3, producing the silver she had prepared and placing it on the counter. Subsequently, clutching the novels, she sought refuge in a secluded cave, eagerly opening Yang Xian to peruse its contents. She had long been captivated by the exquisite Buddhist techniques and divine powers within its pages. With a calm heart and focused mind, she immersed herself in understanding. An hour passed, and she had read through most of the novel. Heaven does not forsake those who earnestly seek. The dragon maiden finally grasped a divine power, the celestial maideness law form, the world of Yaoqi. This was a powerful law form capable of manifesting a formidable Yaoqi world body, its might rivaling that of the top-tier Buddhist embodiments. The dragon maiden felt somewhat speechless. While this divine power was indeed impressive, it bore no relation to the Buddhist teachings she sought. What she desired were the techniques of the Buddhist faith. She silently lamented. As an elite disciple of the Buddhist order and the foremost apprentice of Guanyin Bodhisattva, how could she, even as a minor demon, fail to comprehend the Buddhist techniques? Doubt began to creep into her mind regarding her own talents. Was it truly as the little demon had claimed, that her aptitude was lacking? Resolutely, she gritted her teeth and continued her study, this time focusing intently on the Buddhist techniques, skimming over the rest. I refuse to believe I cannot grasp anything from this. Half a day passed, and just as despair began to take hold, a surge of profound understanding flooded her mind. It's here, she exclaimed in delight. Such an overwhelming insight must surely pertain to the pinnacle of Buddhist techniques. However, as she read the introduction, her smile froze. The Book of Creation. What? The dragon maiden felt tears welling up. It was not that this technique lacked strength. On the contrary, it was one of the most formidable techniques in the novel. Yet, as a disciple of the Buddhist faith, why was she continuously presented with techniques from other sects? How could she reconcile being a Buddhist disciple while wielding the top-tier divine powers of other sects? Would she even be able to remain within the Buddhist order? Frustration surged within her chest heaving with tumultuous emotion. She resumed her exploration of the novel, determined that amidst the myriad techniques and divine powers, she would not accept that she could not grasp even a single Buddhist technique. Ding. A sentient being has read Yang Xian and comprehended the divine power the celestial maideness law form, the world of Yaoqi. The host synchronously gains this insight. Ding. As living beings delve into the essence of Yang Xian, they glean insights into the mystical technique book of creation, which the host synchronously acquires. Ding. Su Xuan occasionally hears the familiar chime of the system, a sound he has grown accustomed to. A celestial maiden's manifestation? Which enchantress has derived this? If it were a male demon, that would indeed be intriguing. Casting a fleeting glance, he dismisses it without a second thought. Such divine powers he would never employ. Yet the book of creation holds promise, its principles beyond description. System, display my personal profile. Host, Su Xuan cultivation level, mid-stage celestial immortal techniques, Supreme Tao Sutra. Present world Tathagata Sutra, book of creation, past Amitabha Sutra, True Bone Sutra. Divine powers, treasured moonlight king body, true vacuum, great palm seal, great thunder sound law seal. Secret of word movement, celestial maiden's manifestation, Yaoqi world, cave heaven divine light. Others, overturning sea whip, dragon demon blade, primordial yang sword, heaven shaking, 7 treasures. Attribute points, 2567 unlocked novels. Yang Xian, legend of the great sage, a leaf covers the sky. Alas, the attribute points are still too few. Su Xuan lamented. Beyond exchanging for treasures, attribute points could also enhance comprehension of techniques and divine powers. However, merely elevating secret of word movement to great achievement requires over 1,000 points. Of course, it is not imperative to elevate. After all, he can effortlessly benefit from others' insights, reaping the rewards without effort. Time flows unconsciously in the mountains. During this period, Su Xuan leisurely roamed the majestic peaks, savoring wild delicacies, and time slipped by swiftly. Unbeknownst to him, his cultivation subtly reached the pinnacle of celestial immortal, mere steps away from the true immortal realm. He had never practiced directly, yet many aided his cultivation. Even though many demons possessed low cultivation levels, their sheer numbers contributed significantly, a bit from each aggregated into a formidable force. In stark contrast to Su Xuan's tranquil demeanor, one individual was on the brink of madness, the Dragon Maiden. During this time, she had memorized Yang Xian to the point of fluency, yet she failed to grasp any Buddhist techniques. Conversely, she amassed a plethora of powers from other sects, surpassing her own Buddhist skills in quantity. This was absurd. Presently, she bore no trace of a Buddhist disciple. It's over, it's over. The Dragon Maiden felt tears welling up, her mindset fracturing. Upon her return to the South Sea, would her master cast her aside as a traitor and smite her? No. The Buddha teaches that all beings are equal and all doctrines are profound. As long as I sincerely aspire to the Buddha, even if I cultivate techniques from other sects, my master would not fault me. With renewed determination, the Dragon Maiden resolved that since she had comprehended numerous exquisite techniques, it was indeed her blessing. To not cultivate would be a waste. At that moment, she steeled her heart and began her practice one by one. This practice proved transformative, akin to a fish returning to water, indescribably delightful. And her long stagnant cultivation began to flourish once more. The Dragon Maiden was taken aback. She had never experienced such smooth progress in her cultivation of Buddhist teachings. What could this mean? Was she simply unsuited for the path of Buddhism, or were the techniques described in the novel far too profound, surpassing even her own practices? Meanwhile, Su Xuan sensed a rapid surge in his internal cultivation, unprecedented in its swiftness. As the Dragon Maiden had attained the pinnacle of the celestial realm, her insights into cultivation were now being transferred to Su Xuan, resulting in extraordinary growth, especially considering he was only at the heavenly immortal stage, 2 major realms behind her. Boom. Soon, Su Xuan's cultivation broke through to the true immortal stage, at which point his progress began to decelerate. Unbeknownst to him, his novel had stirred a significant upheaval in the human world surrounding Shichuoling. A book titled Yang Xian, written by a fox demon, was borrowed and copied by students from the academy, spreading far and wide, granting once ordinary humans the potential to pursue immortality. Simultaneously, a stone monkey traversed the seas in search of enlightenment, inadvertently arriving in the southern continent of Nanzhan. Dressed in human attire and speaking human language, he inquired about the whereabouts of immortals. One day, he found himself in a region dominated by endless mountains. Just then, a clear and melodious recitation reached his ears. The world is a vast sea of suffering. People are adrift in it. The physical body is a vessel, while the soul is the passenger within. The vessel carries the passenger toward the other shore. The monkey's eyes lit up, and he followed the sound. Chapter 11. A gift for the Monkey King. The world is a vast sea of suffering. People are adrift in it. The physical body is a vessel, while the soul is the passenger within. The vessel carries the passenger toward the other shore. The monkey murmured these profound words, feeling their exquisite meaning. Crossing the sea of suffering to reach the other shore. Was this not a metaphor for seeking immortality and eternal life? He journeyed across the seas in pursuit of longevity, yearning to escape the cycle of birth, aging, illness, and death. Surely, there must be an immortal here. The monkey, brimming with excitement, approached a private academy, where he beheld a beautiful woman holding a book, teaching her students. As she delved into profound topics, she set the book aside and conjured spells with elegance, resembling a celestial being. The monkey, overwhelmed with enthusiasm, nearly dashed forward but restrained himself, fearing he might disturb the immortal. After what felt like an eternity, the woman's lesson concluded. She tidied up and left the academy, and the monkey stealthily followed her, ultimately reaching a secluded forest. "Monkey, what is your intention in following me?" The woman suddenly turned around, her visage shimmering as she dispelled the illusion, revealing herself to be a fox demon in human form. "You are a demon?" the monkey exclaimed, initially thinking she was an immortal. "I wish to seek your guidance on attaining immortality." Scratching his head in embarrassment, he continued, "I cannot teach you, but if you wish to cultivate and become immortal, I can point you toward a remarkable immortal master within these mountains. If you find him, your wishes may yet be fulfilled." The fox spirit, recognizing a fellow creature, kindly offered a few words of advice to the monkey before turning away and vanishing from sight. Thank you. The monkey bowed in the direction where the fox spirit had disappeared. After searching for quite a while and feeling somewhat fatigued, he patted his slightly shriveled belly. Having not eaten for a day in his journey, he was now quite hungry. "I must find something to eat first." At that moment, a faint yet enticing aroma wafted through the air, prompting the monkey to twitch his nostrils. This scent proved irresistible, intensifying his hunger. Unable to withstand the temptation any longer, he followed the fragrance and, after a winding search, finally discovered its source. There, before a crackling fire, sat a human-like figure roasting chicken. "Excuse me, pardon my intrusion." The monkey approached, a smile stretching across his gaunt face. Su Xuan, taken aback by the oddly dressed monkey spirit before him, blinked in surprise. "Monkey spirit, what brings you here? If you wish to buy a novel, you may enter and choose for yourself." "I am not here to purchase a novel," the monkey replied, scratching his head. "I am merely hungry and was drawn to the delightful aroma of your cooking. I am not from around here." Having traveled from afar and feeling somewhat lost, Su Xuan chuckled, amused by the notion of a spirit distinguishing between local and foreign. "So, you claim to be from out of town? Where do you hail from?" "I come from the Eastern Victory Divine Continent, in the Kingdom of Ally. From the Water Curtain Cave of Flower and Fruit Mountain," the monkey replied. "Flower and Fruit Mountain? Water Curtain Cave? What is your name? Do you have parents?" Su Xuan stood, his composure faltering slightly. Without hesitation, the monkey answered, "I have no parents. I sprang forth from a stone, and thus I have no name." "Sun Wukong?" Su Xuan exclaimed excitedly, dropping the chicken in his astonishment as he gazed at the anthropomorphic monkey before him. "Are you calling me?" the monkey inquired, puzzled, before repeating the name to himself and growing increasingly fond of it, sensing a peculiar charm in it. "How about I adopt the name Sun Wukong from now on? How did you find your way here?" Su Xuan pressed, a storm of thoughts brewing within him. The monkey replied earnestly, "I have traversed seas in search of immortality and a master to learn from. Unbeknownst to me, I arrived in this realm. A fox spirit informed me that there was an immortal atop this mountain. Unfortunately, despite my extensive search, I have yet to encounter any immortal, but I have met you. Esteemed shopkeeper, do you know where this place is?" The monkey looked at the scholar with surprise, thinking, this scholar does not seem dull-witted. How does he not know the location of his own shop? This is the Southern Divine Continent, and this mountain appears to be the 800-li Lion Troop Ridge. Good heavens! Su Xuan was shocked. This truly was the world of Journey to the West, and moreover, it was during the timeline when Sun Wukong sought a master. He now realized he was in the most treacherous demon territory, Lion Troop Ridge, within that narrative. No wonder demons abounded, with nary a human in sight. Fortunately, as per the current timeline, the three kings of Shizhua Ridge have yet to descend to the mortal realm. The system certainly has a knack for stirring things up by bringing him here. Originally, Su Xuan believed this to be merely an ordinary realm of cultivation, and with his present status as a true immortal, he felt quite formidable. However, it has become evident that such arrogance is unfounded. A true immortal holds little significance here, likely struggling even to serve as a mere gatekeeper in the heavenly realm. Since his arrival in this world, Su Xuan has for the first time sensed a hint of impending peril. Strength. It is imperative to elevate his power swiftly, at least to the realm of the great Luo Golden Immortal, to attain a modicum of self-preservation. for he cannot discern whether this is solely a world of journey to the west or a grand fusion encompassing the primordial chaos. If it is the latter, even the great Luo golden immortal may prove inadequate, with death hanging by a thread. Is there truly an immortal in this mountain? If not, I shall take my leave, the monkey declared. Having witnessed the demise of his companion, his yearning for immortality intensified. He feared that without finding an immortal to mentor him, he too might meet an untimely end. Immortal? Su Xuan chuckled helplessly, realizing that aside from himself, the fox demon's reference to immortals likely pertains to none other. Now the question arises, should he take Sun Wukong as his disciple? The answer is a resounding no. Should he accept the monkey as a disciple? It would inadvertently disrupt the narrative of journey to the west, and the Buddha might descend to the mortal realm to enact retribution. With his current strength, he could hardly contend with even a hair of the Buddha. Eureka! A spark of inspiration ignited in Su Xuan's eyes as he conceived a mutually beneficial solution. Rather than taking the monkey as a disciple, selling him books would suffice. The monkey's remarkable talent could elevate him to the golden immortal status within a few years. By then, Su Xuan too could attain the golden immortal rank. This risk is one worth taking. Fear not. Wukong, did you not mention your hunger? Let us dine before proceeding. Su Xuan prepared another meal, and after both he and the monkey had eaten, the monkey resumed his quest for the immortal's trace. Su Xuan intercepted him, swiftly producing 3 books from the shop and placing them in the monkey's arms. Our meeting is fated. Consider this a gift from me. A token of remembrance. In return, merely 3 strands of your hair will suffice. Sun Wukong, somewhat perplexed, accepted the offering due to Su Xuan's enthusiasm and willingly plucked 3 strands of hair to present to him. Farewell, scholar, and thank you for your hospitality. The monkey waved in farewell, but after taking a few steps, he was called back by Su Xuan. Remember, you must read the novels I have given you. Observing the profound look in Su Xuan's eyes, Sun Wukong felt a flicker of confusion but nodded earnestly nonetheless. Watching Sun Wukong depart, Su Xuan silently wished, Monkey brother, may you break free from your chains in this lifetime. Chapter 12, Immortal Mentor, I comprehend having departed from Shizhuo Ridge. Sun Wukong navigated various obstacles before boarding a bamboo raft, preparing to sail towards his next destination in search of traces of immortals. On this day, the sea was favorably calm, requiring no paddling, as the waves bore him forth. The monkey, rarely at leisure, found himself rather bored while seated upon the bamboo raft. By nature, he was a creature of motion, disinclined towards stillness. As time passed, Sun Wukong grew increasingly restless, scratching his head in agitation, unable to remain seated. Just then, a memory struck him, the novels bestowed upon him by Su Xuan at their parting. What a splendid way to pass the time. He retrieved the package slung over his back and extracted the books within. What a splendid title, Sun Wukong exclaimed, particularly captivated by one named A Leaf Covers the Sky. Such audacity in a title. Selecting his reading based on names, he eagerly began to peruse A Leaf Covers the Sky. The 9 dragons carrying the coffin? Could it be the coffin of some celestial dignitary? He pondered. And what treasures might the satellites hold? How intriguing. Ah, the chariot. I know this one. It is the steed of the immortals. He gasped in astonishment at the formidable ancient sacred body, and the immortal king soaring through the 9 heavens. As he read, he conversed with himself, applauding at the thrilling moments. The early chapters of this novel were engaging, but as the narrative progressed, his blood began to boil with fervor amidst the battles, as magical artifacts and divine powers manifested. The supreme emperors, each possessing grand ambitions, were unparalleled in their might. Sun Wukong was awestruck. To be invincible in this world demanded tremendous strength. Thus, he continued his reading. Darkness loomed, chaos reigned, and blood flowed as beings fought valiantly to protect the masses, while others, long deceased, returned to battle driven by indomitable will. The monkey reveled in the tale, his heart ablaze with passion, longing to let out a roar to the heavens. Time slipped away unnoticed, and upon finishing A Leaf Covers the Sky, an inexplicable sense of loss welled up within Sun Wukong. What a magnificent story! Who would have imagined that a scholar could possess such grandeur, crafting such an epic novel? He mused, expressing gratitude to Su Xuan. With these 3 novels, his otherwise monotonous journey had acquired a touch of diversion. As he prepared to select another book, a thread of opportunity surged within his dantian, and scriptures manifested in his mind. For grand characters floated in his consciousness, the art of devouring heaven. Was this not the technique of the unparalleled female emperor from the novel? The monkey thought, astonished beyond measure, as an indescribable clarity surged within him, prompting him to involuntarily begin his cultivation. The illustrious female emperor had attained her status through this very technique, ultimately becoming one of the most formidable forces in the narrative. Did this not imply that he too could one day ascend to such heights? The monkey was overwhelmed with excitement, taking a long while to regain his composure. Who was this scholar, after all? To glean such a powerful technique from mere reading seemed utterly unfathomable. He had toiled for ages seeking wisdom, yet here he was, acquiring what he sought through literature. Time to cultivate. I must begin at once. Su Xuan ceased to ponder further and calmed his mind, immersing himself in tranquil cultivation. The devouring heaven demon technique allows one to consume the essence of others to enhance oneself, while also rapidly absorbing the spiritual energy of the universe. Remarkably, after merely half a day's practice, Su Xuan felt an immense surge in his power. Elated by the formidable energy coursing through him, the monkey rejoiced. What need had he for any celestial beings? At this rate, he could ascend to become an immortal himself. He pondered the fates of the other two novels. Picking up the legend of the great sage, he began to read. Ding! As Su Xuan perused a leaf covers the sky, he comprehended the devouring heaven demon technique. And the host synchronously acquired it. Su Xuan paused momentarily, then smiled. Monkey brother is indeed remarkable. His innate understanding is unparalleled. He grasped such a supreme technique right from the start. Just as Su Xuan marveled at the monkey's talent, in a certain part of the Lion-Camel Ridge, a woman imbued with celestial energy and adorned with horns awakened from her meditation, a hint of helplessness gracing her exquisite, ethereal visage. This enchanting, otherworldly beauty was none other than the Dragon Maiden. After a period of rigorous cultivation, her long-stagnant progress finally broke through, reaching the mid-stage of the golden, immortal realm. This should have been a joyous occasion, yet she found herself unable to rejoice. For the breakthrough had not come from Buddhist teachings, but rather from insights gleaned from a novel, leaving her devoid of any semblance of Buddhist essence. Instead, she bore a striking resemblance to a disciple of the Sanqing sect. How would she explain this to her master? With the Buddha gone, she too had transformed. To untie the knot, one must return to the source. A flicker of understanding passed through the Dragon Maiden's luminous eyes. Surely the author of the novel must possess a solution. With this thought, she vanished from her location, reappearing outside Su Xuan's hall. Dear demon, have you finished reading the novels? Apologies, but there are no new releases at present. Su Xuan remarked with a smile upon seeing the dear demon at his threshold. Immortal master, I have not come to purchase novels, but rather to seek your guidance. The Dragon Maiden respectfully stated. A being of such stature must surely have the means to resolve her dilemma. You have come to the wrong person. I am merely a bookseller, not an immortal master. Nevertheless, feel free to ask your questions, Su Xuan chuckled, raising his hands in a gesture of openness. Perhaps this young dear demon harbored some skepticism regarding her existence. Such dilemmas could often be resolved with a few words of wisdom, a task he was quite adept at. It seemed the immortal master was already prepared, as though he had anticipated her quandary. The Dragon Maiden's eyes sparkled, and the small horns atop her head blushed slightly. I have strayed from my path. Strayed from your path? Su Xuan was momentarily taken aback, expecting inquiries about love or the essence of demon life. Yet she posed such an unusual question. This inquiry was both complex and simple. Su Xuan cleared his throat to mask his awkwardness. Having boasted of his prowess, he felt compelled to provide an answer, lest he undermine his own credibility. A sudden inspiration struck him. Su Xuan spoke slowly. The end of the path lies beneath your feet. The Dragon Maiden fell into silence upon hearing this. Did the immortal master mean to convey that the road she was currently traversing was not erroneous, and that it could lead her to the ultimate enlightenment and sanctity? Surely, that must be the case. Noticing the dear spirit's silence, Su Xuan felt a twinge of awkwardness. Had he been too vague or overly profound for her comprehension? Perhaps a more straightforward approach was warranted. As the saying goes, the sea of suffering is boundless. Turning back is the shore. With these words, the Dragon Maiden's eyes lit up. It was a revelation. This phrase, originally a profound truth of Buddhism, indicated that the immortal master had seen through her predicament. Was he subtly hinting that if the path of Buddhist practice proved unfruitful, she should hastily retreat? It had to be so. Otherwise, why was her progress in Buddhist cultivation so sluggish while her advancement in other schools of thought flowed effortlessly, culminating in her breakthrough to the golden immortal stage? Immortal Master, I have comprehended. Chapter 13. The Bodhi Patriarch questions his existence. You have comprehended? What have you understood? Su Xuan asked, utterly baffled. The dear spirit wore a confident expression, as if she grasped everything. Had she misconstrued something? Had he said anything at all? It seemed he had said nothing. Ahem, if you have understood, then proceed, he gestured. Eager to dismiss her, maintaining an air of superiority was exhausting, and he felt he could no longer sustain it. The Dragon Maiden shook her head, her gaze resolute. Immortal Master, you have alleviated my doubts. This is a great kindness, and I wish to repay you. Repay? With your body? A peculiar glint flickered in Su Xuan's eyes. It is but a trivial matter, no need for repayment. Immortal Master, allow me to stay here and assist you. I shall obey your every command without complaint. The Dragon Maiden stated earnestly. Absolutely not. Su Xuan rejected her without a moment's hesitation. Yet the Dragon Maiden seemed unwavering in her resolve, making it difficult for her to be swayed. Thus, she arrived punctually each day, assisting with the business at the establishment. Initially, Su Xuan found this unwelcome, but over time, he discovered that it was not so bad, and he softened his stance. Meanwhile, on the other side, Sun Wukong immersed himself day and night in the study of 3 novels, perusing them repeatedly and discovering new insights each time. He even forgot his original purpose, allowing himself to drift aimlessly upon the surface of the sea. In the Su Xuan cave, the Bodhi Patriarch abruptly ceased his discourse on scriptures. The time was drawing near. Calculating with his fingers, he deduced that the monkey should have arrived by now. He summoned a young attendant. In the coming days, a monkey will arrive seeking to be my disciple. You must keep a watchful eye. Yes. The young servant acknowledged and departed. Days passed swiftly. Has a monkey come to seek the master? The Bodhi Patriarch inquired. Master, there has been none, the attendant replied respectfully, having checked multiple times, finding no sign of the monkey the master had mentioned. None. The Patriarch Bodhi furrowed his brow and raised his hand to calculate. Could it be that the heavenly secrets had deviated? Why has this monkey been adrift at sea, reluctant to come ashore? How peculiar, indeed. The Patriarch felt a twinge of astonishment in his heart. He had anticipated that the monkey would arrive today. With his profound cultivation, it was inconceivable that he could miscalculate. Yet why was there a delay? The monkey was a pivotal piece in the journey to the west, and any error was intolerable. Bodhi Patriarch found himself increasingly restless. Very well, he would wait a few more days. After all, he mused, it would not do to seek out a disciple himself, would it? Days turned into half a month, and the monkey showed no inclination to land, instead drifting further from the Su Xuan cave. What was happening? Why was he moving away rather than approaching? The Patriarch calculated and pondered the reasons for this predicament, but no answers emerged. All he knew was that the monkey was retreating farther away, and at this rate, he might return to Flower Fruit Mountain. The Patriarch's anxiety surged, and he could no longer remain seated. Rising, he stepped forward, and in an instant, the scenery shifted, bringing him to the surface of the Eastern Sea. The journey to the west must not falter. Since a deviation had occurred, he could only take the initiative to rectify it. The Bodhi Patriarch stood calmly upon the waters, awaiting the monkey's arrival, setting the stage for a fortuitous encounter. Soon, the monkey arrived aboard a bamboo raft, swaying gently. Upon seeing him, the Patriarch nearly lost his composure. The monkey was engrossed in a book, oblivious to his presence. No wonder the monkey was delayed. He had become enamored with the tales of the mortal realm. Coughing lightly, the Patriarch intentionally released a breath of ethereal energy. Only then did Sun Wukong notice, as if awakening from a trance, the serene figure of an elder with white hair and youthful features standing before him. Hastily, he tucked the novel away. Old Immortal, could you please move aside? You are blocking my path. Something felt amiss. The Patriarch was momentarily taken aback, confusion flickering in his eyes. Wasn't this monkey supposed to be awestruck and immediately bow down to him as a disciple? Was this truly the monkey that had sprung from the rocks of Flower Fruit Mountain? The Bodhi Patriarch scrutinized the monkey carefully, silently calculating. Indeed, it was he. Unknown to the Patriarch, Sun Wukong had recently broadened his horizons through reading and had begun to develop a rather inflated sense of self. In novels, those grand figures often possess the power to obliterate the heavens and the earth, to alter day into night, wielding immense abilities that render ordinary immortals nearly invisible in their presence. From the monkey's perspective, Master Bodhi is merely an inconsequential minor deity. To take him as a mentor would be less beneficial than immersing oneself in a novel and cultivating one's own skills. Monkey, the ocean is perilous, without skills. It would be wise to return to shore post-haste. I, the old sage, have little to occupy my time and would gladly accompany you for part of your journey. He said, to be frank, no matter where in the world, for me, it is but a fleeting moment. Master Bodhi cleared a path and, undeterred, continued to speak, attempting to pique the monkey's interest. He succeeded. Upon hearing his words, Sun Wukong's eyes shimmered with curiosity. Old sage, does that imply you are quite formidable? Master Bodhi displayed a cryptic smile, replying, well, I cannot claim to be powerful, but I have indeed mastered a few minor techniques such as attaining immortality and manipulating the sun and moon. He understood what the monkey sought and offered precisely that. However, the monkey's subsequent remark nearly caused Master Bodhi to explode with indignation. That sounds rather mediocre. Indeed, just minor techniques. The monkey nodded in agreement. Compared to the awe-inspiring beings in novels, it truly paled in comparison. Had this monkey taken some dubious medicine? Such minor techniques? A flicker of anger crossed Master Bodhi's face. What on earth? Has this monkey been brainwashed? No longer wishing to beat around the bush, Master Bodhi addressed the monkey directly. I perceive you possess some innate talent. Would you consider becoming my closed-door disciple? He knew that coaxing this monkey to take the initiative in seeking mentorship would be quite challenging. Though it might seem undignified to take the first step, for the sake of the grand journey ahead, he felt compelled to do so. To his surprise, the monkey displayed no excitement at his proposal, even displaying a hint of disdain and ambivalence. Master Bodhi was incensed, as a quasi-saint. How could he be dismissed by a mere monkey? Were it not for the grand mission ahead, he would have turned to leave, unwilling to endure such indignity. Fortunately, after a moment of contemplation, the monkey finally acquiesced, albeit reluctantly. Master Bodhi remained unperturbed, confident that once the monkey witnessed his abilities, he would be more than willing to embrace his role. Excellent. Now that you are my disciple, you shall need a name. From henceforth, you shall be known as Sun Master. I have a name now, Sun Wukong, the monkey declared. Master Bodhi was taken aback. Chapter 14. The ancestor of Tao disrupts the future of the great world. Master Bodhi was stunned. He had long contemplated this name. Yet how could the monkey know it? Wukong, who conferred this name upon you? I chose it myself, the monkey replied after a brief pause. He had initially heard it from Su Xuan, found it appealing, and thus adopted it for himself. What a remarkable coincidence. Master Bodhi was deeply astonished, wishing to calculate further, but found himself at a loss. The heavenly secrets appeared to be obscured. Strange indeed, that before the calamity of the journey to the west has even commenced, the heavenly secrets should already be so obscured. In an instant, the patriarch Bodhi waved his sleeve, bringing Sun Wukong back to the cave of the 3 stars and the slanting moon. 33 heavens away. Amidst the chaos sea, a grand Tao palace lay hidden. The palace, with its ancient and simple exterior, encapsulated the profound essence of the Tao's utmost simplicity. Countless laws of heaven and earth ebbed and flowed without cease, among which 3,000 great paths stood remarkably robust, exuding an unfathomable might. This indescribable and unapproachable palace was none other than the Zixiao Palace, the abode of the Taoist Saint Hongjun. Curiously, numerous new great laws had recently emerged. Hongjun wielded immense power, stirring the newly birthed laws outside the Zixiao Palace. These great laws, though newly born and exceedingly fragile, held the potential to ascend to the level of the great Tao if nurtured. Additionally, the once fractured great paths, which had been shattered by successive calamities, now exhibited signs of revival. The entire grand world seemed to be undergoing a profound transformation. Whether this change heralded good or ill remained uncertain. Within his eyes, chaos swirled, evolving, manifesting, and perishing as he divined the future. The myriad great paths were on the verge of boiling over. While terrifying divine thunder rained down upon the boundless chaos sea, each phenomenon signifying Hongjuan's emotional fluctuations. After a long while, tranquility returned. The secrets of heaven were inscrutable. Now that he had merged with the heavenly Tao, why could he not penetrate the veil of mystery? The only conclusion he could draw was that a significant upheaval would soon transpire in the lower realms, with the fortunes of the demon and human races rapidly escalating. Logically, during the calamity of the journey to the west, the Buddhist sect should be experiencing a resurgence. Yet the fortunes of the human and demon races now flourished at a pace no less than that of Buddhism, hinting at a triadic balance of power. Since the primordial era, amidst several great calamities, the demon race had fallen from its former status as a top-tier race to mere mounts for the immortal sects, while the human race had never truly attained strength. Yet now, everything was beginning to shift. At this moment, outside the Zixiao Palace, 3 figures strolled forth, whereupon their presence caused all paths to retreat and all laws to be rendered ineffective. These formidable figures were the primordial lord, the Tao Virtue Lord, and the master of Tongtian. Upon descending to the Zixiao Palace, the 3 saints exchanged glances, with the Tao Virtue Lord Laozi speaking first. Master, why are you agitated? The 3 saints had sensed the aura emanating from Hongjuan's divination of heavenly secrets and had hastened to discern the reasons behind it. Great changes were afoot in the world. Yet whether these changes were beneficial or detrimental remained uncertain, shrouded in a fog of mystery. Hongjun spoke slowly, his voice resonating with grandeur, as the heavenly Tao responded, imbued with myriad resonances and boundless power. Were it not for their status as saints, the magnificent sound of the Tao might have destabilized their hearts, reducing them to mere ashes. The 3 saints felt a chill. There existed a fog so profound that even their master could not penetrate it. Then we shall immediately instruct our disciples to refrain from participating in this calamity, patiently awaiting the unveiling of the mist, declared the primordial lord, surrounded by an abundance of Tao resonance, emanating the sound of the great Tao. During the last great calamity, the disciples of the Chan sect preserved their teachings most intact. Now, with another great tribulation looming, it may very well be their turn. However, every great disaster is often accompanied by tremendous opportunities. It is time for the disciples to stir. Perhaps the turning point lies therein. Hong Jun spoke once more. Excellent. Lingshan, the great thunder sound temple. The majestic golden form of the Tathagata Buddha enveloped the entire Lingshan, expounding the Dharma and proclaiming grand aspirations. At that moment, his teachings paused, and with a fleeting thought, he comprehended everything. He had received the transmission from Patriarch Bodhi. The Monkey King had entered the tribulation, and all was proceeding smoothly. Patriarch Bodhi, a revered figure among the Western saints, played a crucial role in the forthcoming journey to the West during the flourishing of Buddhism. Heaven bless our teachings. Avalokiteshvara, the Monkey King has entered the tribulation. How is the arrangement for the 81 trials progressing? Revered Buddha, the 81 trials have been meticulously planned and can be executed at any moment. The Tathagata Buddha gently touched his colossal head. Well done, well done. Expedite the arrangements. Yes, my Buddha, Avalokiteshvara replied. After the assembly disbanded, Avalokiteshvara intercepted the Bodhisattvas Manjushri and Samantabhadra at the foot of Lingshan, explaining her intent. She sought to borrow the steeds of the two Bodhisattvas, the blue lion and the white elephant, as part of the 81 trials. Upon hearing her request, the two Bodhisattvas readily acquiesced. Avalokiteshvara was acting on behalf of the Buddha to manage the journey to the West. Denying her would be tantamount to denying the Buddha himself, a sin they could not bear. Upon receiving the blue lion and the white elephant, Avalokiteshvara hastened to the heavenly court. This journey to the West could not solely rely on the Monkey King. Additional aids were essential. These aids, once the tribulation concluded, would naturally seek refuge in Buddhism. Thus they could not originate from within their own sect. After some twists and turns, Avalokiteshvara finally arrived at the Lingshao Palace, where the Jade Emperor, the sovereign of the three realms, sat in grandeur. Great Celestial Lord, the journey to the West is about to commence. I am here to request the use of a few individuals, Avalokiteshvara stated, outlining her purpose. The magnificent form of the Jade Emperor radiated boundless merit, as if a great sun hung above his head, surrounded by auspicious signs that sang praises. Speak, what individuals do you require? The Jade Emperor, aware of Avalokiteshvara's intentions, was nonetheless resigned to grant her request, as long as it was not excessive. Your Majesty, I only require 2 individuals, the clear source mysterious Tao, the second Lord of Manifestation, Yang Jian, and the formidable and illustrious, the great deity Neza of the 3 altars. Avalokiteshvara boldly proclaimed, as if discussing a trivial matter. Unacceptable. These 2 are of great importance to me and cannot be spared. The Jade Emperor responded with a hint of irritation. Yang Jian and Neza were not only rare talents of the heavenly court, but also the most outstanding disciples of the Chan sect's 3rd generation. How could they be allowed to be swayed by Buddhism? Your Majesty, these 2 are crucial for the upcoming journey to the West. Should there be any delays? Are you threatening me? I see you have forgotten who is the true sovereign of the 3 realms. The Jade Emperor's eyes flickered with a terrifying divine light, his immense power akin to celestial might. Guanyin, struck as if by thunder, turned pale. A quasi-saint. She had been careless, momentarily at a loss for words. Presently, the 3 realms were still under the dominion of the Jade Emperor. As a fully realized Deluo Golden Immortal, she was but a thread away from the realm of quasi-saint, yet that thread was as insurmountable as a chasm. However, once the trials of the journey to the West concluded, she would surely advance further into the quasi-saint domain. At that time, the position of sovereign over the 3 realms would rightfully belong to her in the Buddhist order. Chapter 15. The rank of magical artifacts. The monkey's divine powers. Your Majesty, please temper your wrath. It was I who overstepped. Despite her reluctance, Guanyin had no choice but to relent. I shall arrange the 2 candidates you desire. The Jade Emperor's tone brooked no dissent. Indeed, with a heavy heart, Guanyin departed from the heavenly court, hastening to her next destination. Ding. It has been detected that Sun Wukong is reading the legend of the great sage and comprehending the divine technique Imperial Extreme Shocking Fist. The host synchronously acquires it. Ding. It has been detected that a living being is reading a leaf covers the sky and comprehending the magical artifact map of mountains and rivers. The host synchronously acquires it. Oh, there are so many magical artifacts they can hardly be contained. Observing the eclectic assortment of artifacts piling up in the system space, Su Xuan sighed. According to the lore of the primordial journey to the West, most of these artifacts were of the postnatal spiritual treasure or postnatal supreme treasure grade, which he regarded with a measure of disdain. The classification of artifacts is as follows: postnatal spiritual treasures, postnatal supreme treasures, innate spiritual treasures, innate supreme treasures, chaotic spiritual treasures. and chaotic supreme treasures. Each category contains varying qualities: inferior, medium, superior, and supreme. Noticing the recently attended to Dragon Maiden, who had just finished her tasks, Su Xuan waved her over. "Dear demon, come here for a moment." "Boss, what can I do for you?" the Dragon Maiden inquired, puzzled. This appellation was requested by Su Xuan, as he found it more pleasing to the ear than Immortal Master. The term Immortal Master sounded rather like a charlatan. "You've worked hard lately. Here is a magical artifact as a token of your compensation." As he spoke, Su Xuan produced a large seal, the name of which he had forgotten, something like the Human Emperor seal or the Baoshan seal, originating from a leaf covers the sky. This was not entirely his fault. With so many artifacts, it was easy to mix them up. Postnatal supreme treasure? The Dragon Maiden was taken aback, then shook her head. "Boss, this is far too precious. I cannot accept it." She believed in the principle of no reward without effort. Having merely assisted the Immortal Master in selling books, she had not exerted herself significantly, and thus could not accept such a valuable gift. In this world, following numerous cataclysms that shattered countless treasures, postnatal artifacts had become exceedingly rare. The artifact currently wielded by the Dragon Maiden was merely a postnatal spiritual treasure. "Do you still not fancy it or regard it as beneath you? I am your boss. There is no need for such formality with me." Su Xuan chuckled, having found the dear demon rather amusing over their time together. After all, he possessed an abundance of treasures that he could afford to part with a few without concern. "No need, my lord. This is what I ought to do." As the Dragon Maiden spoke, she abruptly fell silent, bewildered by the dazzling light before her. What brilliance! It was blinding. A plethora of magical artifacts lay piled in front of her, their radiance resembling that of a miniature sun, rendering her unable to open her eyes. Su Xuan waved his hand to dissipate the light, revealing his handsome visage. "Come, dear spirit, do not hesitate. Feel free to choose." The Dragon Maiden was utterly astounded. Just moments ago, she had deemed a single acquired treasure far too precious, and now she was confronted with an entire collection, exclusively composed of acquired spiritual treasures and artifacts. Su Xuan observed her astonishment with a knowing smile and decided to assist her in selecting, understanding that the little spirit had not yet experienced much of the world. The Holy Maiden's robe, imbued with the power of the stars, served as a defensive magical artifact. After analyzing the system, Su Xuan recognized the origins of these treasures. The 7 treasures of Trembling Heaven, a combination of 7 magical artifacts, were versatile in offense and defense. As he introduced them, he continued to hand them to the Dragon Maiden. She was so overwhelmed that she forgot to refuse. He managed to bestow 5 or 6 magical artifacts upon her before he finally ceased, realizing that she could no longer accommodate anymore. The Dragon Maiden, deeply moved, wished to reveal her identity and intentions, but Su Xuan interrupted with a wave of his hand. "Little dear spirit, you must strive in your cultivation. Great changes are on the horizon. Without strength, even self-preservation will be a challenge." With the appearance of Sun Wukong, the journey to the west was nearing its commencement. If the original tale were to unfold, the future Lion Camel Ridge would be home to 3 terrifying demon kings, making it exceedingly difficult for a dear spirit to survive as part of that realm. A little spirit without backing was merely fodder, easily extinguished without a second thought. Once, the demon race had been a top-tier lineage, sharing dominion with the witch race, yet now they were relegated to mounts and cannon fodder. The Dragon Maiden nodded heavily, her gaze revealing a complex mixture of emotions. All right, you need not be overly frightened. As long as I am here, safeguarding your life will not be an issue." Su Xuan reassured her with a smile. The little dear spirit seemed intimidated, her complexion shifting. Such a timid heart. Currently, his cultivation had reached the late stage of true immortal, a testament to his rapid advancement. By the time the journey to the west officially commenced, he would undoubtedly possess at least golden immortal level prowess, coupled with the multitude of magical artifacts at his disposal. Ensuring the survival of a little spirit would be quite effortless. A flicker of unique warmth crossed the Dragon Maiden's eyes, and though she remained silent, her unspoken feelings lingered in the air. If Su Xuan had been observant enough, he would have noticed that the little spirit's delicate antlers had taken on a deeper shade of pink. At Lingtai Fengsuan Mountain, within the 3 stars slanting moon cave, the venerable Bodhi Patriarch, with an air of solemnity, was imparting teachings to his disciples. His words flowed like clouds and cascading gold lotuses, a myriad of doctrines pouring forth from his lips. Each method was effortlessly wielded, demonstrated with exquisite precision. The natural way of the Tao, the clarity of Zen. The Bodhi Patriarch taught without discrimination, as the surrounding flora swayed gently, and the avian and terrestrial creatures alike listened intently. Under the guidance of the Taoist master, over 100 disciples found themselves immersed in profound insights, reaping substantial benefits. Among them, however, one figure clad in a long robe stood out conspicuously, a monkey, who frequently scratched his head and gazed around in confusion. This monkey was none other than Su Xuan. As he attended the teachings of Patriarch Bodhi for the first time, he found the discourse far too intricate to grasp, leaving him utterly disengaged. Casting a furtive glance around to ensure no one was watching, the monkey discreetly retrieved a novel from his robes, resting it upon his knees as he delved into its pages with rapt attention. The book he was engrossed in was the legend of the great sage, which contained a particular technique that fascinated him. Although he had yet to comprehend it despite multiple readings, the monkey possessed an indomitable spirit. He was determined not to relent until he understood. Half an hour passed, and the teachings of Patriarch Bodhi approached their conclusion. Perhaps due to the profound nature of the doctrines being imparted, a sudden epiphany struck the monkey, inundating his mind with a torrent of enlightenment, akin to a tidal wave. This surge of realization persisted for the duration of a stick of incense before the monkey fully assimilated its essence. The technique in question was none other than the most formidable skill practiced by the protagonist in the legend of the great sage, known as the 9 transformations of gods and demons. These transformations included the bull demon's immense strength sinking into the mire, the tiger demon's bone-forging frenzy, the ape demon's fruitless quest for the moon, and the serpent demon's unwavering resolve to swallow the sun, the spirit tortoise's auspicious portents of fortune and misfortune, the phoenix's rebirth without death, the Chilan's compassion for all beings, and the divine dragon's celestial journey through creation, ultimately culminating in the unchanging nature of the 9 transformations of gods and demons. This was a supreme technique that could lead one directly to the pinnacle of the Tao. Ecstatic, Su Xuan began to fidget and dance with joy, a broad smile lighting up his face. This commotion caught the attention of Patriarch Bodhi, who halted his lecture and turned to the monkey, exclaiming, "You, monkey, what has driven you to such madness that you disregard my teachings?" Chapter 16. Bodhi, why does this monkey refuse to follow the established order? The other disciples glared at the monkey, their expressions tinged with irritation. They were on the verge of a breakthrough when this monkey's disruption interrupted the crucial conclusion of the lesson, akin to the discomfort of a halted bowel movement. Just as they were ready to ascend, their progress was abruptly stifled, leaving them in an unbearable state. Realizing his fault, the monkey sheepishly scratched his head and replied, "My apologies, truly. I was overcome with enlightenment and could not contain my joy. Please excuse my outburst." Enlightenment? You were clearly engrossed in a novel. I saw it with my own eyes. The monkey's antics could hardly escape the discerning gaze of Patriarch Bodhi. This monkey was utterly incorrigible, lost in the realm of fiction, neglecting his cultivation. At this rate, how could he ever embark on the journey to the west? He might not even be able to defeat the minor demons, stumbling at the first challenge. Patriarch Bodhi inquired, "Since you claim to have gained insight, I shall test you. What have you comprehended? Should you fail to articulate your understanding, I shall impose a punishment upon you." Wukong scratched his head once more, "Master. I found enlightenment through the novel and uncovered a powerful technique." "Nonsense. You foolish monkey, lost in your tales. Let me ask you this. Can reading a novel grant you immortality? Does it contain the methods I have taught you for transcending? Can it ensure your everlasting life?" Patriarch Bodhi admonished loudly, fearing that if this monkey continued down such a path, he would never attain mastery and would remain entangled in trivialities. A monkey, somewhat sheepishly, began to speak, only to be interrupted. "Enough, you wayward disciple. You have been following me for some time now, yet you show no signs of progress. Tell me, what skills do you wish to learn from me?" The venerable Bodhi master said with a solemn expression. In his heart, the monkey grumbled, "I never intended to follow you. It was you who chose to take me as your disciple." However, he dared not voice his thoughts. "As your disciple, I am eager to learn whatever you teach." He replied, "Everything you wish to learn?" The Bodhi master suppressed a smile, fully aware of the monkey's true intentions. The monkey sought immortality, and he knew that ordinary skills would not suffice. This is just as well. I shall take the opportunity to teach him a lesson about the difficulty of attaining the profound skill of eternal life. If it were easily attained, it would not be valued. This applies to all beings, be they human, celestial, or demonic. The Bodhi master had already devised a complete strategy in his mind. "Well then, shall I teach you the way of the arts?" he inquired. "I shall learn," the monkey declared eagerly. The Bodhi master paused, momentarily taken aback. Despite his extensive knowledge and abilities, he found himself perplexed. This was unusual. Why was the monkey not adhering to the expected pattern? Had his tone been too harsh, frightening the monkey into submission? Surely, that must be the case. "Do not be hasty in your agreement. I possess many techniques and other skills. Would you care to hear about them?" the Bodhi master asked, his tone considerably softer than before. "No need, master. I wish to learn this one," Su Xuan replied. Waving his hand with a hint of impatience, eager to return to his newfound understanding of the 9 transformations of deities and demons for further study. The Bodhimaster, enraged, descended from the high platform, wielding a disciplinary stick. Rest well tonight. Tomorrow, I shall teach you the way of the arts. With that, he gently tapped the monkey's head 3 times with the stick before turning to leave. This was the Bodhimaster's final act of stubbornness, a strong hint. Nearly as if he were pulling the monkey by the ear and instructing him, "Come find me at the 3rd watch of the night." The former monkey would have easily grasped the underlying meaning. However, the current monkey had changed. Instead of contemplating the deeper significance, he indignantly cursed the Bodhimaster for his unwarranted reprimand, deeming it quite impolite. Upon returning to his chamber, Su Xuan sat cross-legged on his bed, focusing on the insights in his mind as he began to cultivate the 9 transformations of deities and demons. Born from the celestial stone that Nuwa used to mend the heavens, the monkey was innately intelligent, with extraordinary potential and formidable lineage. His aptitude for cultivation was undoubtedly top tier, and he swiftly ascended to the 1st level of the 9 transformations, his frail body emanating astonishing strength. As night fell, the Bodhimaster gazed up at the sky, calculating the passage of time. Earlier that day, the monkey had failed to comprehend his profound meaning, allowing him ample time to reflect. Surely, the monkey must have come to his senses by now, scratching his head in regret. When he arrives shortly, I shall deliver a thorough admonition, for you, monkey, have vexed me throughout the day. Subsequently, the Bodhi Patriarch contemplated inwardly, resolving that when the monkey arrived, he must not exhibit excessive rigidity. Rather, everything should unfold naturally and effortlessly. Unbeknownst to him, the night had deepened, drawing near the 3rd watch. The monkey, surprisingly, exhibited remarkable patience, not arriving prematurely. The Bodhi Patriarch, seated upon his bed, was bathed in the moonlight, which radiated an unparalleled sanctity, enhancing his presence. After a while, he found himself increasingly restless. It was well past the 3rd watch, yet the monkey had still not appeared. Had he perhaps overestimated the monkey's wisdom, failing to grasp his profound intentions? No, that could not be the case. His hints had been so evident that even a being of modest intellect should have recognized them. The Bodhi Patriarch, unable to remain still, opted to rise and pace back and forth within the confines of his chamber, pondering whether something had gone awry. Time slipped away unnoticed, and the dawn began to break outside. Su Xuan sat cross-legged on his bed, his slender frame emanating an astonishing energy. After a night of diligent practice, he had reached the 4th level of the 9 transformations of gods and demons, stepping into the realm of immortality, tantalizingly close to the threshold of the 5th level. The 9 transformations were divided into demonic and divine transformations. The first 4 constituted the demonic transformations, while the latter 4 pertained to the divine, culminating in the final transformation of stasis. Beyond the 4th level lay a qualitative change, and the monkey found himself on the cusp of completing the 4th level. Merely a hair's breadth from breaking through. With unwavering resolve, he continued to strive, oblivious to the passage of time. Meanwhile, unbeknownst to him, within a certain chamber, someone was teetering on the brink of madness from waiting. What was happening? What could possibly be the cause? Why had the monkey not arrived? His deductions surely could not be flawed. The monkey, who sought the path to immortality, why would he behave so unusually, disregarding even his subtle hints? Who was it that had disrupted the celestial order? The Bodhi Patriarch paced restlessly within his cramped room, his eyes bloodshot, one hand incessantly calculating with his fingers. Ever since the monkey had set sail to seek a master, things had felt amiss. Not only had he failed to arrive at the Crescent Moon Cave on time, but he had also concocted a name. Now, the monkey's aberrant behavior, neglecting his calculations and leaving him waiting all night, could not be mere coincidence. Surely, there was someone scheming behind the scenes, intent on thwarting the progression of the journey to the west. The Bodhi Patriarch furrowed his brow, descending into contemplation. There were only a few individuals in the universe whose intentions he could not decipher. Who could it be? Was it a sage from the 3 purities? Nuwa? There could be no one else, as he himself was the benefactor of the Western sage, Xuan. Such a significant matter warranted communication with the main body. The Bodhi Patriarch's thoughts stirred, reaching across countless miles to a distant location. A terrifying figure suddenly opened its eyes. Chapter 17. The monkey becomes an immortal in the boundless chaos. Xuan felt a stirring in his heart, fully aware of the message conveyed by the benefactor. His countenance bore an expression of profound sorrow, and within the opening and closing of his eyes, myriad phenomena swirled. He was in the midst of divination. Who could it be that was manipulating events from the shadows? After a considerable pause, tranquility returned. With nothing gained, he found himself ensnared by the veils of destiny, unable to discern even the faintest trace. In the next moment, he arose and moved towards a sacred temple, where an elderly monk donned in simple robes awaited him. This venerable figure was none other than the second saint of the Western teachings, Jane. Zhu Ti conveyed the circumstances to Jane, and they deliberated on a strategy. In my estimation, it appears that Tongtian Daoist is orchestrating this from the shadows. Even after the cataclysm of the Fengshen, he has evidently not relinquished his ambitions. Jane remarked that during the Great Calamity, the Western sect reaped substantial advantages, which contributed to the current prosperity of Buddhism. However, the sect of the Intercepted was left in ruins, virtually annihilated. During the Fengshen conflict, their followers were either vanquished or captured, reduced to mere mounts for the Buddhists. The sect of the Intercepted now stands as a mere shell of its former self. We comply with the heavenly mandate. The journey to the West is a pivotal moment, and our Buddhist order ought to flourish. Should Tongtian attempt to obstruct this, it would be tantamount to defying the heavens. At that juncture, I shall report to my master in the Zixiao Palace and seek his guidance. Zhu Ti continued. We dare not engage directly among the six saints. The most formidable in raw power are Taishang and Tongtian. Taishang relies on cultivation and treasures, while Tongtian specializes in the art of warfare, boasting the strongest offensive capabilities. The Western two saints, however, possess the least strength. There is no rush. I shall pay a visit to Tongtian Daoist. The success of the journey to the West hinges significantly on Tongtian's stance. The flourishing of Buddhism during this venture stands in contrast to the suppression of the Daoist sect. And to prevent Taishang and Yuanshi from causing disruption, it is prudent to cultivate an alliance with Tongtian. As the saying goes, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. The Western two saints attach great importance to this journey to the West. Any misstep could jeopardize not only the resurgence of their faith, but also their own sanctified status. Since Hongjun delivered his teachings in Zixiao Palace, the saints have attained enlightenment. Niwa created humanity. The three pure ones established their teachings, and Taishang passed down the golden elixir path. Meanwhile, Jane and Zhu Ti have yet to make significant contributions, merely issuing grand aspirations and accruing a monumental debt of merit to the heavenly order. Unless they can guide all sentient beings to enlightenment, they risk facing dire consequences when the debts come due. This, too, is one of the motivations for the journey to the West. It can be said that the journey to the West is a matter of life and death, demanding utmost attention. Let us proceed to meet Tongtian Daoist. The two saints journey together towards Jinao Island. Ever since the calamity of the dragon and phoenix, the Western two saints have been instigating turmoil. The war of witches and demons further led to the emergence of the demon emperor's 10 sons, the Golden Crows, ultimately resulting in the great archer Ho-E bringing them down, igniting the witch-demon war. The two saints have navigated through various calamities, consistently emerging unscathed while reaping considerable benefits. Now, for the sake of the journey to the West, they have mobilized once more. Shortly thereafter, the two saints arrived at Jinao Island. It seemed that Tongtian had sensed their approach. As he emerged from the island, his demeanor unfriendly as he regarded the two saints. What brings you here? You shameless old bald donkeys? The teachings of my sect have now ceased to bring harm to you. Goodness, goodness. Fellow Tongtian, we have come today to discuss a matter of great importance. The two sages, with hands clasped in prayer, displayed a visage of compassion. Others may be unaware, but Tongtian perceived the truth. These two saints, appearing to embody the essence of benevolence and universal salvation, harbored ulterior motives, ready to ensnare others without remorse. A significant matter? Could it pertain to the impending calamity of the journey to the West? Tongtian remarked with a veneer of a smile, though his heart was skeptical. He had sensed a hint of divine insight, coupled with his master's words regarding the swelling fortunes of both humans and demons. It seemed that this journey to the West would not unfold easily. Indeed, it also concerns the resurgence of your sect, the Jiejiao, replied the sage. Tongtian's expression shifted slightly, revealing a hint of intrigue. Our sect has already been extinguished. How can there be talk of resurgence? What scheme are these two saints concocting? Gentlemen, shall we have a word in private? Tongtian, now intrigued, wished to discern the true intentions of the two saints. In the 3 stars and crescent moon cave, daylight had fully arrived. Sun Wukong had finally transcended his limits, entering the 5th transformation of the 9 transformations of gods and demons. The preceding 4 transformations focused on the refinement of the physical body, enhancing one's form, while the 5th transformation marked a true qualitative leap, propelling the monkey directly into the realm of true immortality. Feeling the overwhelming power coursing through him, Sun Wukong trembled with excitement. At last, I have become an immortal, and a true immortal at that, all within the span of a single night. How extraordinary! With this thought, he suddenly rose, bowing in the direction of Su Xuan. I shall not forget the grace of your teachings, he mused. From the novels, he had gleaned the devouring heaven's demon art, the 9 transformations of gods and demons, and the supreme divine arts, such as the royal extreme astonishing fist. Such profound kindness could never be overlooked. Subsequently, he exited the chamber. Unable to contain his exhilaration any longer, he danced and leaped, exclaiming in joyous cacophony. After years of searching for the path, achieving true immortality was a cause for unrestrained celebration. Bouncing joyfully towards the morning assembly, he felt a surge of pride, engaging playfully with his fellow disciples, snatching their books and interrupting their meditative practices, laughing heartily. He sought to draw attention, perhaps exhibiting a hint of madness. Some could hardly bear it, casting him angry glares. Yet, among the more astute disciples, whispers of speculation circulated. They surmised that he had received some favor from their ancestor the previous night, explaining his uncharacteristic joy. After all, the ancestor's hints had been rather overt. Those with keen minds could easily discern the signs. In a fleeting moment, envious glances were cast towards the monkey. Despite being the latest arrival and the youngest among them, he had reaped benefits before they did. The ancestor had personally bestowed upon him special privileges. Was it merely because he was a monkey? Foolish monkey, how reckless you are! Even if fortune has smiled upon you, such levity is unbecoming. Where is your composure of a practitioner? A senior brother scolded discontentedly, unable to tolerate the monkey's mischief. So, monkey, have you completed your morning chores? Someone inquired with a laugh. The monkey's so-called morning tasks consisted of fetching water, chopping firewood, and cleaning. Without this unforeseen incident, he would have to endure these chores for 7 years. Not yet, not yet. I shall do it right now. The monkey chuckled heartily, eager to show off. And the opportunity had just presented itself. In the next moment, the monkey inhaled deeply, and suddenly, a fierce wind erupted, sweeping through the 3 stars and slanting moon cave, enveloping the entire Ling Tai Fong Su Xuan mountain. Before long, not a single leaf or piece of debris could be seen in the cave, which appeared spotless as if washed clean. The senior brothers stood with their mouths agape, rendered speechless. Chapter 18. The heavenly reaction. The brothers were utterly dumbfounded. If they recalled correctly, the monkey had only recently arrived at the 3 Stars cave, no different from a mere mortal. What was happening now? Had he ascended to immortality overnight? Look at how well I've completed my tasks. The monkey laughed joyously, never having felt so elated. The others finally regained their senses and, astonished, asked, Junior brother, have you truly become an immortal? Of course. Not only have I become an immortal, but I am also a true immortal, Sun Wukong unabashedly declared. At this revelation, the crowd was struck with astonishment, their feelings a complex mixture of confusion and disbelief. They had toiled for so long, yet the monkey had achieved what they could not in a single night. Who could they turn to for justice? Junior brother, you are truly fortunate to have received the Master's true teachings and acquired such great skills. Congratulations. Upon hearing this, Wukong waved his hand dismissively. Wrong. The master did not teach me any skills. I learned everything from novels. The crowd was perplexed, gathering around with curiosity. One person chuckled, Junior brother, do not jest. We know you visited the master last night. There is no need to deceive us with such pretense. The monkey grew anxious and pulled out a novel from his pocket. I am not joking. If you don't believe me, read it for yourselves. The onlookers glanced at the book, which bore the bold title, A Leaf Covers the Sky. Meanwhile, Su Xuan awakened from his meditation, stretching lazily. My cultivation has broken through to the consummate true immortal stage. As per his usual practice, he opened the system to check the notifications from the night. Sun Wukong read the legend of the great sage and comprehended 9 transformations of gods and demons, achieving a breakthrough to true immortality. The hosts synchronously gained this as well. This notification was particularly eye-catching, and Su Xuan spotted it instantly. Monkey is truly remarkable, achieving true immortality in a single night. Such talent is indeed extraordinary. No wonder his cultivation has reached the consummate true immortal stage. At this rate, he will reach the golden immortal level in no time. Delighted. Accompanied by the rhythmic beeping of notifications, Su Xuan cheerfully got out of bed, opened the door, and began his business. Meanwhile, in the human world surrounding Lion Camel Ridge, since the fox spirit disguised itself as a human teacher and introduced the texts such as Yang Xian, the passage of time has allowed nearly everyone to cultivate their abilities. Those with exceptional talent have even ascended to the realm of immortals. This monumental shift has piqued the interest of the mountain deity of the local earth god. How curious. What could be the reason that everyone is able to cultivate? The mountain deity watched in astonishment as several scholars soared overhead, nearly dropping his jaw to the ground. While it is not unheard of for humans to become immortal, such a widespread phenomenon has never been witnessed before, not even in the ancient primordial era. After spending an entire day uncovering the origins of this occurrence, the earth god found himself even more astonished. Who is this celestial master from the heavens? Achieving immortality through reading novels? Is this a jest? To his shock, the celestial master turned out to be an unparalleled being from the primordial era, intent on revitalizing the human race and enabling everyone to soar like dragons, thus altering the historically humble status of humanity. After sifting through various rumors, the Earth God began to organize the information. How could such a remarkable individual exist within his jurisdiction without his knowledge? This significant matter must be reported to the heavens. Unable to contain himself, the mountain deity returned to his abode and recounted all he had seen and heard to his superior in the celestial court. The deity overseeing all mountain gods and earth is known as the Taishan god, also referred to as the Eastern Emperor, a renowned general from the Fengshan War, Huang Feihu. As Huang Feihu received the news, he was sharing a drink with Neza, the deity of the three altars and the ocean assembly. Having previously worked together in the heavenly court, they maintained a good relationship, often enjoying each other's company over drinks and conversations. Noticing Huang Feihu's sudden daze, Neza curiously inquired, "What has happened?" With a somewhat peculiar expression, Huang Feihu did not conceal the truth and relayed the entire story to Neza. After listening, Neza found himself equally bewildered. A supreme being from the primordial era? Gaining divine powers from reading novels? Everyone turning into dragons? This could lead to chaos, Neza thought to himself. A glimmer of curiosity flickering in his eyes, this celestial master intrigued him. Neza was not one to remain idle, as evidenced by his past mischief that nearly cost him his existence. "Neza, continue your drink. This matter is of great significance, and I shall report it to the Jade Emperor for his judgment." Huang Feihu rose, transforming into a streak of light as he sped toward the Lingxiao Hall. After a series of announcements, he finally stood before the exalted Jade Emperor. "My esteemed minister, what news do you bring?" "Your Majesty, the Earth deity from the lower realms has reported all the details without a hint of concealment." The Jade Emperor fell silent upon hearing this. At a time when the calamity of the journey to the west was imminent, such a strange event had unfolded below. Everyone cultivating, everyone becoming dragons. A primordial being aims to revitalize humanity. In the past, such heresies would have been swiftly dealt with by sending heavenly troops to eradicate them, but today is different. The Western teachings wish for everyone to become Buddhas, while now another seeks for all to become dragons. Is this not a case of dogs biting dogs? Venus, what is your opinion on this matter? The Jade Emperor opened and closed his eyes, casting a glance at the waiting Tai by Jingxing below. Upon hearing the Emperor's words, Tai by Jingxing stepped forward, his mind racing to comprehend the divine will. Typically, for significant matters, His Majesty would exercise unilateral authority, never seeking his counsel. Only ambiguous issues or those he found challenging to articulate would prompt him to solicit input, using Tai by S voice as a conduit. Clearly, this was one such matter. "Your Majesty, I believe these are merely the arrogant claims of mortals, entirely unworthy of concern. It suffices to send someone to impose some restraint," Tai by Jingxing suggested. "Splendid." The Jade Emperor nodded slightly, his spirits lifted. Tai by Jingxing's words resonated deeply with him. While he might not personally manage the situation, appearances must be maintained. Some deities in the hall, overhearing this exchange, began to revel in the misfortune. Regardless of their affiliations or past grievances, they were all disciples of the same mystical lineage. The rising influence of the Western teachings offered them no advantage. Thus, the Jade Emperor decisively proclaimed, his countenance stern, Tai by Jingxing, immediately instruct the Xian Sheng Jinjun to investigate thoroughly, without error. "Your Majesty is indeed wise. Your Majesty is indeed wise." The assembled deities applauded. Tai by Jingxing accepted the command and hastened to the entrance of Guanjiangku. "Is the Erling Jinjun present?" He called out loudly at the entrance of the Zhenjun's residence. There was no response. After a brief pause, several streaks of rainbow light appeared, landing gracefully to reveal 6 figures, the Mei Mountain's 6 brothers. Tai by Jingxing, "What business do you have with my elder brother?" The Mei inquired. "The Grand Celestial One has a mission for Erling Jinjun." "Where has he gone?" Tai by Jingxing asked. "My brother has gone out on business," the Mei replied. Just then, a lady emerged from the Zhenjun's residence, possessing an ethereal beauty and an otherworldly grace, her lively eyes sparkling with depth and charm. Tai by Jingxing, "What matter do you have for my brother? Speak directly to me, and I shall relay your message upon his return," the lady said, walking gracefully with an air of elegance and purity. "Then I must trouble you, fair maiden," Tai by Jingxing responded, elated. Unbeknownst to him, the faces of the Mei Mountain's 6 brothers darkened, their expressions betraying their reluctance to speak, ultimately turning away. After delivering the Emperor's decree, Tai by Jingxing waved his hand in farewell and departed on a cloud. The lady, her exquisite visage adorned with a perfectly measured smile, watched him leave until he vanished from sight. At that moment, a glimmer of cunning flashed in her sparkling eyes. Chapter 19. Yang Chan in the blink of an eye. The lady's demeanor transformed. Just moments ago, she had appeared as a dignified celestial maiden, but now she embodied the whimsical spirit of a mischievous little demoness. How long has my brother been gone? How infuriating. I merely stepped out for a few days, and they confined me. Fortunately, I am quite powerful, having attained the golden immortal status, and have broken free from his restraints. As she spoke, she bit her silver teeth, a malicious smile playing upon her lips. The lady was named Yang Chan, the younger sister of Erlang Xinyangjian. Dear lady, what mischief are you planning now? I must inform you. My dear brother will return shortly, so do not act recklessly. I intend to venture out and fulfill the Jade Emperor's decree. Defying Celestial will could result in dire consequences. Yang Chan said with a smile. I don't believe you for a moment. You clearly just wish to indulge in leisure. The 6 brothers of Meishan silently scoffed. Before they could utter another word, she vanished from sight. Not long after, Yang Chan arrived in the southern continent, near the Shizhuo Ridge. Though she was willful and headstrong, she understood the importance of priorities. First, she would fulfill the Jade Emperor's command, and then she would indulge in her escapades. Finding a secluded spot, she descended upon a cloud, suppressing her celestial aura, thus blending into the mortal realm. As she wandered, she inquired about the whereabouts of the immortal teacher, for the brilliant star had informed her that a pivotal figure, the immortal teacher, had once proclaimed that all should aspire to be like dragons. Unbeknownst to her, Yang Chan found herself amidst an unbroken mountain range. Someone informed her that the immortal teacher resided deep within a great mountain. Could it be this very mountain? From a distance, the entire range emanated a rich celestial aura, shrouded in mist, truly resembling a mountain of immortals. As she ventured closer, her search began to evoke doubt within her. She had encountered numerous monsters, yet none resembled the so-called immortal teacher. Instead, she encountered an array of bizarre creatures. Just then, she caught sight of a rather peculiar structure. Upon approaching, she was taken aback. A bookstore? Could it be that a human had established a shop here? Was it a fear of starvation? Curiosity piqued, Yang Chan entered, only to hear laughter emanating from within. General, haha, you've lost again. This isn't fair. I've said it countless times, elephants cannot cross rivers. I am a dragon elephant. Horses can only jump 2 squares sideways. I am a heavenly steed. Chariots cannot turn corners. I am a divine chariot. What are these two discussing? As Yang Chan stepped in, she saw a man and a woman seated across from each other, manipulating stones on the table. The quaint little shop, though simply decorated, possessed an indescribable beauty. Su Xuan and the Dragon Maiden also noticed the newcomer. The Dragon Maiden rose to greet her, taken aback by the sudden appearance of such a stunning woman, whose beauty was not inferior to her own. Esteemed guest, what would you like to order? The Dragon Maiden inquired with a cheerful demeanor, though a hint of caution flickered in her eyes. Dear demon, is the shop yours? Yang Chan asked, somewhat perplexed. I am not a dear demon. The Dragon Maiden replied through gritted teeth, wishing fervently to swat this woman away. Both women concealed their true auras and backgrounds. Unless one's realm far surpassed theirs, it was nearly impossible to discern their identities. Oh, Yang Chan did not retort further, merely responding with indifference. Huh, that scholar. Are you human? She turned to Su Xuan, who was tidying up the chess pieces, curiosity igniting a spark of gossip in her eyes. A human and a demon. Could this be akin to the tales of forbidden love found in folklore? At that moment, Su Xuan stood up after finishing his task and approached her. Yang Chan finally took a good look at him. He was tall and graceful, with a handsome face, arched sword-like brows, and long, phoenix-like eyes. Coupled with an air of serene detachment, he was indeed extraordinary. A striking scholar. Even though Yang Chan was accustomed to the stunning beauty of her brother, Yang Jian, she felt a momentary thrill at the sight of him. But was the girl human? This place was dangerous. It would be wise to leave soon. Su Xuan regarded the youthful and exquisitely beautiful woman with admiration. This was the world of Journey to the West, where even a mere mortal woman possessed such ethereal beauty. He dared not imagine how breathtaking celestial maidens must be. Yang Chan, feeling a bit indignant, retorted, aren't you human as well? Yet here you are running a shop. She scrutinized him, noting that he hardly appeared to be a fool, wondering why he had established a bookstore in such a place. Su Xuan felt a twinge of embarrassment, silently lamenting his predicament. Did she think he desired this? The system had placed the shop here. What could he do about it? Naturally, he refrained from voicing these thoughts. I have my own plans, he replied enigmatically. Miss, if you have no further business, please step aside. We need to conduct our affairs. The Dragon Maiden interjected, feeling an inexplicable discomfort at the sight of this woman speaking to Su Xuan. Yang Chan shot a glance at her and retorted, who says I have nothing to do? Guests should be welcomed. Do introduce the books you have in your store. With a thud, The dragon maiden slammed a novel onto the counter. 10 taels of silver. No bargaining. Su Xuan, about to suggest that 5 taels would suffice, swallowed his words upon seeing the frost-laden expression on the deer demon's face. Humph, are you robbing me? Do you think I'm ignorant? Yang Chan exclaimed with displeasure. Though she resided in Guangjiangku, she frequently visited the human realm and, being the daughter of a mortal, was quite knowledgeable about worldly matters. Huh, if you can't afford it, kindly step aside. No one is begging you to buy, the dragon maiden sneered. This ignited Yang Chan's temper. Who says I can't afford it? Look at this. A cascade of gold, silver, and jewels tumbled onto the table. In a provocative manner. She grabbed a book and turned to leave, but suddenly recalled something and inquired, by the way, have you heard of the existence of celestial masters? Su Xuan and the dragon maiden exchanged peculiar glances. After a brief pause, Su Xuan replied, I have not heard of them. It would be best if you do not linger here and leave quickly. Thank you, scholar, for your advice. Unlike some demons, you are quite polite. Yang Chan smiled gently at Su Xuan, shot a glare at the dragon maiden, and turned to depart. After departing, Yang Chan began to wander aimlessly, her patience wearing thin as she continued to see no sign of the so-called immortal master. Could it be that the Jade Emperor was deceiving me? It is said that one could attain great mastery simply by reading the novels penned by that immortal, yet that seems utterly implausible. Just then, Yang Chan's gaze sharpened, and she swiftly retrieved the novel she had purchased from the shop, a bold idea blossoming in her mind. Chapter 20. Yang Jian receives the imperial weapon with bare hands. The 4 characters "A leaf covers the sky" were flamboyantly inscribed, exuding a unique charm. What an audacious title. Does that scholar not fear divine retribution? Yang Chan mused, before eagerly flipping open the book and immersing herself in its pages. As she read, her emotions began to swell. Li Xiaoman is a wicked woman. How pitiful is Ziyue? A ruthless empress? Could there truly exist a woman of such unparalleled beauty and extraordinary talent? Gradually, Yang Chan became engrossed, and before she knew it, she approached the conclusion of the tale. At that moment, a small tower suddenly materialized in her mind, spinning endlessly and radiating divine light. What is this? Why does it dwell within my thoughts? With a flicker of intention, Yang Chan attempted to expel the small tower from her consciousness, and to her surprise, it vanished. Yet, before she realized it, the tower appeared before her, quietly hovering and emanating astonishing energy. Is this the West Emperor Tower? After a moment of contemplation, Yang Chan recognized that this small tower was indistinguishable from the imperial weapon wielded by the great emperor described in the novel. Extending her delicate hand, she carefully comprehended its nature, and after a while, she finally grasped the method of utilizing the West Emperor Tower. It possessed both offensive and defensive capabilities, capable of containing all things and suppressing all. This is a treasure of innate level. Yang Chan trembled with excitement, realizing that reading novels could indeed yield such benefits. How utterly astonishing. The Immortal Master. That scholar must be the Immortal Master. Why not the Dragon Maiden? In her heart, Yang Chan hastily dismissed the thought of the Dragon Maiden. Having acquired the treasure, Yang Chan did not return to seek out the Immortal Master. She was eager to rush back and use this tower to subdue her brother, to avenge the grievances of her long-standing confinement. Wait for me, brother. See how I will suppress you. With this thought, she flew even faster. At Guanjingku, before the abode of the true monarch, the 6 brothers of Meishan stood in a straight line, gazing at the strikingly handsome young man adorned in silver armor, a vertical line gracing his forehead. Each of their faces bore expressions of guilt and embarrassment. I was gone for just a moment, and he disappeared? The young man was none other than Yang Jian, the true monarch manifested, the nephew of the Jade Emperor. He had only stepped out for a brief moment, and upon returning, his sister had vanished once more. With the impending calamity of the journey to the west, and given that his sister had a penchant for causing trouble, if he did not keep a closer watch, she might indeed be lost one day. Kong Anyu, the eldest of the 6 brothers of Meishan, stepped forward and clasped his hands in apology, saying, Eldest brother, it is not that we have failed in our duties. As you know, our little sister cannot be scolded or struck. Even you are at a loss with her. What can we possibly do? In her heart, Demei murmured this sentiment, though she dared not voice it aloud. Yang Jian let out a deep sigh. Feeling reluctant to reproach them further, he was well aware of his sister's temperament. He set aside his current tasks, resolutely determined to locate his younger sister as swiftly as possible, even if it meant forcibly bringing her back. His expression grew solemn as he declared, the future dominion of the world shall be guided by the Buddhist sect. Those pious monks, professing righteousness and compassion, are not to be trifled with. I have learned this well through the trials of the Fengshan calamity. With my sister wandering outside, I, as her elder brother, cannot rest easy. Indeed, elder brother. The 6 brothers of Meishan responded in unison, invigorated. Just as they were about to set off, Yang Chan's voice suddenly rang out. Second brother, I have returned. A fleeting smile broke through Yang Jian's stern demeanor, only to vanish just as quickly as he reprimanded her. So you do know how to come back? What did I tell you? This time, unless you are confined until the end of the journey to the West Calamity, you shan't emerge. Very well, second brother. That is precisely my intention, Yang Chan replied cheerfully, showing no signs of panic. When did my sister become so obedient? Has her essence been usurped during her travels? Yang Jian pondered, somewhat bewildered. Before he could gather his thoughts, Yang Chan conjured a resplendent pagoda from seemingly nowhere, its radiance shimmering as it emitted an aura of formidable power. Second brother, surrender yourself. Today I shall subdue you and see how you can confine me. Oh, this is indeed my sister, Yang Jian sighed in relief, a smile creeping onto his face. It seems your excursion has greatly enhanced your capabilities, emboldening you to challenge me. The 6 brothers of Maishan exchanged glances and discreetly retreated to a distance, their expressions betraying a sense of anticipation, as if readying themselves with a small stool and watermelon for the unfolding spectacle. Enough of the trivialities, behold my treasure. Yang Chan's stunning visage adopted a serious expression as she activated the Western Emperor Pagoda, its structure expanding while terrifying runes emerged, divine light enveloping the heavens, and wisps of chaotic energy began to diffuse. The entire Guanjinku trembled, as though on the verge of collapse, an overwhelming might shrouding the void. What manner of treasure is this? Yang Jian's composure shattered as he felt the pressure emanating from the Western Emperor Pagoda, causing his heart to race. A primordial spiritual treasure, or perhaps an innate supreme artifact. Contemplating this, Yang Jian cast aside his initial disdain and summoned his 3-edged blade, channeling immense magical power as the 3rd divine eye on his forehead opened. Law of heaven and earth. Yang Jian's form expanded infinitely, his divine might swelling like an ocean. A terrifying aura that even distant powerful beings sensed with trepidation. What is happening? They wondered in astonishment. Boom. A thunderous sound erupted, reverberating like a mighty bell, resonating with the voice of the heavenly Tao. Clutching the 3-edged blade, he stood as an indomitable warrior, holding the balance of heaven and earth. A true contest of strength against this oppressive force. Open. Yang Jian radiated a resplendent golden aura, delivering a powerful punch that sent tremors through the entire Guanjianku. As if the very earth were tilting, the Western Emperor Tower, suspended above, erupted with a thunderous sound, akin to a celestial bell being struck, and was propelled backward. Suppress him. Yang Chan summoned her magical power, commanding the Western Emperor Tower to once again descend upon her brother in an effort to subdue him. Having been overshadowed by him throughout her life, she finally experienced a sense of triumph. Yang Jian, who primarily practiced the 9 transformations of mysterious arts, had attained a wholly physical form. His blood energy surged like an ocean, vast and overwhelming, obscuring the heavens above. He sheathed his dual-edged blade and unleashed his fists like dragons in a fierce assault. To barehandedly confront a supreme imperial weapon? Yang Chan was taken aback, for entails. Those capable of such feats were unparalleled figures of renown. Yet, she soon recognized the situation was far more complex than she had anticipated. Underestimating her brother's might as the god of war among the 3 realms, the entire Western Emperor Tower trembled violently, as though on the brink of collapse. The resounding booms reverberated in Yang Chan's heart. All right, I concede, you win. Sensing the precariousness of the situation and fearing the tower might shatter under her brother's onslaught, she hastily admitted defeat. Channeling her magic, the Western Emperor Tower diminished in size, transforming into a palm-sized object that nestled within her grasp. Yang Jian retracted his divine energy, restoring tranquility to the surroundings. Externally, he maintained a facade of calmness, yet internally, he felt considerable turmoil. Had his sister been at the same level as him, further activating the tower might have led to an unpredictable outcome. Even if victory were possible, it would not have been easily attained. He pondered, could such a formidable artifact truly have been acquired by his sister through nefarious means? Finally recalling the crucial point, he inquired, Sister, from whence did you obtain this artifact? Chapter 21. The Ancient Holy Body. 9th grade celestial flower. Yang Chan beamed with a radiant smile, hovering before her brother with a pout. What kind of look is that? I, your sister, am a person of great fortune. Acquiring a treasure is but a trivial matter. You seem to be quite ill, Yang Jian replied, maintaining a stern countenance, struggling to believe her words. Seeing her brother's skeptical expression, Yang Chan decided to be forthright, producing a copy of A Leaf Covers the Sky. This artifact is derived from this very novel. You truly must be unwell, Yang Jian remarked, his brows furrowing. Had his sister suffered a blow to the head during her outing? How else could she utter such nonsense? Perhaps he should take her to their master for examination. Do you doubt my words? Yang Chan, exasperated by her brother's incredulous demeanor, recounted the day's events in their entirety. Upon hearing her tale, Yang Jian was taken aback. The immortal master mentioned in the decree from the Jade Emperor truly possessed such extraordinary abilities? In his recollection, individuals of that caliber were typically charlatans who preyed upon faith. The notion that one might actually possess genuine skill was almost unfathomable. Indeed, the immortal master is as strikingly handsome as you, brother, appearing like a scholarly figure. But what use is good looks? Can he match my strength? Yang Jian retorted, his expression unyielding. Let me see that book. It seems you've been duped without even realizing it. As Yang Jian perused the novel in his hands, a hint of disdain flickered across his face. It was nothing extraordinary, merely an ordinary tale, he muttered to himself, steeling his patience to continue reading. Gradually, as the plot unfolded, Yang Jian's expression grew increasingly earnest. The narrative was indeed well crafted, featuring a diverse array of characters, an abundance of mystical powers, and a grand backdrop. I am the heavenly emperor, destined to suppress all adversaries in the world. Upon reading this proclamation, Yang Jian felt a surge of fervor, his excitement awakening the third eye, longing to overturn the very heavens and earth, not for any other reason but the thrill of passion. Brother, what do you think? Yang Chan inquired, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. Yang Jian, too engrossed to respond, only lifted his head after finishing the story, feeling a lingering sense of unfulfillment, yet stubbornly insisting it was decent. But certainly not as miraculous as you claimed. You've been deceived. Just as he spoke, a tremor coursed through his body, astonishment etched across his features. A golden light erupted from within his dantian, signaling a profound transformation within his physical form, as if undergoing some extraordinary metamorphosis. What is happening? Keep your distance. Yang Jian bellowed, as golden divine radiance blossomed, emanating an ancient and majestic aura from his being. Yang Chan, momentarily stunned, nodded like a chick pecking at rice before hastily retreating. At that moment, Yang Jian's body underwent a cataclysmic change, his blood gradually transforming into gold. His already formidable physique was further invigorated by this newfound power, reaching an even greater pinnacle of strength. From her distant vantage point, Yang Chan sensed this overwhelming aura and turned back to glance. In the hazy distance, above Yang Jian, a magnificent ethereal figure seemed to manifest, reminiscent of the primordial creation of the universe, indescribable in its grandeur. This apparition, within every sinew, harbored countless vast worlds, its magnificence immeasurable. Akin to a sovereign of the heavens, an emperor among immortals, radiating a terrifying majesty that could inspire reverence even among celestial beings. The very essence of the world surged. Clouds shattered, and the earth trembled. Is this the ancient sacred body? Yang Chan gasped, her mouth agape in astonishment. At this juncture, the blood within Yang Jian had fully transmuted to gold, yet the transformation was not complete. It was still evolving. As he sat cross-legged upon the ground, Yang Jian channeled the nine turns mystical art, and to his surprise, the barrier that had ensnared him at the pinnacle of the Tai Golden Immortal stage began to loosen. He had anticipated it would take several hundred years to achieve a breakthrough. The gap between the Tai Golden Immortal and the Deluo Golden Immortal seemed slight. Yet in reality, it was as vast as a chasm. Although Yang Jian's foundation was not inferior, it paled in comparison to those with supreme roots. For his father was but an ordinary mortal. However, under the influence of this potent force, his foundation and physique underwent remarkable refinement. And the stagnation he had faced for countless years at the 7th level of the nine turns mystical art suddenly began to yield, yearning to advance to the 8th level. Above Yang Jian's head, a white blossom began to coalesce, as boundless magical energy flowed steadily into it, causing the petals to take shape. To ascend to the grand Tao of the Great Luo, one must first condense the celestial flower, a process known as the convergence of the 3 flowers atop the head. Within Yang Jian, the golden blood has transformed once more into a crimson hue. The celestial flower upon his head has taken the form of 3 petals and is now on the verge of manifesting a 4th. Each petal signifies a level of innate potential. 4, 5, 6 petals. At this moment, more than half of Yang Jian's blood has morphed into red, rendering his physical body akin to that forged from divine gold, capable of commanding the sun and moon with a mere gesture, shattering the stars effortlessly. As the 7th and 8th petals begin to form, an extraordinary phenomenon erupts, resonating with the sound of the great Tao. Dragons and phoenixes appear in auspicious harmony, and benevolent creatures bestow their blessings. Such a grand display draws the attention of the celestial beings across the realms. In the heavenly court, the Haotian mirror reveals every moment. The celestial beings gaze upon the visibly manifesting true monarch, who is striving to breach the great Luo realm, their expressions reflecting sheer astonishment. The blooming of 8 petals signifies an extraordinary aptitude for saintly potential. What arcane power has the Erling god cultivated? The manifestation is so profound that it evokes a sense of reverence among the sentient beings. The Jade Emperor wears an expression of surprise, his gaze shifting as if lost in contemplation. Though Yang Jian has coalesced 8 petals of the celestial flower, his ambition remains insatiable. He produces numerous spiritual treasures, shattering them to release their essence, and consumes countless elixirs, replenishing his nearly depleted magical energy to continue condensing the celestial flower. The attainment of 8 petals is already the pinnacle achievable by most deities, while the 9th is a rarity, accessible only to the sovereigns of the 3 realms, such as the Jade Emperor, the Buddha, and a select few from the Western saints. Achieving this requires not only a robust foundation, but also profound destiny. Yang Jian is determined to transcend his limits and strive for the 9th petal. Concentrate. He roars inwardly, the 9 transformations mystic art surging with fervor. Upon completion of his celestial flower, he will irrevocably ascend to the 8th tier. The 9th petal emerges, gradually solidifying under the immense influx of magical energy. How is this possible? Witnessing this spectacle, some great beings rise in astonishment, their overflowing power shaking the heavens with terrifying force. The 9th petal signifies the emergence of a new sovereign entity within the cosmos, one poised to potentially attain the status of a saint. Despite being hailed as the war god of the 3 realms, Yang Jian's foundation seemingly cannot support the condensation of the 9th petal. Many had theorized that 8 petals represented his ultimate limit, beyond which he could not advance. Yet now, everything has changed. With the completion of the 9th petal, 90% of Yang Jian's blood has transformed into crimson. In that moment, a surge of frenzied ambition ignites within him. It appears he has yet to reach his true limits. Charge forth, he commands, as his surging magical energy incites the brilliant celestial flower above to tremble, seemingly on the brink of collapse. Chapter 22. The gods and Buddhas are astounded. What is he about to do? Some stand dumbfounded, having already condensed the 9th petal. Why has he not ascended to the great Luo? Could it be that he has encountered a setback, and his physical form can no longer endure? Soon enough, their astonishment deepens. Above Yang Jian's head, the originally 9-petal celestial flower suddenly manifested an additional petal's ethereal shadow, dissipating and solidifying in an endless cycle. Was he attempting to condense the 10th celestial flower? Yang Jian's expression morphed into one of fierce determination. The 10th flower was tenfold more arduous to form than the 9th, and his physical form was on the verge of collapse. He was unwilling to concede, sensing that he was merely a hair's breadth away from success, just a whisper away. When he was on the brink of faltering, the blood within him finally completed its transformation, turning a brilliant crimson, radiant and flawless. This was the perfect manifestation of a fully realized sacred body. As the sacred body reached its pinnacle, the 10th celestial flower above Yang Jian's head began to solidify at last. A myriad of extraordinary phenomena unfolded. The celestial kings descended upon the 9 heavens. The chaotic seed of the azure lotus emerged, and the yin-yang chart of life and death presented itself in a cascade of wonders, shaking the cosmos. The 10th flower. Accomplished. The heavenly Tao roared. The great path surged with fervor. In an unknown realm of chaos, several ancient figures opened their eyes, a flicker of astonishment passing through them. The great Luo golden immortal. The flower blooms at the 10th grade. In the celestial court and the spiritual mountains, the pantheon of deities and Buddhas erupted in fervor, their hearts tumultuous as they beheld the figure in the projection. The Jade Emperor, astonished, rose from his throne, rendered speechless. When he attained the great Luo, he too had only reached the 9th grade of bloom, yet his nephew's potential surpassed even his own. The concept of a 10th grade bloom is extraordinary. Legends say that only the 3 purities, the Tao ancestor, and a select few beings from the dawn of creation have ever condensed a 10th grade celestial flower. Yang Jian had achieved a height comparable to such illustrious entities, even surpassing some saints. What merit or capability did this nephew possess? A 10th grade celestial flower. Were it not for the heavenly decree stating that a sage must be of the 6th grade, his ascension to sainthood would be a certainty. It is no wonder the Jade Emperor was astounded. Yang Jian's mother was the sister of the Jade Emperor, although her roots were commendable. They paled in comparison to the Emperor's lineage. Moreover, she had united with a mortal to bear Yang Jian, whose roots, while not insignificant, were like dust when compared to the powers of creation. In the spiritual mountains, silence reigned as everyone, from the Buddha to the novice monks, gazed in shock at the projection of Yang Jian. This was utterly illogical, so exceedingly unreasonable. The expression on the Buddha's face shifted from compassion to confusion. Logically, during the tribulations of the journey to the West, it should have been the Buddhist practitioners who flourished. Yet here was Yang Jian, a disciple of the Chan teaching and a worker of the celestial court, thriving beyond reason. Heavenly Tao, have you chosen the wrong individual? The Buddha gazed skyward, his heart filled with sorrow and indignation. No, there must be something amiss. As the Buddha focused his thoughts, he attempted to unravel the enigma. But the heavenly secrets were elusive and unclear. Thus, he summoned the Bodhisattva, Guanyin, ascertain where Yang Jian has recently been. Has he seized an opportunity that rightfully belongs to our Buddhist teachings? The tribulations of the journey to the West, after all, should cast Buddhism as the main protagonist. Yes. Guanyin nodded, committing it to memory. The deities of the celestial court also sensed that something was amiss. A quick-witted individual had a sudden epiphany, contemplating the critical point. Yang Jian was once commissioned by the Jade Emperor to investigate the so-called immortal master in the mortal realm, rumored to possess extraordinary powers that could be comprehended merely through reading his novels. Could it truly be the case? While the celestial beings, Buddhas, demons, and gods of the three realms speculated on the implications, Su Xuan reveled in the joy of a bountiful harvest. Not long ago, a sudden system notification informed him that someone had attained the perfected primordial sacred body. System, integrate the perfected sacred body. After the dragon maiden concluded her duties, Su Xuan closed the door and commenced the integration of the perfected sacred body. Boom. A golden point erupted from his dantian, and Su Xuan's aura began to ascend. Sitting cross-legged like an ancient golden deity, his originally crimson blood began to transform into gold, and once it fully transitioned, it reverted back to red. This process endured for quite some time. Su Xuan felt his physical strength surging at a terrifying pace. The might of the perfected sacred body was immeasurable. In the novels, it is described as a formidable physique capable of contending with emperors, and now, manifested in the grand world of Journey to the West, its potency remained formidable. After a while, the blood within Su Xuan shifted from gold back to red, signifying the complete integration of the perfected sacred body. Consequently, his cultivation naturally advanced to the mid-stage of the profound immortal realm. Su Xuan clenched his fist, sensing the vast power within him. Now, a mere punch could obliterate a profound immortal, and he could even subdue golden immortals. How astonishing! With his newfound strength, Su Xuan felt a surge of arrogance and contemplated venturing out for a revel, but this dangerous thought was quickly suppressed. What if he encountered a saint who discerned his aberrant nature and extinguished him? Better to remain cautious for now. Ding! A sentient being reading A Leaf Covers the Sky has obtained the peach tree of immortality, and the host synchronously acquires it. The peach tree of the victorious fighting Buddha? Su Xuan paused for a moment, and upon understanding, he realized that this peach tree differed significantly from that of the Queen Mother of the West. It could only extend life by a few thousand years and aid others in enlightenment, which paled in comparison to the celestial peach tree that could grant immortality. Nevertheless, he decided to plant it and enjoy the peaches. With that thought, Su Xuan retrieved a postnatal treasure and ventured outside to dig the earth for planting. He had no use for magical powers. He simply wished to engage in play. Ling Tai Fonsuan Mountain. 3 stars Slanting Moon Cave. A group of disciples gathered around a stone table, one of whom sat engrossed in reading a novel. Brother Ma, are you nearly done? The hour is almost up. Don't rush me, I'm almost finished. The individual was sweating profusely. This was his 3rd reading of the novel. While others had attained great skills, he had yet to grasp even a single strand. Ever since that day, the monkey revealed that his abilities stemmed from a novel. All the disciples had gone mad over it. With only 3 novels and over 100 disciples, they could hardly share them, leading to a rule that one person would keep track of the time. Some clever ones even copied notes while reading. Haha, I got it. The individual suddenly rose, bursting into hearty laughter, his face radiating an unparalleled sense of satisfaction and exhilaration, indicative of his profound realization of formidable abilities. Congratulations, senior brother. It is my turn now. Amidst the fervent competition among the crowd, within a secluded chamber, Sun Wukong languidly reclined on a bed, engrossed in reading A Leaf Covers the Sky with great delight. The pleasure of exclusive possession was indeed marvelous. The monkey sighed in admiration as he read. Recently, he had developed a fondness for a character from the novel, a fellow monkey endowed with the splendid title of the War Saint Emperor. The monkey greatly admired his prowess and imperial weaponry, delving into them repeatedly, hoping to comprehend their essence one day. Elsewhere, Bodhi Patriarch roused from his meditative state, realizing it was the day for his teachings, certainly a moment long anticipated by his disciples. With this thought, he exited his chamber. Chapter 23, The Enlightenment of the Disciples. This session aimed not only to bestow blessings upon his disciples, but, more importantly, to stimulate the monkey. He planned to deliver an eloquent discourse, confident that the monkey would be stirred. The last time, The monkey failed to grasp his profound intentions, leaving Bodhi somewhat perturbed. However, he soon reconciled with the notion that being a stone monkey, the creature might not yet be fully enlightened. A few more provocations would suffice. Bodhi Patriarch, after preparing himself, arrived at the designated teaching area, only to find himself momentarily bewildered. Not a single soul was present. Had he come to the wrong place? Or perhaps misremembered the date? After a quick calculation, he confirmed that the date was indeed correct. Though he had never specified a precise time for his teachings, it had become customary over the years. As the Patriarch, he held a dignified stance, never enforcing mandatory attendance for his disciples. Yet, it was always a full house, without exception. What was amiss today? Bodhi Patriarch summoned his attendant, instructing, "Go remind them that today is the day of my teachings. Inform them that tardiness will not be tolerated." The attendant complied and departed. After a while, the attendant returned, accompanied by a few reluctant disciples, their expressions betraying their unwillingness. They appeared more as if they were summoned for punishment rather than enlightenment. What is the meaning of this? Bodhi Patriarch inquired, perplexed. Where are the remaining disciples? The attendant, with a constipated expression, replied, "They have matters to attend to. They are unwell and cannot come." That group of disciples, oblivious to their mischief, had lined up to read novels. When informed that the Patriarch's teachings were about to commence, they brazenly claimed to be too occupied. Such words were intolerable. Fearing the Patriarch's anger, the attendant had to forcibly bring along the reluctant disciples. To them, the Patriarch's teachings felt grandiose and abstract, difficult to comprehend, in stark contrast to the easily graspable narratives brought by their junior brother, the monkey. Unwell? All of them unwell? Since when have my teachings lost their allure for you? Bodhi Patriarch's fury ignited, his divine consciousness unfurling, enveloping the entirety of Ling Tai Fong Su Xuan Mountain. He was keen to observe what this group of rebellious disciples was up to. Soon, the master was taken aback. He noticed all the disciples had formed two clusters, whispering amongst themselves, while those seated by the stone table were engrossed in their books. What could possibly be more captivating than the teachings of their revered ancestor? "Master, are you still going to impart your wisdom? I am waiting in line," inquired a somewhat simple-minded disciple, his voice echoing. The moment those words were uttered, a profound silence ensued, akin to the last straw that broke the camel's back. Unable to contain himself any longer, the master stepped forward, instantly arriving in the courtyard where the disciples gathered. The disciples remained oblivious, entirely unaware of the master's presence. "Haha, it's my turn now," one disciple exclaimed joyfully. But before he could finish his laughter, it froze on his face. The master had appeared unexpectedly, his expression remarkably serene, contrasting starkly with his usual benevolence and ethereal demeanor. The unusual behavior of one disciple alerted the others, and they finally noticed their master's arrival, rising in unison to greet him. "Hi Wei, pray tell, what are you all congregated here for?" the master inquired, his tone laced with discontent. Hai Wei, one of the more senior disciples and a favored pupil of the master, stepped forward and respectfully replied, "Master, we are here to cultivate our skills." Upon hearing this, the master erupted in anger, scolding, "Nonsense. Cultivation? Do you think I am oblivious to everything? How can one cultivate by reading novels? Do you not realize that indulging in distractions leads to a loss of ambition? With such frivolous pursuits, when will you ever master the path and descend the mountain? To attain the great way and seek immortality demands not only talent, but also a diligent step-by-step approach. Straying into the path of the unorthodox is utterly unacceptable." The master, visibly agitated, continued to lecture them. Upon discovering the identity of the novel's author, his ire only intensified. It was no wonder that monkey was neglecting his cultivation. His thoughts were consumed by such trivialities. It was bad enough for him, but to propagate this misguided trend among the other disciples was intolerable. "Hand over that novel," the master commanded after his outburst. Some of the reprimanded disciples, having already grasped certain mystical arts, were inherently resistant to the master's words. Now, being asked to surrender the novel felt like a death sentence to them. One bold disciple dared to speak up, "Master, we truly can comprehend the teachings. We are not speaking frivolously. Please, take a look for yourself." The master, still simmering with anger, became even more incensed. "It seems you have become deluded. Return and recite the heart purification mantra 1,000 times. The disciple's face flushed crimson, unable to counter the command. To be driven mad by reading novels and expect the master to join in? How could I have produced such a wayward disciple? "Where's that monkey?" the master inquired. Having failed to spot the monkey among the crowd, the disciples exchanged glances, and before anyone could respond, a cacophony of laughter erupted, signaling the joy of its source. Moments later, the monkey dashed out of the room, exhibiting a rather frenzied demeanor. "Dear brothers, I have once again comprehended a profound mastery." Sun Wukong, filled with exuberance, danced with joy, momentarily neglecting the presence of his revered master in the courtyard. "Oh, a profound mastery? Pray, demonstrate it for me and let me witness what brings you such delight." The voice of the patriarch resonated with calm authority. "Ah, master, you are here too? This mastery I have acquired is somewhat challenging to demonstrate directly." The monkey scratched his head, explaining that the nature of this newfound skill was rather unique and could only be effectively employed in the heat of combat. This revelation incited the patriarch's ire. "You claim to have attained a profound mastery, yet when I request you to showcase it, you assert it cannot be demonstrated? Are you attempting to deceive me? Have you fallen into delusion? Yukong, surrender your writings." The patriarch stated firmly, "Contemplate in silence for 3 years, and upon the conclusion of this period, I shall impart upon you the grand techniques." With a composed demeanor, the patriarch suppressed his rising frustration. After all, the monkey was a pivotal piece in this journey to the west, requiring guidance to remain on the righteous path. Without granting the monkey a chance for rebuttal, the patriarch raised his hand, and the 3 novels nestled in the monkey's possession were summoned into his grasp, as he wielded his mystical power to obliterate the acquired tomes. A sudden thought struck him. Surely, a novel capable of leading so many disciples astray must have been tampered with by someone audacious. "Let me ascertain which audacious soul dares to ensnare my disciple." The patriarch randomly selected a book titled The Sun Immortal. The pages of the book began to turn on their own, suspended in the still air, as the patriarch scrutinized it for any discrepancies. However, his expression soon transformed to one of astonishment. "My grand aspiration is for all to soar like dragons, transcending the other shore." The patriarch gasped, his heart stirred profoundly. Such a magnificent ambition was beyond the dreams of even the most devout in Buddhism. Transcending the other shore? Surely, this must be the realm of saints. The profundity of the techniques within was astonishing. This writing is indeed commendable. As the patriarch gradually set aside his prejudices, he acknowledged that aside from other matters, the spells and philosophical insights depicted in the book were quite remarkable, qualifying it as a noteworthy work. "Wait, have I too fallen into delusion? How could such thoughts arise?" The patriarch quelled this notion. "What a powerful novel. It even captivates me to a degree." It was no wonder his disciples were drawn to it, given that their resolve could hardly match his own steadfastness. "Very well, I shall safeguard these 3 novels for them, overseeing their influence." As the patriarch contemplated this, he suddenly froze, standing still as if ensnared by a spell of immobilization, with tumultuous waves surging within his heart. How is this even possible? The patriarch's peculiar demeanor left his disciples bewildered. Moments ago, he had appeared deeply troubled and fiercely critical, yet now he stood motionless. Had he realized his error? Indeed, the patriarch was gravely mistaken. The Book of Changes, Yuan, Hong, Li, Zhen. On the 9th day, the hidden dragon, do not act. The second line, the dragon appears in the field. It is beneficial to meet great individuals. The Bodhi patriarch discovered profound scriptures materializing in his mind, a torrent of insights flooding his consciousnness, leaving him astonished. It turned out that what his disciples had spoken of was indeed true. Without further contemplation, he quieted his mind to savor the revelations. The I Ching, as the most formidable technique self-created by the protagonist of the novel, upon reaching mastery, allows one to deduce and learn any divine power or spell simply by observing it once, thus grasping the world's opportunities and the ever-changing future, capable of extrapolating anything. As a quasi-saint, the Bodhi patriarch was already adept in this realm, yet he had never reached the level where he could deduce and learn any divine technique from a single glance. Although the I Ching may not be an offensive grand art, its depth in understanding the principles of heaven and earth is profound, offering much for even a quasi-saint to learn. After absorbing the insights, the Bodhi patriarch felt a significant clarity regarding numerous paths and profound truths, the essence of Buddhism. The methods of Taoism and various incomplete doctrines were being perfected and mended within him. His cultivation, which had stagnated for countless ages, began to slowly flourish, akin to a newly sprouted shoot steadily thriving. The quasi-saint's heart fluttered with excitement. It had been far too long since he had experienced such feelings. What he once thought was an impossible growth in his cultivation had, today, been ignited by reading a novel and comprehending the formidable technique of the I Ching. To the Bodhi patriarch, the I Ching transcended mere technique. It embodied the true essence of the Tao, capable of enhancing and completing any practice or secret art. The significance of such esoteric methods surpassed any powerful offensive art. What kind of existence could inscribe such a secret method within a novel, offering the chance for understanding upon reading? No wonder the disciples were fervently enthusiastic. Even he felt overwhelmed, yearning to return to his cave dwelling to witness the upheaval of mountains and the drying of seas. As the Bodhi patriarch considered this, a broad smile graced his face. one that radiated pure joy, only to notice the peculiar expressions on the faces of his disciples, who were struggling to suppress their laughter. He quickly reined in his smile, and recalling his earlier words, felt an embarrassment that could be excavated from the very cracks of his being. Under the watchful eyes of many, the Bodhi patriarch cleared his throat to mask his awkwardness. Indeed, there are merits to be found, yet while you observe, do not neglect your own cultivation, he said, lightly sweeping his dust whisk. The disciples exchanged knowing smiles, refraining from breaking the silence, as they had already discerned that the patriarch had comprehended a divine power. Hence his words. How could they be so certain? Because the expressions that followed the patriarch's realization of the divine power mirrored their own. Yes, master. The disciples responded in unison, assured that as long as their master did not confiscate the novel, he would remain their good master. The Bodhi patriarch nodded in satisfaction and inquired, Wukong, from where did you acquire these 3 novels? The monkey scratched his head and mused, while seeking immortality and enlightenment. I chanced upon a human realm, where a bookstore owner carelessly discarded a book. Noticing its commendable writing, I decided to keep it for leisure. As Sun Wukong spoke, he suddenly omitted certain details, expressing himself rather ambiguously. He was not foolish. Revealing Su Xuan's name might lead to unnecessary complications. Found it. The Bodhi patriarch appeared somewhat skeptical, but upon reflection, he considered that perhaps the bookstore owner had not recognized the book's extraordinary nature, which led to its careless disposal. Such a divine artifact could not be so abundantly available as to be tossed about nonchalantly. The Bodhi patriarch nodded gently, stating, I shall examine these 3 books further. Once I ascertain their authenticity, I will return them to you. Before anyone could respond, the patriarch vanished with the 3 tomes. The onlookers exchanged glances, rendered speechless. They were eager to read, yet the notion of an examination seemed unnecessary. Meanwhile, Su Xuan, having just recovered from his astonishment, recalled the recent system notification that indicated someone had comprehended the I Ching from the Yang immortal text, resulting in a meteoric rise in their cultivation level. From the mid-stage of Xian Immortal to the late stage, and ultimately reaching the consummate state, he ascended to the golden immortal level before halting. What was happening? Which deity had perused his work? It was well known that as one advanced, the difficulty of cultivation increased exponentially, particularly the transition from Xian Immortal to Golden Immortal. A significant hurdle. The term golden signified immortality, embodying the notion of enduring through countless trials, representing a realm distinct from Xian Immortal. Only upon reaching Golden Immortal could one be considered a minor master, possessing a preliminary ability for self-preservation. In the original tale, the Monkey King emerged from the Bodhi Patriarch's tutelage at approximately the Golden Immortal level, later enhancing his prowess following various exploits in the Heavenly Court. Su Xuan felt a surge of excitement. The speed of his breakthrough exceeded his expectations. At this rate, could he not achieve sainthood within a few years? Unbeknownst to Su Xuan, his rapid advancement was entirely attributable to the insights of the quasi-saint, a disparity between Xian Immortal and quasi-saint that was immeasurable. Even a slight increase in cultivation by the Bodhi Patriarch represented an extraordinary power for Su Xuan. Ding. Requirements met. Access to the sale of the next novel has been unlocked. Would you like to draw? At that moment, the system's voice resonated. Chapter 25. Shattering the Firmament, another new book available for sale? Su Xuan felt a surge of delight and anticipation, wondering if fortune would favor him this time in drawing an extraordinary novel. The system's drawing interface displayed a plethora of titles, causing Su Xuan to eye them covetously. Gate of Eternal Life, Immortals' Journey to Immortality, Dragon Talisman World, Perfect Universe, I Seek to Seal the Heavens, Father Emperor, among others. Of all the novels, Su Xuan was particularly eager for Eternal Life and Dragon Talisman, for the worlds they portrayed boasted peak powers surpassing even that of Journey to the West. Especially in Dragon Talisman, the protagonist, Master Gu, exhibited an indescribable realm and might, effortlessly overpowering saints and the heavenly Tao. As the drawing commenced, Su Xuan took a deep breath, fervently wishing for a winning draw. A flash of brilliance enveloped him. Congratulations to the host for drawing the novel Shattering the Sky. Su Xuan felt somewhat speechless. 30 years in the East, 30 years in the West. How could one dare to belittle the youth and poverty? It was not that he despised Shattering the Sky, but rather that the combat prowess depicted within seemed rather insufficient in this context. After a moment of self-reassurance, he concluded that it was acceptable. Had he drawn from the Soul Land universe, it would have truly been a disaster. Hunting monsters to acquire soul rings? Even a titled Doloa might struggle against a mere mischievous sprite. Having organized his thoughts, Su Xuan set the new arrival up just as the deer demon came to work, subsequently handing her a book. My new work, see what you think. Su Xuan shamelessly claimed it as his own. A flicker of surprise sparkled in the dragon girl's eyes. Having grown weary of the other 3 novels in recent days, she had comprehended much of their content aside from the top-tier secret techniques. Now, with the release of the new work by the master, she was eager to savor it and see if she could grasp any extraordinary abilities. As she picked it up and began to flip through the pages, she found herself in a world dominated by fighting spirit, devoid of flamboyant spells. Existing solely in the peaks of combat energy. The power of combat, 3 stages. As the story commenced, the dragon girl was instantly captivated. Fighting spirit? What is fighting spirit? Is it the essence of battle? Page after page turned, she read with rapt attention, unavoidably marveling at the master's brilliance. For novels, each with its own unique style. And despite his lofty status, he could still write in such a relatable manner. Truly impressive. This woman named Nalan is somewhat annoying. I do not like her. The dragon girl muttered to herself, as if simultaneously critiquing Su Xuan beside her. Not like her. Su Xuan chuckled inwardly. She was, after all, a pivotal character within the narrative. She alone had led to the downfall of the Yunlan sect and the Soul Hall, causing the meticulously planned schemes of the Soul Emperor to unravel. A vital figure indeed. Rest assured, she will face retribution in 3 years, Su Xuan remarked, suddenly finding the dear demon's engrossed expression while reading rather endearing, especially when she pouted in anger. Huh. The dragon girl shot a glance at Su Xuan before returning her gaze to the book, grumbling, I can read it myself. No need for your commentary. Although she was unaware of the concept of spoilers, Su Xuan's remarks had irked her, shattering her imaginative expectations. This divine fire is terrifying. How could one possibly consume it? Surely, Xiaoyan won't be burned to death? The dragon girl pondered aloud. Fear not. He will not, Su Xuan interjected. After all, can a protagonist truly be called one if they perish? Please, stop talking. The dragon girl exclaimed, feeling a hint of frustration. Spoiling a moment is a fleeting pleasure, but continuing to spoil could prove endlessly gratifying. Before long, the dragon girl learned why Xiaoyan would not die. A snake demon named Medusa appeared, and the two became entangled in an unexpected affair, causing her cheeks to flush. How could the master write such things? She thought, continuing to read with fervor. As Sun'er departed, could Xiaoyan ever hope to find her again? The dragon maiden, feeling a twinge of discomfort, couldn't help but voice her thoughts. Meanwhile, Su Xuan, who had been biding his time, seemed eager to divulge a spoiler, only to be silenced by the dragon maiden's swift hand over his mouth. The sudden intimacy of the gesture left both of them momentarily stunned. The dragon maiden, regaining her composure, quickly withdrew her hand, and a soft whisper reached her ears. Your hand has a rather enchanting fragrance. Not only did her cheeks flush crimson, but her delicate horns also took on a rosy hue, as vibrant as blooming petals. This strange and awkward atmosphere did not linger for long, as a visitor soon arrived, prompting the dragon maiden to spring into action with unusual zeal. Master, little Nyo has come to see you. The newcomer was a bull-headed demon, who, like the celestial wolf king, had taken on a grand title since acquiring formidable powers, inspired by the 8 demon kings from Yangxian. He called himself the Heavenly Bull King. He frequently visited, eager to be among the first to sample the master's new works, and today, he was not disappointed. Now, the Heavenly Bull King's cultivation had reached the celestial level, only slightly inferior to that of the celestial wolf king. Here, the master's new creation. The dragon maiden casually tossed the novel to the Heavenly Bull King, who nodded repeatedly, a sycophantic grin plastered across his bovine features, creating a rather bizarre sight. These demon kings, having ascended, could indeed transform into human forms, yet they chose not to, as bearing their beastly heads was a source of aesthetic pride and a symbol of strength. Thank you for your hard work, fairy, the Heavenly Bull King said with great courtesy. Once, he had scolded the little deer demon for her lack of understanding, yet now, with her newfound position as the master's attendant, their roles had undergone a dramatic reversal. He could not afford to be rude. Clutching breaking the sky, the Heavenly Bull King ambled back, engrossed as a passionate male demon, instantly captivated by the opening lines. Wow, how infuriating. Such a superficial woman truly vexes me, he bellowed, feeling a distinctively different sensation from this novel compared to the previous 3. 30 years in the East, 30 years in the West. Do not underestimate the youth and hardship. His exclamation ignited a sense of exhilaration within him, stirring his blood. Hey, what are you reading, Bull Demon? May I take a look? Unbeknownst to him, a young boy stood ahead, no more than a teenager, with rosy lips and white teeth, extraordinarily handsome, exuding an inexplicable and remarkable aura. Who is this little human brat? You dare call me a bull demon? Get lost at once. If it weren't for the master's teachings against indiscriminately devouring humans, you'd find yourself in quite the predicament. The Heavenly Bull King was thoroughly engrossed in his reading and was quite displeased at the interruption. Master? The boy's eyes lit up, an astonishing spark flashing within them. Am I seeing things? The heavenly bull king rubbed his eyes, pondering in disbelief. The young lad is none other than the revered deity Neza of the Three Altars and Sea Assembly. Following their last encounter, he discreetly sought out Huang Feihu to inquire about the whereabouts of the immortal master. Stealthily descending to the mortal realm, he unexpectedly encountered an intriguing situation upon his arrival. What you hold in your hands, could it be the secret tome of the immortal master? Chapter 26, The Inferno Decision. Devouring the true fire of Samadhi, a smile graced Neza's face. Soon, he would ascertain whether Yang Jian's fortune was indeed intertwined with that of the immortal master. Previously, Yang Jian had ascended to the great luo, blooming with 10 petals, leaving Neza envious to the core. Once, both of them were regarded as prodigious talents among the third-generation disciples of the Chan sect, with their differences being negligible. However, the gap had now widened dramatically. Yang Jian had directly blossomed with 10 petals and ascended to the great luo, while Neza remained at the late stage of the Tai Golden Immortal. The disparity was starkly evident. You, a mere youngling, dare to mention the immortal master? Let me tell you, the immortal master has no time for you. Depart swiftly from this place, lest the immortal master's wrath unleash chaos upon the world, declared the king of the Tian Nyo, brandishing his authority with a menacing tone. The immortal master dislikes being disturbed? Neza's expression shifted slightly. Indeed, such a being is not one that ordinary folk can encounter. Off you go swiftly. The king of the Tian Nyo proclaimed arrogantly, spewing forth nonsensical claims. Neza nodded as if enlightened. If this immortal master were truly a figure of extraordinary prowess, he would undoubtedly prefer solitude. However, having come this far, it would be unthinkable to return empty-handed. Why are you still dawdling? Do you wish to become mere dung for this old bull? Enough, enough. I have no time to waste on idle chatter with you. The king of the Tian Nyo hastily stated, eager to return to his reading. Who are you calling dawdling? Neza retorted, indignant. The heavenly war general, the deity of the Three Altars and Sea Assembly, was being insulted by a mere bull demon. In a swift motion, he blocked the path of the bovine creature, extending his hand to snatch the book from the bull's grip. With a single palm strike, the entire form of the bull was sent crashing to the ground, leaving only its massive head, which wore an expression of shock. Just moments ago, everything had been fine. How had he suddenly found himself on the ground? Who was this young man? The bull had finally grasped the situation, realizing this youth was no ordinary individual. It's over, I'm doomed. Out of respect for the immortal master, I shall spare your life and grant you a lesson. A year hence, I shall return your freedom, Neza stated coolly. The bullhead was rendered speechless, itching to retort with a phrase about the cyclical nature of fortune, but he held his tongue. Even arrogance has its limits, and one should not gamble with their life. Neza secretly returned to the heavenly realm, eagerly opening the tome titled Shattering the Firmament. The title alone captivated him, exuding an indescribable aura of dominance. After a while, excellent, Neza thought to himself, thoroughly engrossed. The protagonist's journey to fulfill a 3-year pact was utterly enthralling, leaving him unable to tear himself away, filled with exhilaration. Clearly, this immortal master was indeed a remarkable talent, crafting narratives far superior to the widely circulated tales of the mortal realm, defying fate in a manner that is both straightforward and easily comprehensible. At that moment, the enthralled Neza was struck with a sudden realization as a series of incantations emerged in his mind. Is this the burning decision? The technique cultivated by the protagonist, capable of absorbing the extraordinary fires of heaven and earth? Theoretically, this method can grow infinitely as long as there is sufficient anomalous fire. What if I were to absorb all the anomalous flames of the primordial chaos? Neza's face flushed with excitement. Possessing the Samadhi true fire himself, he had a profound understanding of the path of flames. This burning decision seemed tailor-made for him. Although the starting point of burning decision is quite low, akin to the mundane methods of refining qi, its potential for growth is boundless. With enough anomalous fire to devour, it might even reach the domain of the sage's heavenly path. In this world, the levels of cultivation techniques are categorized as mortal, human immortal, golden immortal, great luo, hunyuan, and Tao. Presently, the burning decision is merely an ordinary mortal level technique. Neza, with his impatient nature, wasted no time. After comprehending the burning decision, he immediately began to consume his own Samadhi true fire, not sparing even himself in his fervor. As a Tai Golden Immortal, the process of operating the burning decision to devour the Samadhi true fire was exceedingly smooth. Before long, the first strand of anomalous fire was absorbed, and he swiftly advanced to the human immortal level technique. The Samadhi true fire is a divine fire of the heavens and earth, incomparable to ordinary anomalous flames. Neza, still unsatisfied, began to ponder where else he might find anomalous fire. Solar true fire, nine heavens profound fire, southern brightly fire, red lotus karma fire. Each divine flame is no less formidable than the samadhi true fire and may even surpass it, yet acquiring them poses considerable challenges. Suddenly, an idea struck Neza. There exists a divine fire within the heavenly court, equal in strength to these other divine flames, the six-ding divine fire from the Bagua furnace of the Doshui Palace. Its master is none other than the esteemed Supreme Elder Lord, who resides high above in the 33 heavens. Should I pay a visit to the Supreme Ancestor? Neza pondered, hesitating. After all, he was contemplating seizing the divine fire. Would the ancestor be angered enough to sacrifice him to the heavens? Fortune favors the bold. Resolute. Neza decided that if the protagonists in novels could risk such dangers to absorb anomalous fire, why could he not? Am I any less than them? If I dare to lash the dragon tendons, how could I falter at the thought of absorbing a divine flame? I must not waver. Neza arrived at the Doshui Palace, and after being announced by the attendant, he finally met the Supreme Elder Lord. At that moment, the Elder Lord was engrossed in the study of a new elixir, the immense Bagua furnace embodying the principles of the cosmos, emanating a subtle warmth. Neza, why have you come to me instead of attending to your duties? The Supreme Elder Lord, with a head of white hair yet youthful visage, inquired with a kind smile. I have no pressing matters today, so I thought I would pay my respects to the ancestor, Neza replied, bowing before the Elder Lord with a beaming smile. The Supreme Old Lord gently swept his whisk, his eyes shimmering with a brilliance that seemed to pierce through the intentions behind Neza's visit. He inquired, what brings you here? Young rascal, surely, you do not seek my elixirs once more? Neza, momentarily at a loss for words under the penetrating gaze of the venerable figure, hesitated but eventually confessed with sincerity. Upon hearing Neza's words, the Old Lord expressed surprise. What need have you for the six-ding divine fire? You already possess the true fire of Samadhi, which is hardly inferior to my six-ding. A hint of embarrassment flickered across Neza's face as he replied. I recently came across a novel that enlightened me to a certain technique. Though elementary, it possesses boundless potential. By absorbing divine fire, I can advance. And I have already integrated my true fire of Samadhi. The Old Lord fell silent for a moment, then gradually spoke. So you intend to covet my six-ding divine fire? Are you aware that it is indispensable for my alchemical practices? How could I possibly part with it? Neza, feeling awkward, responded, Old Lord, I require merely a fragment of the essence of the six-ding divine fire. Present that novel to me, the Old Lord commanded. I wish to ascertain if its wonders are as you claim. Were it not for the reverence owed to the primordial heavenly sovereign, such an audacious disciple would have been swiftly dispatched beyond the 33 heavens. Accepting the novel from Neza, the Old Lord began to peruse its contents. Chapter 27. The 9 Transformations of the Golden Elixir, of the 9th rank. As he opened Shattering the Heavens, an initial wave of disinterest washed over him. Marriage annulments? Child's play. However, his perspective shifted dramatically with the introduction of a character named Yao Lao, who taught the art of alchemy in a manner unlike any the Old Lord had witnessed. Though the elixirs produced were rather mundane, the techniques and philosophies employed were singular. Intrigued, the Old Lord delved deeper, his thoughts flowing as he read with remarkable speed. In a short while, he had consumed the entirety of the novel. With a furrowed brow, he felt a profound sense of astonishment. Is it truly possible to refine elixirs in such a manner? The Old Lord closed his eyes, pondering deeply, while an immense realization surged within him, encapsulating the essence of alchemy in the world of Shattering the Heavens. The Supreme Old Lord was astounded, absorbing this insight and integrating it fully. Though the elixirs in the novel were inferior to his own, primarily due to less favorable foundational conditions, he was different, endowed with the finest alchemical furnace, divine fire, and a plethora of treasured herbs. Excellent. The Supreme Old Lord opened his eyes, a divine light flickering within. The path of elixirs began to resonate within him, reconstructing and refining itself. Seizing the momentum, he waved his hand, igniting the flames in the 8 trigrams furnace with renewed vigor, roaring fiercely and raging unabated. With another gesture, countless alchemical materials gracefully soared into the furnace, orderly and composed, exhibiting remarkable finesse, integrating the alchemical principles of the shattered heavens. The methods of the Supreme Lord became increasingly elaborate, flowing with grace and imbued with a touch of aesthetic beauty. Observing from the side, Neza was perplexed, questioning the intent of his venerable master. Was it possible that he was incensed enough to consider transforming him into a medicinal pill? A hint of anxiety stirred within him, rendering him mute, pitiful, feeble, and utterly helpless. The Supreme Lord, immersed in concentration, sought to test the newly assimilated path of alchemy to discern the nature of its transformation. Time elapsed, though its passage was indeterminate. A peculiar fragrance wafted through the air, enchanting and invigorating, promising transcendence with but a mere whiff. Accompanying this olfactory delight, a powerful spiritual wave emanated from the bagua furnace, causing it to tremble profoundly. The Supreme Lord's gaze sharpened, soon suffused with a glimmer of astonishment. Could it be? With a thunderous roar, a cacophony erupted from the celestial realms above, as storm clouds converged, obscuring the firmament. Lightning, thick and serpentine, writhed within the tempest, its terrifying might evoking an apocalyptic aura. All deities within the heavenly court perceived this overwhelming presence, their gazes transfixed upon the heavens. The cataclysmic thunderstorm descended, unleashing ferocious violet lightning upon the Doshui palace. Thunder God and Lightning Mother, what are you up to? Do you dare to strike there? Echoed the thoughts of celestial beings. The Thunder God and Lightning Mother retorted, it is beyond our control. These thunders are not subject to our command. Within the Doshui palace, the Supreme Lord conjured a barrier to shield Neza from the onslaught as the tempest raged against the bagua furnace. A smile graced his face, welcoming the descent of the thunderstorm. Such a heavenly tribulation heralded the emergence of an extraordinary elixir. Evidently, the concoction he was fashioning was remarkably successful, surpassing all prior attempts. The bolts of lightning forged the elixir within, culminating in its final transformation. After a brief interval, the storm began to wane. The Supreme Lord calculated the opportune moment and, with a flick of his hand, dispelled the tempest. Lifting the furnace lid, a resplendent golden pill emerged, radiating brilliance and exuding an intoxicating aroma potent enough to grant immortality and resurrect the deceased. The Supreme Lord grasped the pill, scrutinizing its intricate golden patterns, 9 in total, each exuding an extraordinary Taoist essence. It was the perfected 9-turn golden pill, transcending all previous creations. Typically, his golden pills were limited to 7 or 8 turns, but now, infused with the alchemical knowledge of the shattered heavens, he had shattered those confines. Yet, he pondered the extent of its efficacy. Suddenly, he noticed Neza gazing intently at the pill, drool nearly escaping his lips. Amused, the Supreme Lord recognized that this remarkable 9-turn golden pill bore a share of credit to Neza's contributions, leading him to offer one of the pills. Neza, try this newly crafted golden pill from your ancestor. Me? Neza stammered, astonished, pointing to himself in disbelief. While he had consumed numerous ordinary elixirs from his master, the 9-turn golden pill was a privilege reserved for the sovereign of the 3 realms, the Jade Emperor himself. Neza, undeterred and resolute, did not hesitate for long. Trusting in the wisdom of the old ancestor, he accepted the elixir and swiftly consumed it. The 9-turn golden pill, akin to a living entity, dissolved upon contact, flowing into his being. With this singular golden pill within me, my fate lies in my own hands, not dictated by the heavens. Should an ordinary mortal consume a 9-turn golden pill, they could ascend in broad daylight, achieving the indomitable status of a golden immortal. The potent essence surged through Neza's corporeal form, prompting him to sit cross-legged and absorb its transformative power. His long-dormant cultivation began to flourish rapidly, with his lotus form radiating golden light, intricate divine patterns swirling around him, 9 in total, seemingly symbolizing the 9 intricate lines of the golden pill. The old lord observed with a peculiar expression. The efficacy of the 9-turn golden pill exceeded his expectations, capable of enhancing one's foundation and altering innate qualities. He could discern that Neza's lotus form was undergoing a continual metamorphosis under the pill's influence. At that moment, celestial blossoms began to coalesce above Neza's head, 3 flowers gathering at the crown, a hallmark of ascending to the great Luo realm. 1 petal, 2 petals, 3 petals, and then 7 petals. Within moments, 7 petals had formed, striving towards the 8th. The old lord nodded in satisfaction. Neza's latent potential reached its zenith at the 8th rank, and successfully condensing the 8th celestial blossom was commendable. Shortly thereafter, the 8th petal was fully formed, yet Neza appeared unperturbed, seemingly with no intention of breaking through. The old lord's gaze sharpened. In the next instant, the 9th petal began to manifest, and immediately, the heavens resonated, extraordinary phenomena unfolded. The old lord waved his hand, concealing the celestial secrets and enveloping the entire Doshui palace, inaccessible to any but the saints. After a brief interval, the 9th celestial blossom was fully condensed, and Neza finally entered the great Luo realm. Grateful for the old ancestor's support, Neza rose and bowed deeply. Do not thank me. Rather, express your gratitude to the creator of this tome. Without him, I could not have forged such a flawless 9-turn golden pill, the old lord replied, stroking his beard with a serene smile. Yet, within, he felt a sense of reverence. Regardless of who penned this book, an inescapable karmic debt had been incurred, leaving him pondering how to repay it in the future. Neza nodded solemnly, his respect for the immortal master deepening. He perceived that even the old ancestor had gleaned insights from this experience. The immortal master's methods truly defied comprehension. Consequently, his anticipation for the fires of devastation grew even more fervent, his gaze inadvertently drifting towards the 8 trigrams furnace. Chapter 28. The Karmic Ties of the Saints. The celestial pondering descends. Neza's contemplations did not escape the notice of the old lord, who chuckled inwardly and thought, "Very well, let us fulfill this together." As a fellow disciple, Neza can be considered half a student of mine. Neza, the novel you brought forth has enriched my alchemical endeavors. Today, I shall bestow upon you a portion of the primordial essence of the 6th Ding divine fire, the supreme old lord remarked with a gentle sweep of his dust brush, a smile gracing his features. Even if the 6th Ding divine fire were to lose a fragment of its essence, given time, it would naturally restore itself. Such is the nature of divine fire, eternally vibrant and unyielding. Neza was overjoyed, nodding repeatedly, his hands rubbing together in excitement. Today's fortune was truly extraordinary. Not only had he consumed the 9-turn golden elixir and ascended to the 9th rank of Deluo, but the venerable ancestor was also willing to grant him a portion of the divine fire's essence. The old lord raised his hand to cast a spell, extracting a fragment of the 6th Ding divine fire from the 8 trigrams furnace and presenting it to Neza. Under the radiance of the divine fire, the very fabric of space seemed to warp. Without hesitation, Neza began to absorb it, sitting cross-legged on the ground and quietly practicing the burning decision. The old lord was astonished. The technique Neza was cultivating was indeed the secret method from the novel, allowing the protagonist to devour foreign flames for advancement. It was unexpected that Neza had acquired such a treasure. Truly, he was blessed with profound fortune. Time passed, and soon the aura of divine fire enveloping Neza dissipated. He opened his eyes, a flicker of joy crossing his face. Having refined this essence of divine fire, the burning decision had directly advanced to the level of golden immortal. Such a level of technique was no longer considered weak, as it was the standard for the vast majority of celestial beings' practices. Yet, for him, it was evidently insufficient, as his own cultivation was rooted in the Deluo level. "Thank you, venerable ancestor," Neza said, rising to bow in gratitude. Meanwhile, he felt even more grateful towards the immortal master whose novel had sparked such a series of fortunate events. Departing from the Duoshui Palace, Neza began to ponder where to procure the next divine fire. If his memory served him correctly, the Western Buddhism boasted the Sun True Fire, reputed to be the first divine fire of heaven and earth. Should he venture forth? Neza felt a growing restlessness. Wealth and nobility often lie in danger. The reason the protagonist of the novel became the Emperor of Battles was closely tied to his fearless, adventurous spirit. If others could accomplish it, so could Neza. At the Taching Palace, amidst a celestial tableau, 2 sages were engaged in a game of chess. Each piece dropped, causing the starry river to tremble. Laozi spoke, "Disciple, you have 2 exceptional students. One, Yang Jian, has blossomed into the 10th rank, while Neza has reached the 9th rank." The events at Laozi's place had already come to the attention of the Taishan. Upon hearing this, the primordial supreme paused, his movements slowing, a hint of astonishment in his eyes. "Indeed, is this so? Recently, Yang Jian blossomed into the 10th rank, and now another disciple has attained the 9th rank. It must be noted that the 9th rank is already a qualification for dominion over the 3 realms, a revered status among sects, and even a qualification rivaling that of sages. Were it not for the heavenly decree designating sages as 6th, there would be a chance to aspire to that level. Especially Yang Jian, who was undoubtedly the foremost among the 3rd-generation disciples of his teaching, his renown echoing throughout the 3 realms, earning him the title of the God of War. Yet, this was far from sufficient to support his attainment of the 10th rank. He had once calculated that the potential of these 2 disciples would max out at the 8th rank, given their foundational roots. The roots were indeed a significant factor influencing the potential of one's qualifications. It was an undeniable truth. The Taishan nodded lightly, recounting the events surrounding Neza's visit to the Duoshui Palace. Both disciples, one blossoming into the 10th rank and the other into the 9th, were indeed remarkable. His disciple, serving in the heavenly court and overseeing the naval forces, indulged in idleness and gluttony daily. When the time came for promotion to the lofty rank of Deluo, he would be grateful if he could ascend to the 6th or 7th tier. This comparison caused a slight headache for the Supreme One. Upon hearing this, Yuanshi Tianzuan smiled gently and remarked, "I thank you, my esteemed brother, for your indulgence towards my wayward disciple." Presently, they have been confined by the Tao ancestor, seldom inquiring about affairs in the 3 realms. However, I am astonished that such a remarkable talent has emerged from the mortal realm. advancing the alchemical path of my virtuous corpse through the novels he has penned. The Supreme One sighed, reflecting on the desire to deduce this person's origins, yet found himself at a loss, as if the heavenly secrets were shrouded. Perhaps this individual shares a connection with our master, rendering any divination futile. It seems we both owe this person a debt of karma, stated Yuan Tianzuan. But let us set this aside. Brother, it is now your turn to make a move. Meanwhile, at the residence of Marshal Tianpeng, a robust man clad in disheveled armor reclined carelessly upon his throne. He was the marshal overseeing 100,000 naval troops in the celestial realm. Today, as was his custom, he had stealthily returned to procrastinate. Due to being a disciple of the supreme sage, he had secured a position in the heavenly court long ago. Despite his dereliction of duty, many of his colleagues turned a blind eye. Just then, while in a deep slumber, Tianpeng was abruptly awakened, sitting up and scanning the surroundings as if searching for someone. You foolish one. There is no need to search. I am your master, echoed a sudden voice in Tianpeng's mind, belonging to the venerable Lao Jun. Realizing the source of the voice, Tianpeng hastily fell to the ground, bowing repeatedly. Master, I shall never be lazy again. I will return at once. You simpleton. I did not come for that matter today. Listen closely. The voice of Lao Jun resonated in Tianpeng's ears. There are great advantages in the mortal realm. You must venture forth and explore. After Neza departed from the Do Shui Palace, Lao Jun, after much hesitation, could no longer contain himself and relayed this news to the indolent disciple, for if he did not exert himself, he might soon find himself unworthy of the title of naval marshal. Upon absorbing Lao Jun's teachings, Tianpeng straightened his attire and exited the marshal's residence, making his way to the southern heavenly gate. As one of the celestial court's prominent entrances, it was heavily guarded, and without the decree of the Jade Emperor, no one was permitted to enter or exit. Tianpeng strode confidently toward the gate. Marshal Tianpeng, are you intending to go out? Do you have the decree from the Jade Emperor? Inquired a polite captain of the heavenly soldiers. Nonsense. I am carrying the Jade Emperor's edict to attend to matters in the mortal realm. Do not obstruct me, or I shall unleash my wrath, Tianpeng declared haughtily, disregarding the presence of others, and no one dared to intervene. They were well aware that he was a formidable presence, with a history of slipping into the mortal realm under the pretense of handling important affairs. Fear not, we wish you a triumphant return, Marshal. The heavenly soldiers flattered him. In the heavenly realm, the intricacies of human relationships are inescapable. Tianpeng, with an air of pride, nodded and strode out with great aplomb, descending from the clouds. As he soared through the sky, excitement coursed through him. The delectable delicacies of the mortal world awaited his arrival. Chapter 29, The Secret of the Character All. The Shameless Bald Donkey Host. Su Xuan Cultivation Level. Early Golden Immortal Techniques. Taishang Daojing. Current World Tathagata Sutra. Book of Creation. Past Amitabha Sutra. True Sutra of White Bones. Devouring Heaven Demon Technique. Burning Decision. 9 Transformations of Gods and Demons. I Ching. Abilities. Treasure Moonlight King Body. Cycle of Life and Death of All Heavens. True Void Great Seal. Great Thunder Sound Seal. Character Secret Technique. Heavenly Maiden Dharma Image. Yaoqi World. Cave Heaven Divine Light. Physique. Great Accomplishment of the Primordial Sacred Body Others. Sea Toppling Whip. Dragon Demon Blade. Western Emperor Tower. Yuan Yang Sword. Divine Maiden Furnace Attribute Points. 28. 650 Unlocked Novels. Sun Immortal. Legend of the Great Sage. One leaf covers the sky, shattering the firmament. A plethora of techniques and abilities dazzled the eyes. Yet truly formidable ones were scarce. The top-tier techniques within the novels were often challenging to comprehend for those of average aptitude. Observing his attribute panel, Su Xuan sighed in contemplation. System, open the exchange mall. A cascade of radiant light enveloped him. The mall is now open. Please consume rationally, the system intoned. Su Xuan chuckled softly, sensing an oddly familiar essence. After a cursory glance, he became acutely aware of the offerings. The system store brimmed with a multitude of items, including those that only existed in his past life. Numerous treasures and one-time skills were available, though their exorbitant prices left him in awe. After some deliberation, Su Xuan exchanged for 2 bottles of joyful water, expending 6 points. Dear demon, come here, I have a treasure for you to try. He beckoned the dear demon over and casually tossed her a bottle. The dragon maiden accepted the cola and, mimicking Su Xuan's actions, opened it and took a gentle sip. The taste is quite peculiar. She took another sip. Although it's a bit strange, it's rather delightful. On her 3rd sip, she exclaimed, it's truly delicious. The dragon maiden's exquisite face blossomed into a smile akin to blooming flowers, her beautiful eyes curving into crescent moons. Even the little horns atop her head blushing a shade of pink. Su Xuan observed with a hint of disdain. Had she never experienced such delights before? With a satisfying gulp, he drained his bottle, a smile of contentment gracing his lips. Ding! A living being has read one leaf covers the sky and comprehended the ability secret of all characters. The host synchronously gains it. The sudden notification left Su Xuan momentarily stunned. Which divine being has achieved this? To have grasped the secret of all characters that instantaneously amplifies combat prowess tenfold. A formidable skill for vanquishing foes beyond 1's level. Above the clouds, the Arhut accompanied him, clearing the path, with the sound of sacred chants echoing around them. At the forefront stood a figure adorned with a splendid crown, possessing a fair and exquisite visage, a gentle smile gracing his lips, radiating an aura of compassion. How much further? The ethereal sound ceased as Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva inquired. The guiding deity approached reverently, responding, "O Bodhisattva, we are nearing the Guanjianku. Shall I summon Erlang Shin to come forth?" Upon hearing this, the Bodhisattva calmly replied, "No need. I shall proceed personally." With clouds of auspiciousness descending, the group directly alighted above Guanjianku. A formidable Arhut stepped forward, channeling his spiritual power, and proclaimed loudly, "Where is the true Lord Erlang? I, Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, who alleviates suffering, have arrived. Please come forth to receive me." His voice resonated throughout every corner of Guanjianku. The 6 brothers of Maishin furrowed their brows. The visitor bore ill tidings. At this time, why would the Buddhist Avalokiteshvara seek their elder brother? Thus, the 6 ascended on clouds to greet her. Domei respectfully clasped his hands towards Kong Anyu and, with a cordial demeanor, said, "Bodhisattva, my elder brother is currently in secluded meditation. We kindly request that you visit another day. I have pressing matters to discuss, and I beseech your elder brother to make an appearance," replied the Bodhisattva, intoning a mantra. As she descended upon the clouds towards the abode of the true Lord, the 6 brothers exchanged uneasy glances. With a resolute expression, they positioned themselves at the entrance. "Bodhisattva, we ask for your understanding to return another time. My elder brother is in seclusion, and if he were to be forced out, it may lead to undesirable consequences." Kong Anyu, with a furrowed brow and a hint of cold sweat trickling down his back, spoke with utmost respect, sensing the Bodhisattva's intentions were far from benign. They were merely golden immortals. Even if they combined their powers, they could only contend with an ordinary Tai golden immortal. Avalokiteshvara, however, was a being of perfected Daluo golden immortal cultivation, often regarded as the foremost figure beneath the quasi-saint. Before her, they were akin to mere ants. "Rest assured, we harbor no ill intentions. Since the true Lord Erlang is in seclusion, we shall wait at his residence," the Bodhisattva replied, her countenance remaining serene and compassionate. The Maishin brothers hesitated, and just then, a firm voice emerged from Yangchan. "No, my second brother is engaged in meditation, and no one is permitted to disturb him. I kindly ask the Bodhisattva to return and visit another day." With an ethereal grace and flawless beauty, Yangchan approached the Bodhisattva, speaking neither in deference nor in arrogance. After repeated interruptions, even a clay Bodhisattva would harbor some irritation, how much more so for a true Bodhisattva, who directly articulated her intent. "I suspect that the true Lord Erlang has appropriated opportunities that rightfully belong to our Buddhist teachings. Thus, I have come in accordance with the edicts of the Buddha to investigate. I implore you not to obstruct me." This bewildering declaration left Yangchan and the others in shock. When had her brother ever appropriated opportunities from Buddhism? "I do not quite comprehend what you mean," Yangchan said, her delicate brows knitting in confusion. The Bodhisattva maintained her composure. "Recently, the true Lord Erlang attained the pinnacle of the 10-petal bloom, leading to a profound connection with our Buddhist essence. Our teachings assert that the true Lord Erlang is destined to be intertwined with our Buddhist path." What logic was this? Yangchan and the 6 brothers of the Mei family stood in stunned silence. "I have long heard that those who follow Buddhism are often filled with compassion in word, yet shamelessly greedy in action. Whenever they encounter something of value, they claim it is destined for them, and they seize it without hesitation. Today, they have certainly gained some insight." Yangchan was instantly infuriated. "My brother's fortune has nothing to do with your Buddhism." "Oh, do you have any proof? If so, I kindly ask you to enlighten this humble monk," the Bodhisattva said calmly, his expression remaining unchanged. "In the absence of evidence, it is irrelevant to your Buddhism. Even if your sect is the sovereign of the 3 realms, such tyranny is unacceptable." Yangchan's retort lingered on her lips, but she swallowed it back. It seemed she understood that this shameless group aimed to extort her brother's fortune. How insidious these bald monks are. The more they wish to know, the less I shall reveal today, Yangchan resolved. "Since you cannot provide proof, I shall summon Erlang Shun to confront you directly," the Bodhisattva declared, his immense power swirling around him, exuding an overwhelming aura. Yangchan's heart raced, and her expression darkened. Would these monks truly dare to act? Bodhisattva, do you not fear the wrath of the Jade Emperor? Yang Chan questioned sternly, bracing herself to unleash the Western Emperor's pagoda. She was uncertain of her brother's progress in cultivation, and she must not allow any disturbance. I am merely following orders. Since you insist on obstructing me, I shall not hold back, the Bodhisattva replied, his formidable power erupting and shaking the entire Guanjiankou. Chapter 30. Yang Jian battles Guanyin. The terrifying surge of power rattled Guanjiankou, and the Bodhisattva was surrounded by boundless Buddhist light. Suddenly, he struck with intent to awaken the sequestered divine being. An audacious act that left Yang Chan and the 6 brothers of the Mei family seething with rage. Yang Chan delicately raised her hand, and a magnificent pagoda gradually materialized, radiating with vibrant hues and ancient patterns, exuding an astonishing aura. What is this? The Bodhisattva's jade-like countenance froze in astonishment, sensing an ancient energy emanating from this treasure. An innate treasure? She pondered, uncertain. However, could a mere golden immortal truly challenge her, even with a powerful artifact? The Western Emperor's pagoda transformed into a towering structure, divine radiance emanating from it, accompanied by strands of chaotic energy. Through her recent training, Yang Chan had become increasingly adept at wielding the pagoda. I will never allow you to disturb my brother's cultivation, she declared, her expression resolute, resembling an unparalleled celestial maiden. With a mighty thud, the pagoda descended, its terrifying aura akin to heavenly might, as if the very heavens were pressing down upon them. The Arhats and Jiedi gazed up at the Western Emperor's pagoda with trepidation. Had it not been for the Bodhisattva's presence, they would have already fled. At that moment, the Bodhisattva moved, raising a hand and gently pointing. The light of the Buddha radiated forth, and the air seemed to solidify as a fingertip transformed, releasing boundless divine light. One flower, one world, one leaf, one Bodhi. Everyone was struck with awe as they observed a miniature universe evolving within that fingertip, being born, destroyed, and endlessly cycling. The supreme profundity of the Buddhist realm has been grasped to a considerable extent by Guanyin. With a mere strike, she unleashed a force that echoed the power of the universe. The earth trembled, and rivers flowed backward. This thunderous roar resounded like the tolling of the celestial bell, striking deeply into the hearts of all present. The towering Su Xuan pagoda, resembling a celestial canopy, was sent flying, its divine radiance dimming significantly. Yang Chan, struck, coughed up blood, and was propelled backward. The disparity was utterly disheartening. Following her initial blow, Guanyin raised her hand once more, conjuring a colossal jade hand that reached for the Su Xuan pagoda. Clearly, Guanyin perceived a connection between this treasured artifact and her Buddhist lineage. However, just as she was on the verge of success, a beam of divine light sliced through from a certain point near Guanjiao, severing the jade hand in twain and dissipating it into the cosmos. Guanyin, you dare to injure my sister and covet her treasure? The audacity of you Buddhists is truly shameless. Yang Jian stepped forth from Guanjiao, his demeanor stern, his heavenly eye unveiled. His magical power surged dramatically as he raised his hand to form a seal, launching it toward Guanyin. Do not overestimate yourself. Do not presume that just because you bloom in perfection, you are beyond reproach. The chasm between us is insurmountable. Guanyin's expression darkened, with a mere palm strike. She obliterated his formidable seal. She had already attained the pinnacle of the great Luo golden immortal, while Yang Jian was merely at the threshold of this realm, a difference as vast as the sky and the earth. Yang Jian's countenance remained icy as he channeled his full magical might. His golden vitality surged like an ocean, radiating a brilliant golden light. With a single step, he advanced. Now a perfected sacred body resonating with the celestial order, the laws descending around him. Guanyin's gaze flickered with surprise. She sensed an ancient and sacred aura emanating from Yang Jian. What manner of physique is this? The 9 transformations of the mysterious art. Yang Jian was enveloped in a golden glow that soared to the heavens, illuminating the expanse like molten gold, his divine radiance piercing through the sun and moon. Powerful and commanding, the flowing golden vitality resonating with a thunderous echo in the void. The battle ignited. Yang Jian unleashed a punch, exuding an overwhelming might that illuminated half the sky. Guanyin, her expression devoid of compassion, formed a seal with her hands and unleashed her divine powers. From Yang Jian, she sensed a terrifying force, incomparable to their earlier skirmish. Is this truly someone newly entering the Great Luo? Boundless Buddhist light radiated across the cosmos, and Guanyin approached the encounter with utmost seriousness. Even her casual displays of divine power bore the weight of the universe. As a bodhisattva, her status was second only to a few ancient Buddhas, and the techniques she employed were among the most profound of the Buddhist teachings. Yang Jian's expression grew solemn as he unleashed myriad divine powers, his physical form enduring tremendous pressure. Despite having recently acquired numerous grand techniques from a leaf covering the sky, the disparity in their realms remained formidable. Unless the clash between them resonated across the three realms, awakening countless mighty beings from their slumber to witness this confrontation. Yang Jian, even with your peak blooming, you are no match for me. Guanin's demeanor had turned frigid as she admonished, her voice resonating powerfully, shaking the very fabric of the universe. That remains to be seen. Yang Jian spoke softly, his form radiating like a furnace as he unveiled the majestic manifestation of his sacred body. Behind him, a spectral figure emerged, the supreme celestial king descending from the heavens. With a single fist unleashed, it resembled a resplendent golden sun. Guanin maintained her composure, yet the chasm between them remained insurmountable. Secret of the characters, open. In an instant, his combat prowess surged tenfold, and Yang Jian's aura ascended to unimaginable heights. With radiant light and divine mist enveloping the sky, an overwhelming force of magic surging forth. What? Guanin's expression momentarily faltered before she could react. An immense power bore down upon her, surpassing all previous encounters. Had he truly broken through? Within Guanin, the sound of scriptures resonated, celestial light illuminating the expanse, encircling her. Each word seemed forged from divine gold, imbued with boundless Buddhist teachings, sacred and brilliant, suppressing all directions. In this moment, she held nothing back in her defense. Yang Jian's aura instilled a profound sense of danger within her, an unparalleled threat that suggested they had reached the same echelon. The fierce battle shook the very stars from the sky. With their combat prowess amplified tenfold, Yang Jian and Guanin fought evenly matched, yet remained unable to achieve victory. However, the current state of Yang Jian was depleting far too rapidly for a protracted conflict. If only he possessed other secret techniques, he mused inwardly. At that moment, Guanin's white garments were stained with blood, whether her own or that of her adversary was uncertain, and the compassionate visage of the Bodhisattva had vanished. She gazed at Yang Jian with a covetous glint, convinced that he had employed some arcane method. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to battle her to such an extent. The instantaneous amplification of his combat strength, if it were hers, would embolden her to challenge even those of quasi-saint status. Brother Yang Jian, I come to assist you. At that moment, a thunderous voice erupted as Neza appeared in a flash, riding the winds upon his fiery wheels. Yang Jian shouted, Neza, stand aside. This battle is beyond your capacity to intervene. This was a clash of fully realized great Luo golden immortals, a realm that Neza, still in the late stages of Tai golden immortal, could not partake in. Haha, brother Yang Jian, I have attained the great Luo realm. Neza laughed heartily, wielding the chaos silk to stir the tempest as he entered the fray. Get back. Guanin seethed with rage, striking Neza back with a single palm. How dare this insignificant fool meddle? Yang Jian was a fully bloomed great Luo, equipped with secret techniques. Did Neza presume to be the same? Suddenly, she paused, perplexed. What was he intending? Neza cradled a cluster of divine fire in one hand, beginning to merge it together.